found a few trees from the past 2 years. It's you, Su Luo said, picked up the axe and started chopping. Bang, bang, bang. The crisp sound of felling trees spread throughout the woods. Soon a tree was cut down, and then Su Luo did not cut down another one. Instead, he took a saw, looked at the fallen tree, and found a section that looked relatively neat and had few cracks. What is Su Luo doing? Saw it into small pieces and take it back. Don't tell me it's a sculpture. Yes, Su Luo was preparing to make a carving. Su Luo had acquired carpentry skills before, which included carving on wood. Looking at the wooden pillar in her hand, which was about 20 cm in diameter and 40 cm in length, Su Luo quickly shaved off the outer skin with an axe. Then he began to carve, recalling the memories in his mind. It's really a sculpture, and it looks pretty impressive. I also want a husband with so many talents. I'm signing up. I'm a handsome guy. I know to go home when it rains. Do you want me? I went home when it rained. I always carry an umbrella. Su Luo's hands moved rapidly, and wood chips kept falling. Soon, the prototype of two people holding hands was made. The one Su Luo made was not very big, about the size of a palm. The main problem was that there were some changes in color in the middle of the wood, which did not look very good. Su Luo selected a part that had almost no discoloration after screening. The wood had a good texture and high density. Su Luo did not continue carving. Instead, after carving out the prototype, she placed the wood carving into the opening and began to chop the tree. It's not that Su Luo doesn't plan to carve now, but Chen Chichai has already come over from a distance. Luo, Chen Chichai walked up and greeted him with a smile. Brother Chichai, why don't you sleep a little longer? Su Luo asked curiously. I can't sleep when I think of you working here, otherwise people will say in the barrage. Look at Su Luo working, how can you have the nerve to sleep? Chen Chichai said helplessly. Why do I feel like you rolled yourself up? Su Luo said with a smile. Ha ha ha, I just want to give up, but I can't control myself and remember how many points I should give. Chen Chichai spread his hands helplessly. By the way, do you want to join my variety show? Chen Chichai found a tree to stand under, then looked at Su Luo and asked. Chapter 69. Is it possible that a password is required to withdraw money from the bank? Brothers Entertainment. Just now, Liang Bo and Master Hua were taken away to cooperate with the investigation. As expected, the result was administrative detention. I had intended to put some pressure on her through public opinion, but I didn't expect Su Luo to not play by the rules. He revealed that he was a mistress, and Su Luo directly reported him to the police for gambling. Li Yang felt like he was about to fall apart. Li Yang threw his phone to the ground with anger in his heart. Because the company's board of directors just called, negative public opinion about Brothers Entertainment has been growing, causing the stock price to continue to fall. Make yourself deal with it immediately. If you can't handle it well, pack up and leave. The person who called was his uncle. Yes, Li Yang was the nephew of the chairman of Brothers Entertainment. Thinking of this, Li Yang walked to the desk, picked up the phone and clicked a few times. Secretary Lu, come in. Soon a graceful office lady walked in. Mr. Li, Secretary Lu said respectfully with a smile. Come and sit down. Li Yang walked to the office chair and sat down, then pointed across and started talking. Thank you, Mr. Li. I don't want to see Su Luo and Yi Xiaoramu again, Li Yang said when he saw Secretary Lu sitting down. There was a fierce glint in his eyes. If I can't get it, then I'll destroy it. Mr. Li, after all, there are Zhou Yang and Zhu Jai, Secretary Lu said hesitantly. No matter what, they are just two actors. They are still a little lacking in the face of capital. Li Yang said this with a hint of sarcasm on his face. Okay, I'll arrange for the company to put pressure on you right away. Secretary Lu nodded. Upon hearing this, Li Yang leaned back and waved his hand. You go do it first. Okay, Mr. Li, Secretary Lu said and walked out of the office. Watching Secretary Lu twisting her body and leaving the office, Li Yang narrowed his eyes, picked up the phone on the table and dialed. Hello, Lao Yang, do you have time to have dinner together? Li Yang said with a smile after the call was connected. Mr. Li, then you definitely have time. Yang Xiaodong answered with a smile on the other end of the phone. Yang Xiaodong is one of the directors of Luohua Entertainment Company. Yi Xiaoramu's contract was signed with Luohua Entertainment. Then let's meet at Xiayan at noon, Li Yang said and hung up the phone with a smile. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add. Mr. Yang, you should know the reason for my coming. In the Lotus Hall of Xiayan, Li Yang put down the chopsticks in his hand and said casually, Mr. Lee, you also know that Yi Xiaomu is the top female in our company. I feel very pressured when she is suddenly put on ice. Yang Xiaodong looked embarrassed. I understand. Of course, I also know that your company had planned to give up on Yi Xiaomu because of her sudden pregnancy. Isn't this the original choice now? Li Yang smiled and said, That's what I said, but because of this variety show, Yi Xiaomu's fans have increased instead of decreased. Yang Xiaodong stopped talking here and looked at Li Yang. The world is bustling with activity, all for the sake of profit. All the people in the world are seeking profit. Yang Xiaodong refused to accept it simply because there was not enough benefit. He would not agree to put the top female employee of a company on ice just because of a meal. I believe Mr. Yang can withstand the pressure. Li Yang took out a bank card from his pocket and pushed it out. I believe Yi Xiaomu can't help you earn a small goal. Li Yang looked at Yang Xiaodong and said with a smile, Mr. Li, what are you doing? Yang Xiaodong frowned. What are you doing? Bribery? Then tell me the password. I don't mean anything else. This is compensation for your company. Also, we're investing in a girl group talent show and can give your company a spot in the group. I believe that with this, your company will be able to quickly train a singer to replace Yi Xiaomu, Li Yang said lightly. Yang Xiaodong rolled his eyes. This is just how sincere you are. You didn't even tell me the password, but just verbally gave me a spot in a girl group. Are spots in girl groups very valuable? In the past 2 years, only Yang Ku became a famous girl group member. I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, if that's the case, I can't explain to the board of directors. Yang Xiaodong shook his head. Boss Yang, are you going to go against Brothers Entertainment? Li Yang frowned and said seriously. Mr. Lee, you misunderstood. Who would dare to go against Brothers Entertainment? You said so, right? But we, Luohua Entertainment, are a small family and can't afford such a huge loss. Yang Xiaodong was helpless. Is it that Li Yang has a low IQ? Why don't you give me a check or cash? If that doesn't work, can't you give me a singer? You gave me the bank card, but not the password, and the girl group refused to sign a contract. When it comes to getting something for nothing, you have to be Li Yang. With this small goal in mind, you should have explained it to your board of directors when you get back. Besides, this is a personal gift from me to you. Seeing that Yang Xiaodong did not seem to refuse 100%, Li Yang took out another bank card and pushed it over. It's not much here, just 10 million, Li Yang said lightly. Yang Xiaodong was almost amused by Li Yang. He frowned and looked at the 2 bank cards on the table. Mr. Yang, what do you want to say? Li Yang saw that Yang Xiaodong seemed to be hesitating. Mr. Li, I won't beat around the bush. Yang Xiaodong retracted his gaze and looked at Li Yang. Tell me, is there a possibility that when you go to the bank to withdraw money, you need a password? Yang Xiaodong looked at Li Yang with a smile. Hey, look at me. The passwords for these 2 cards are both 6/8. Hearing this, Li Yang patted his head and started talking. I thought to myself, no wonder those female celebrities were unwilling to use their bank cards when I tried to contact them before. Well, I feel like I'm going to cry because of my own stupidity. Heh, I'm going to find Zhang Bai tonight. Master Hua just happened to be in there. Well, Mr. Li, happy cooperation. Yang Xiaodong quickly went to put away the 2 bank cards. Of course, in order to prevent the money from being transferred away, the transfer must be arranged as soon as possible. When the transfer is successful, that will be the day Yi Xiaomu is put on ice. Of course, for Luohua Entertainment, Yi Xiaomu's role is not that big. After all, she is pregnant, which will inevitably affect subsequent announcements. So I agreed to go with the flow and agreed to Brothers Entertainment to exchange resources. I also have a small goal. Thank you, Li Dadu. I will soon arrange to remove them from the celebrity couple program, and I hope Luohua Entertainment will cooperate. When Li Yang saw the bank card in Yang Xiaodong's hand, a smile appeared on his lips and he spoke. Don't worry, Mr. Li, there's no problem. Yang Xiaodong said seriously. Come eat, the food here is pretty good, Li Yang said with a smile. Su Luo looked at Chen Chichai in surprise. He didn't expect Chen Chichai to bring up the variety show. Brother Chichai, what are you doing? Su Luo looked at Chen Chichai in confusion and spoke. Chen Chichai turned to look at the 2 photographers following him and signaled them to leave. Seeing this, the 2 photographers turned off their cameras and chose to leave. Chapter 70 Cut down the tree. It will cost me my life. Anyone with a discerning eye knows that Brothers Entertainment is behind this incident. Even your family's company didn't intervene. Chen Chichai watched the 2 cameramen walk away and spoke. Su Luo nodded. He naturally understood this. This was also why he had at Li Yang on Weibo. Of course, he was not clear about the relationship between Li Yang and the directors of Brothers Entertainment. This Li Yang is the nephew of Luo Wen and Luo Wu of Brothers Entertainment. Brothers Entertainment is a giant in the entertainment industry, and the relationships are quite complicated. You've offended Brothers Entertainment this time. I suspect it's very likely that either the celebrity couple will be suspended or you'll be kicked off the show. Chen Chichai patted Su Luo's shoulder and spoke seriously. I feel like you seem to be very optimistic about me. You even asked me to participate in your variety show. Su Luo looked at Chen Chichai in confusion. Su Luo had previously speculated that the program would be suspended or that he would be kicked out of the program team. At the same time, Su Luo also thought that the fact that Luohua Entertainment did not show up this time might also mean that Luohua Entertainment was unwilling to offend Brother Entertainment. Then it seems that Yi Zairamu being put on ice is a foregone conclusion. But it is detected that the host is facing a choice. Regarding Chen Chichai's variety show invitation, please choose. 1. Agree to participate and be rewarded with God-level singing skills. 2. Refuse to participate and be rewarded with God-level acting skills. Su Luo looked at the two options. This system really decided to let him enter the entertainment industry. Rather than being in the entertainment industry, Su Luo at this moment wants to become a capital so that she can better protect Yi Zairamu. But who says that entering the entertainment industry can't be a form of capital? After all, Su Luo is a second-generation rich. Choose one, choose successfully, and be rewarded with God-level singing skills. In an instant, various singing skills and abilities were transmitted into Su Luo's mind, and he could clearly feel that these skills and abilities were used with ease. At the same time, Su Luo also discovered that this ability was integrated with the God-level voice changing, allowing him to sing with any voice. Because I like you, Chen Chichai smiled mysteriously. Since Brother Chichai said so, I will believe it. If I don't agree, it would be disrespectful to him. Su Luo smiled and spoke. Since Chen Chichai was unwilling to explain the reason, Su Luo didn't ask for the time being. Of course, maybe Chen Chichai really liked him. Okay, add my contact information and I'll notify you later. Chen Chichai took out his cell phone with a smile. The two people added contact information, including WeChat chat and phone number. Don't guess the reason. Actually, my wife particularly likes you and Yi Zairamu, especially the song Zin Yu Mu Zai, Chen Chichai said with a smile. Remember to release the MV as soon as possible, and give me a copy when you do. Chen Chichai patted Su Luo's shoulder. Okay, Brother Chichai, no problem. Su Luo naturally understood what Chen Chichai meant. It meant that he supported her. How could I deserve to be valued so highly by a senior in the entertainment industry? Okay, let's chop down the tree. It's going to cost me my life, Chen Chichai said as he walked away with an axe in his hand. What? I don't agree. Ding Lei, who answered the phone, immediately said loudly. You have to agree even if you don't agree. This is what the investor wants. Are the investors idiots? Don't they know how popular these two people are now? Ding Lei shouted angrily. Don't worry about this. You're just a director, just execute it. Otherwise, get out of here. Ding Lei fell silent upon hearing this. To be honest, he was just a director. He wasn't a big director like Zhang Mu or Chen Ji, so he couldn't fight against capital. I'll talk to them tonight. If they voluntarily withdraw from the program, we shouldn't use liquidated damages to hold them back. Ding Lei sighed and spoke. Okay, to be honest, I personally have no problem with them, but it's said that Brothers Entertainment put pressure on the investors. You know what I mean. Remember, don't say what you shouldn't say. I understand. Ding Lei nodded and hung up the phone. Director, Li Xiaoshuang looked at Ding Lei and said in a low voice, Find another couple right away, and they can be in place tomorrow. Ding Lei ordered immediately. Are Miu Miu and Su Luo really going to be kicked out? Li Xiaoshuang asked with a frown. It's a done deal, Ding Lei nodded. Stop daydreaming and get to work. The new celebrity couple must be in place by tomorrow morning. Okay, director. Li Xiaoshuang agreed reluctantly. Work is work after all, and you have to do it even if you don't want to. Ding Lei looked at Chen Chich and Su Luo, who were chopping trees on the live broadcast screen, and sighed. Okay, Su Luo, that's fine. The young man has good physical strength. Chen Chichai cut down 2 trees in total, and Su Luo cut down 8 trees. It's okay, I just have a little bit of strength. Su Luo smiled. 2 people cut the tree into sections and used the program crew's tricycle to drag the wood several times to the kitchen. Su Luo looked at the time and saw that it was past 3 in the afternoon, still early, so she quietly hid in the kitchen, took out the carving knife and the previous blank, and began to carve. Can Su Luo really carve? Is he carving eyes now? Oh my god, this is Mumu. Shocked, so similar. The carving knife kept flying in Su Luo's hand, and bits of wood chips kept falling. Two wooden men appeared in Su Luo's hand. It was exactly the image of Su Luo and Yi Xiaomu holding their marriage certificate. Su Luo, who was meticulous about details, even carved the words marriage certificate into the certificate in the hands of the wooden figure. Finally, Su Luo used a cloth belt to polish the wooden man. Oh my god, Luo, your craftsmanship is amazing. Chen Chichai, who had been watching with his mouth open, spoke up when he saw Su Luo finished her work. Not bad. Su Luo looked at the wood carving in her hand with tenderness on her face and replied casually. Hee. Hey Luo, if you have the chance, can you help your brother get one too? Chen Chichai looked at Su Luo, moved closer and spoke with a flattering smile. Okay, but I can't do it today. There's no time. Su Luo finally carved for more than an hour. No problem, no problem. I'll go prepare some small leaf boxwood. I heard it's most suitable for carving portraits. Chen Chichai said excitedly. Anything with a higher density is fine, but the main thing is the color. Small color differences and lighter colors are best. Su Luo put away the wood carving and walked out the door while talking. I understand. I've already notified my assistant to buy it. Chen Chichai put away the phone that had just sent the message and said with a smile. He actually saw the Yi Xiaomu and Su Luo carved by Su Luo. They looked so similar that even without color, he could still tell them apart at a glance. So he thought, give one to his wife. After all, this kind of small item is most popular with girls. At this time, Zhou Yang, Lina Zhujai, Tang Jiru, and Yi Xiaomu were chatting in the courtyard. Liu. When Yi Xiaomu saw Su Luo appear, he immediately stood up and went to greet her. Chapter 71, King Zhou's Gift. Yi Xiaomu quickly ran to Su Luo, put her hands behind her back, and looked at Su Luo coquettishly. Where did you go? I couldn't find you. Yi Xiaomu frowned and said softly. Keep it a secret. Su Luo scratched Yi Xiaomu's nose. Remember to call me next time you can't find me. Su Luo paused and added. I know, but actually I knew you went to cut down trees, so I didn't go to find you. Yi Xiaomu said softly. Yeah, I understand. Come on, let's go get some rest. Su Luo said this, and pulled Yi Xiaomu into the pavilion and sat down together. Chen Chichai also followed and sat down in the pavilion, and several people greeted each other. Something's going on. My waist feels like it's going to break. Chen Chichai started complaining as soon as he sat down. Oh, did you cut down a few trees? Zhu Jai said with a smile. No more, no less, exactly 10. With Luo's help, we each took half and it was done successfully. Chen Chichai said confidently, and at the same time looked at Su Luo and blinked. Su Luo smiled without saying anything and nodded. Kai is so shameless. There's a reason Kai is fat. His meanness comes from the heart, please forgive me. After this tree is cut down, we still need to plant 20 more trees, and we also need to chop firewood, Zhu Jai reminded at the right time. Director, did you hear that? We need 2 male guests next, Su Luo said with a smile. If there were more, that would be even better, Zhou Yang immediately added. Yi Xiaomu patted Su Luo. She had been thinking about playing pranks on the guests recently. Zhou Yang, Zhu Jai, have you completed your mission? At this time, Lu Jun shouted with a loudspeaker. No way, send it at this time. Can't it be done privately? Zhu Jai protested loudly. No, please complete the task within 10 minutes, otherwise you will fail, Lu Jun said proudly with a smile on his face. The mission failed, you need to accept the punishment. What punishment? Zhu Jai asked. It's very simple. Tomorrow a professional makeup artist will do beautiful makeup for you, Lu Jun said while trying to suppress his smile. I don't think it's a good makeup, Zhu Jai sighed. Don't feel anything. Look where Brother Zhou is. Chen Chichai looked at Zhu Jai, who was still indifferent, and reminded him. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930 / TT keyword add. Where did it go? Zhu Jai asked blankly. I'm going back to my room to get my presents. How long are you still here? Are you unprepared? Are you? Chen Chichai pretended to be surprised and said this with a fake expression, which made Zhu Jai roll his eyes. Haha, I've been ready for a long time, Zhu Jai said, taking out a stone from his pocket and handing it to Tang Jiru. Stone, you spent a whole day preparing and only got 1 stone. You just picked it up by the river. Chen Chichai looked at the stone in Zhu Jai's hand and immediately started complaining. What do you know? This stone is not ordinary. I carved words on it. Zhu Jai carefully turned the stone over. I saw Tang Jiru's name written on it in a crooked manner. Chen Chichai laughed out loud immediately, and Su Luo and Yi Xiaomu also smiled. Tangjiru rolled her eyes and looked at the stone in Zhu Jai's hand. Sister Ru, if you don't like it, you should be able to refuse. I'll arrange a make-up for him tomorrow. Su Luo saw Tangjiru's expression and immediately spoke. Look, this stone is in the shape of a heart. I searched for it for a long time before I saw it. I think it's very meaningful, so I decided to give it to you. Zhu Jai looked at Tangjiru, who seemed somewhat moved, and immediately began to explain. Tangjiru watched Zhu Jai gesturing with the stone, and she felt a sense of happiness surrounding him, which made her accept Zhu Jai's gift immediately. In fact, it was Zhu Jai's excited explanation that made Tangjiru unable to bear to refuse him. Of course, although it didn't look like a heart shape, Tangjiru still felt happy in her heart, just because it was not something Zhu Jai picked up casually. He had carefully searched for this gift for himself, even though Tangjiru didn't really like it. But she will also be happy and grateful for receiving this gift. A few people looked at Tangjiru and stopped teasing Zhu Jai. Zhu Jai completed the mission, Lu Jun said from the side. At this time, Zhou Yang appeared. What was puzzling was that he had nothing in his hands. Li Na also looked at Zhou Yang in confusion. Li Na, we have been together for 15 years. You have always been by my side, accompanying me and taking care of me. Zhou Yang was not far away, walking and recounting every detail of the two of them. When Li Na heard Zhou Yang's words, her eyes instantly turned red. We've faced all kinds of things together. Even when I was at my lowest, you never left me. Instead, you showed me with your actions that even if the whole world abandoned me, you would still cherish me. I am very lucky to have your company and your care. I can say that without you, there would be no Zhou Yang today. But even so, there is one thing I haven't done yet. Zhou Yang said this and waved his right hand. Several drones began to take off and started scattering petals at the same time. Yellow, red, white, petals keep falling. Li Na looked at the scene in front of her, tears streaming down her face. Zhu Jai stood aside and winked at Tangjiru. Tangjiru immediately stood up and pulled Li Na out of the pavilion, then immediately returned to Zhu Jai, holding his hand and continuing to watch. Petals filled the sky and fell on the pavilion, the courtyard, her head, her shoulders, and Li Na's heart. Because of work and our celebrity status, we had to hide our marriage, Zhou Yang said as he walked up to Li Na. You've never complained to me about this over the years, but I always remember in my heart that there's one thing I owe you, Zhou Yang said as he knelt on one knee and took out a box from his pocket. Li Na, will you marry me? Zhou Yang said seriously. At this moment, Li Na was trembling with excitement and slowly raised her hand. I do. Li Na was stunned when she said halfway. After Zhou Yang opened the box, she found a ring made of dogtail grass. Nana, we only allow you to look for gifts here, and this is the only one I could find, Zhou Yang explained somewhat awkwardly. It's okay, I do. Li Na stretched out her hand, smiling, but she spoke loudly with tears in her eyes. Zhou Yang excitedly put the grass ring on Li Na's hand, then stood up and hugged Li Na. How romantic. I envy their relationship. Don't be fooled by King Zhou's usual serious demeanor, but when he gets romantic, he's incredibly talented, like the rain of petals and the proposal. This was the explanation that King Zhou gave Li Na after they had been secretly married for over 10 years. The foxtail grass wasn't a gift from King Zhou, this was the proposal. Although the dogtail grass is a little funny, when I think about it as a whole, I feel that this is more impressive. Chapter 72, others have received gifts. I don't want you to have none. At this time, both Tangjiru and Yi Zairamu were moved to tears by the scene before them. Lu Jun didn't say anything at this moment, for fear of disturbing the two people hugging each other. Yi Zairamu held Su Luo's arm, staring at Li Na and Zhou Yang, sobbing softly. Su Luo felt the delicate body beside her, turned around, pulled Yi Zairamu into her arms, raised her hand, and gently wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. Then Su Luo looked around and saw that no one was paying attention to this side. She reached into her pocket, took out the wooden carving, and handed it to Yi Zairamu. Seeing the lifelike wood carving, Yi Zairamu's eyes first flashed with surprise, and then with intense joy. She immediately took the wood carving from Su Luo's hand, then looked at Su Luo, only to see him put his index finger in front of his lips, signaling Yi Zairamu not to speak. Then Su Luo leaned close to Yi Zairamu's ear and whispered softly, Everyone else has received gifts. I don't want you to have none. Upon hearing this, Yi Zairamu hugged Su Luo tightly. She had to admit that she didn't think anything of Zhu Jai giving her the stone just now, but she was really envious of Zhou Yang's proposal. But at this moment, all the envy disappeared, and there was only deep sweetness and strong surprise. Thank you, husband. Yizayaramu resisted the urge to kiss him and spoke excitedly in a low voice beside Su Luo's ear. I'm jealous, is this love? After eating Zhou Tianwang's dog food, I immediately ate Miu Miu's dog food. Woof woof woof. Everyone else is getting gifts and I don't want you to be without. I'm so touched by that. It's like when you envy someone else and suddenly realize you have one too. Wow, that feeling. So Su Luo found over 100 people to pretend to be his girlfriend. And in the end, she learned all sorts of sweet nothings. The little black guy upstairs, get out. Su Luo listened to Yizayaramu's words, smiled slightly in her heart, and raised her head to rub her head. Put it away and don't let others see it, otherwise I will be busy to death, Su Luo then said in a low voice. You made this yourself. Upon hearing this, Yizayaramu immediately put away the wood carving and hid it in Su Luo's clothes, then asked Su Luo in surprise. Yes, I'll be working on this afternoon after I finish chopping down trees. Su Luo nodded and explained why she might not be there in the afternoon. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add. After returning to the pavilion and sitting down, everyone's mood had not yet calmed down. The three couples were all clinging to each other, and only Chen Chichai was sitting alone on the side, looking a little funny. I've discovered that the guests invited to this program are full of malice, Chen Chichai complained with a bitter face. It's not enough for me to eat dog food online, but I have to be dragged to the scene to eat it. Let me do some work and then I get to eat dog food up close. Oh my God, I want to go home, I want to be with my wife too. Chichai, could you please stop being so funny? At this moment, I feel like Chichai is even worse than a dog. I'm smart, I've already prepared a gift. I'm just waiting for the end of the day. Please don't roll up the stairs. After chatting for a while, it was almost 5 o'clock, so Li Na and Tang Jiru got up to cook. Lu Jun received a notification from Ding Lei and adjusted the live broadcast screen. At the same time, he gestured to Su Luo and Yizayaramu to let them come over. Su Luo and Yizayaramu came to the outside of the courtyard, looked at Lu Jun, who was hesitant to speak, and took off the radios on their bodies. Director Ding is looking for you. Lu Jun hesitated a little, but finally said nothing else. Su Luo's heart moved. What Chen Chichai had said to him in the afternoon might come true. Then Su Luo took Yizayaramu's hand and walked into the live broadcast room. Director Ding. Su Luo and Yizayaramu greeted Ding Lei. Su Luo, Yizayaramu, sit down. Zayarashwang, go get some water. Ding Lei stood up and greeted them immediately when he saw the two of them come in. Su Luo pulled the somewhat confused Yizayaramu to sit down. Ding Lei didn't know where to start when he saw Li Zayarashwang leave. Director Ding is advising us to quit the program, Su Luo said straight to the point upon seeing this. Upon hearing this, Yizayaramu looked at Ding Lei in surprise, then at Su Luo, suppressing the doubts in her heart, and remained silent. Ding Lei was also surprised at how Su Luo could guess it. I did guess it. Director Ding, why don't you just say it directly? Su Luo smiled, and at the same time, feeling Yizayaramu's uneasiness, she gently patted her hand. Well, it's just like you said, you need to quit the program. Ding Lei nodded and said through gritted teeth. At this time, Li Zayarashwang walked in with 3 cups of tea. Seeing this, Su Luo didn't say anything, waiting for Li Zayarashwang to put the tea away and then leave. Director Ding, how are things arranged here? Su Luo smiled and asked. She had already decided to quit the program. Actually, I haven't thought about it yet, Ding Lei said after a moment of hesitation. Then let's do this. Zayaramu is already pregnant and it's been less than 3 months. In fact, her family doesn't really support her going out to work. Su Luo smiled and spoke. That's fine, Ding Lei nodded in agreement. At the same time, he knew in his heart that he owed Su Luo a favor. Then Director Ding, I wonder how the contract should be arranged. Su Luo spoke again. We will terminate the contract without any liquidated damages. All losses will be borne by our production team. At the same time, remuneration will be paid according to the broadcast time of the program. Ding Lei started talking, and what he meant was that the original salary for 30 days would be reduced to 3 days for the show, and then the fee for the pilot film would be added. I agree, but I have 2 requests that need to be written into the termination agreement. Su Luo nodded, and then said seriously. Please speak. Ding Lei nodded and spoke. First, you are not allowed to ask us to come back to continue recording for any reason. Su Luo stretched out a finger and said lightly. I agree, Ding Lei nodded, but he felt a little amused. How could he invite you again? You are not important people. Second, we don't need any remuneration, and we don't care about the live broadcast footage. But Yizayaramu, and I must not appear in the edited footage. Su Luo stretched out her second finger and spoke. Ding Lei frowned upon hearing this. This request was, to be honest, a bit excessive. After all, the footage was already there, and suddenly asking to delete two people was. It's a bit difficult for me to fulfill your request, Ding Lei said hesitantly. Director Ding, it's not just you who has a hard time quitting the program. Su Luo looked at Ding Lei with a half smile. Yes, they let him participate in the program, and now they are taking the initiative to terminate the contract. Okay, I agree. Ding Lei gritted his teeth and chose to agree. Then let's sign the contract, Director Ding, Su Luo said with a smile. Ding Lei nodded helplessly, edited the termination contract, and added Su Luo's requirements. By the way, do you mind if I sing a song later? Of course, no need for live broadcast, Su Luo said after signing. Chapter 73, I can't look at Master Li Yang straightly. By the way, do you mind if I sing a song later? Of course, no need for live broadcast, Su Luo said after signing. Of course, no problem. Is there anything we need to prepare? Ding Lei nodded and agreed. Su Luo was not just talking casually. He had just received a system prompt as soon as he entered the live broadcast room. It is detected that the host is facing a choice. Facing the request to withdraw from the variety show, please choose. 1. Agree to quit and receive the reward song Youth. Note 1. Choosing this will trigger a new selection task. 2. Refuse to withdraw and reward God-level investment ability. Faced with this choice, Su Luo chose to quit the show without hesitation. After all, although God-level investment ability is very attractive, it is a foregone conclusion that he will be kicked out of the program team. Forcing him to stay will only humiliate himself and Yi Zaiaramu. Well, it would be better to withdraw voluntarily. As for the targeting by Brothers Entertainment, to be honest, Su Luo didn't care much about it. Although his family is not a wealthy enterprise, it is still a pillar industry in Zixi, and its valuation is at least tens of billions. Of course, such valuations are actually inflated and obtained through operations. Su Luo thought that at worst she could just go back and inherit the family business, then enter the entertainment industry and become Yi Zaiaramu's support. Choose 1. The selection was successful. The reward has been sent to the host's memory. A new choice has been successfully triggered. 1. Immediately sing Youth in public and receive a USB drive containing all evidence of crimes committed by Li Yang, Director of Brothers Entertainment's investment department. 2. Leave the program normally and receive a 67% stake in Luohua Entertainment as a reward. Faced with this option, Su Luo chose option 1 without any hesitation. Although the shares of Luohua Entertainment Company are also very attractive. After all, it is Yi Zaiaramu's agency, but compared to these, Su Luo is more interested in sending Li Yang in. After all, Li Yang's drugging was an unforgivable mistake for Su Luo now. Choose 1. The selection was successful and the reward has been issued. It's in the host's pocket. Su Luo reached out and touched her right pocket, and sure enough, there was a USB flash drive in it. Thank you, Director Ding. I'll announce my withdrawal from the program while we're having dinner. Please help me prepare a guitar. Su Luo said this, stood up, and pulled Yi Zaiaramu out of the live broadcast room. Liu, what's wrong? As soon as Yi Zaiaramu went out, he immediately looked at Su Luo and asked. That Li Yang took action, so? Su Luo turned around, looked at Yi Zaiaramu seriously, and spoke. Ah, he is coming for me, Yi Zaiaramu said with his eyes slightly narrowed. Don't worry, if they come for you, they are coming for me, so leave everything to me. Su Luo smiled at Yi Zaiaramu and held her hand tightly, indicating that she didn't need to worry. Yeah, Yi Zaiaramu looked at Su Luo's smiling face, felt relieved and nodded. Then Su Luo took Yi Zaiaramu to find Lu Mayo. Mayo, help us book a hotel. We are planning to withdraw from the program. Also, Zaiaramu, please call Sister Ye and tell her that we are withdrawing from the program. Ah, Sister Zaiaramu, brother-in-law this. I'm looking for help from the company. How can they do this? Lu Mayo immediately became anxious when she heard this. It's already been discussed and settled. There's no need to ask anyone for help, and I guess your company. He, Su Luo said with a meaningful smile. Lu Mayo looked at Yi Zaiaramu and saw her nodded, so she had no choice but to run aside to book a hotel. Yi Zaiaramu took out his cell phone, found Tanya's number and dialed it. Hello, Sister Ye. Yi Zaiaramu spoke after the phone was connected. Zaiaramu, what's wrong? Tanya was a little confused. At this time, she was taking her new subordinates to run announcements. We have terminated our contract with the production team. We will withdraw from the recording today. Yi Zaiaramu did not explain the reason, but directly stated the result. What? Well, wait a moment. I'll get to know the situation first. Tanya's voice was surprised. She did not ask Isaiah Amu the reason, because the sudden termination of the contract in the entertainment industry must mean that there is the shadow of capital behind it. So she needed to understand the situation first. Isaiah Amu hung up the phone. On the other side, Lu Mayomeo's hotel had already been booked. Sister Ye has gone to investigate the situation. Liu Mayomeo, let's go in and wait for a while. Isaiah Amu pulled Su Luo and called Lu Mayomeo into her room. Lu Mayomeo looked at Isaiah Amu with a worried look on her face. She was still relatively naive and only knew that quitting the program could easily lead to being criticized. Originally, because of her sudden marriage, Isaiah Amu lost a lot of fans. Although she gained some CP fans because of this program, she suddenly announced that she would withdraw from the recording of the program. Then there will definitely be another group of black fans, and Sister Zairamu will not really be in trouble. Mayomeo, what are you thinking about? It's nothing. Zairamu looked at Lu Mayomeo with amusement. Sister Zairamu, I'm just worried about whether my salary can be paid. Lu Mayomeo said with a bitter face that, as Zairamu's personal assistant, her salary was paid by Zairamu. This heartless little girl was actually worried about her salary at this moment. Mayomeo, you old fool, you are still thinking about this at this time. Zairamu was so angry that he laughed. Ha ha ha, Sister Zairamu, I was just talking casually. Lu Mayomeo said with a wry smile. Zairamu naturally wouldn't be angry with Lu Mayomeo. This little girl is just like that, a little obsessed with money. But if something really went wrong, Lu Mayomeo would definitely stand on Zairamu's side. Ding-ling-ling, the phone rang. Hello, Sister Ya. Zairamu immediately answered the phone and turned on the speakerphone. Zairo, I've found out everything. This matter is a bit complicated. There are also rumors in our company that we are going to put you on ice, Tanya said hesitantly. Okay, I understand. Zairamu said calmly without any change in expression. You don't seem surprised, Tanya asked. From the last incident, I knew that our company was colluding with that Li Yang, but I just had no evidence. Since Li Yang has already taken action in this matter, I wouldn't be surprised if our company took advantage of the situation. At this moment, Zairamu was even secretly delighted. This kind of pretending to be in control of the situation was so cool. Luo had used the same tone just now. Yeah, that should be it. Since you've already quit the show, come back first. I'll have Master Li pick you up at the airport. After hearing what Zairamu said, Tanya didn't say anything else. After all, Luohua Entertainment had not really issued a notice to finalize this matter, so there was still hope. Goodbye, I can't look Master Li Yang in the eye now. Zairamu immediately declined. Note 1, Youth. Lyrics Meng Ran. Song Meng Ran. Original singer Meng Ran. Chapter 74. Announcement of withdrawal from program recording. Tanya laughed out loud. Lu Mayomeo and Su Luo on the side also covered their mouths and laughed. It's really a coincidence that Zairamu's driver is also called Li Yang. Okay, send me the tickets after you book them and I'll pick you up then. Tanya laughed and continued. Sister Ye, I'll find someone else to pick you up when the time comes. It's not good for you to get too close to me right now. When Zairamu heard Tanya's words, she immediately spoke up to stop her. It's okay. If the company really freezes you, then I won't be happy working here anymore. It's better not to stay in such a short-sighted company. Tanya has been with Zairamu since her debut. I have managed several superstars before, but none of them had such a close relationship with Zairamu. This may have something to do with Zairamu's personality. Others treat her as a tool, but Zairamu treats her as a friend and family member. If she had to choose between the company and Zairamu, Tanya would choose Zairamu without hesitation. So what if she was blacklisted? With the connections of her gold medal agent Tanya, she can still get some notices, I think. Right. The company regards you as a gold medal agent. If you really put the company aside and give face to Tanya, she herself is not really sure. Thank you, Sister Ye. Actually, you don't have to do this. This matter has nothing to do with you, Zairamu said with some emotion. You are my artist and my sister. If I don't support you, who should I support? Don't worry, I will definitely support you to the end. Tanya's firm voice came. Thank you, Sister Ye. You're welcome. I'll go back to the company right now to check on the situation. Remember to send me the flight number. After the two of them finished talking, they hung up the phone. Su Luo listened from the side and sighed in her heart. This Tanya is really a good person. If we take this opportunity to let Zairamu terminate her contract with the company and set up a studio, we can still ask Tanya to help. Yes, Suluo has already thought about it at this moment. Since the system has given him various abilities, entering the entertainment industry is a good choice. Setting up your own studio or company is inevitable. Since capital can influence artists, then let yourself become the biggest capital. Sister Zairamu, I will stick with you through thick and thin. Lu Mayo Miao's words interrupted Su Luo's thoughts. What, if you follow me, I might not even be able to get your salary. Yi Zairamu looked at Lu Mayo Miao's determined face and teased. A hint of hesitation flashed across Lu Mayo Miao's face, but she quickly became serious. You can owe it first, Lu Mayo Miao said seriously. You little money grubber, don't worry, your salary will not be reduced. Yi Zairamu rubbed Lu Mayo Miao's head and said with a smile. Mayo Mio, go find the director and coordinate the car. We're going to record the last segment and then it's time to leave, Su Luo said. Yi Zairamu nodded, took Su Luo's arm and walked out of Lu Mayo Mio's room. Then she found Lu Jun and discussed the general process. Then the two of them put on the radio again and walked back to the courtyard. At this time, the dishes have been served, and everyone is present and chatting. A Luo, Zhu Jai saw Su Luo and the other person, stood up and greeted them, seeming to be hesitant to speak. Obviously, they all knew that Su Luo and the others were leaving the program, so at this point, they needed to pretend to be unaware. Let's eat first. Zhou Yang felt that the atmosphere was a little strange and spoke immediately. Eat, I've been hungry for a long time. If I'm not active in eating, there must be something wrong with my thinking. Chen Chichai also tried to smooth things over. I don't know if it's my imagination, but I always feel like the atmosphere is not right. Yeah, Su Luo and Miu Miu disappeared for a while just now. A bunch of nitpickers are overthinking it. I've been hungry for a long time. Let's eat. Su Luo pulled Yi Zairamu to sit down. Because it was a live broadcast, everyone tacitly controlled their emotions and curiosity. Chicha, we're leaving the day after tomorrow, right? Zhou Yang looked at Chen Chicha and asked. Yeah, no, wait, what do you want to do? Chen Chicha's hand holding the food trembled, and he looked at Zhou Yang in horror. It's nothing big. I just feel like coming here to experience life should be complete. Zhou Yang said this, glancing towards the kitchen. I agree, Jairu, is there not enough firewood? Zhu Jai immediately cooperated. Yes, now they all use loose ones. They are not easy to use. Tang Jiru nodded and complained while looking at Chen Chichai. And it's quite dangerous. Li Nun nodded and added. What a mess. Director, you promised me you'd come here to enjoy the leisurely countryside life. Chen Chichai looked at the few people and immediately shouted to the army in the distance. This village is called the Leisurely Village. Lu Jun picked up the loudspeaker and started speaking. I'm tired, destroy it. Chen Chichai looked at Su Luo for help. Then he remembered something and looked away, and this burden that was neither here nor there suddenly came to an end. Not only was everyone embarrassed, but Ding Lei in the director's room also felt a little awkward and uncomfortable. Su Luo felt that everyone was silent, so she gently put down her chopsticks. Seeing this, Yi Zairamu next to her also put down her chopsticks. A Luo, eat, Zhu Jai said with a smile. Young man, you should eat more meat, Zhou Yang said, picking up a piece of pork ribs with his chopsticks and putting it in Su Luo's bowl. Su Luo felt a little touched. These two people used their own ways to try to stop him from talking about quitting. Although they didn't spend much time together, it was clear that the three sometimes childish men had formed a friendship. Brother Zhou, Brother Jai, Su Luo said. Luo, what do you think our mission is tomorrow? Zhu Jai asked again with a smile. I feel more and more that something is wrong. No way, I feel. Brother Zhou, Sister Na, Brother Jai, Sister Ru, Brother Chich. From this moment on, Yi Zairamu and I will say goodbye to everyone for the time being. Su Luo suppressed the reluctance that was rising in her heart and spoke with a smile. What? Su Luo and Miu Miu are withdrawing from the program recording. Fuck, what's going on? Just now, I felt something was wrong. Brothers, follow me to the program team. A Luo? Zhou Yang called out and looked at Su Luo with a look of inquiry in his eyes. But there were some things he didn't say. After all, it was a live broadcast. Zhou Yang wanted to express that if Su Luo wanted to stay, he still had a way. After all, as a triple-talented superstar in the entertainment industry, he had connections. Brother Zhou, this is the result of my discussion with Zairamu. As everyone knows, Zairamu was pregnant not long ago. I didn't know until she came out. After she came out, I realized that I couldn't take good care of her. The first 3 months were indeed quite dangerous, so my family was always worried, so I discussed it with Zairamu. For the sake of my child's safety and Zairamu's safety, although I'm reluctant, I have decided to withdraw from the program with Zairamu. Chapter 75, Drink Some Clear Drinks. Luo, you just know that we have to chop wood tomorrow, so you want to run away. Chen Chichai said in disbelief. Brother Chichai, it's really not true, Su Luo said to Chen Chichai with her hands clasped together. Zhou Yang looked at Su Luo deeply. Seeing his calm expression, he knew that he had made up his mind and it could not be changed. Dear viewers, I'm so sorry. I'm so sad to hear this news so suddenly. I can't even think of any reason to keep them. We must consider this young couple. Zhou Yang spoke to the camera beside him and said that at this time, he needed to step forward and calm the situation down. Friends, although Luo and Xiao Mu have temporarily left the show, don't worry, brothers. Luo has promised me that he will come to play with me when he is free. Chen Chichai also spoke on the side and blinked at the camera. I understand. In other words, Su Luo can still be seen in Kai Kai Ji's haha. Yi Xiaomu will definitely be there, but she won't be participating in the show. She might even show up. Okay, I forgive them. Ding Lei was watching the comments in the live broadcast room, feeling a little uncomfortable. Chen Chichai's words were like a slap in his face. He had no way to refute it. It was because he couldn't withstand the pressure from the investors. He himself was the investor of Chen Chichai's haha variety show. Oh my God, how can we compare? Ding Lei felt like 1,000 alpaca horses were galloping through his mind at this moment. Because Luo and the others have to leave suddenly. So, brothers, sorry. We need to interrupt the live broadcast for a while and have some clear drinks. Zhou Yang spoke seriously to the camera, then reached out and turned off the camera. At this time, all live broadcast rooms were closed at the same time, including the radios. Is it closed now? What exactly is going on? I always feel that things are not that simple. Ding Lei saw that there were some issues with the public opinion trend, so he posted an announcement in all the live broadcast rooms. The guests were drinking, which is not suitable for live broadcast. They will be edited and broadcast in the behind-the-scenes footage later. This is the only explanation Ding Lei can give at the moment. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add. After the live broadcast ended, Zhu Jai immediately stood up and ran to the live broadcast room to find some white wine, and Chen Chichai followed him. Luo, if you don't want to leave, I can come out. Zhou Yang stared at Su Luo seriously and said, given Zhou Yang's status and position, it is indeed not a big problem for him to solve this problem. Of course, this does not mean that Zhou Yang does not want to solve the problem in advance. But he was participating in the program and would know the news later. When Zhou Yang and others knew that Su Luo was going to quit the program, it was already a foregone conclusion. Su Luo agreed to it herself, so if Zhou Yang wanted to take action, he would definitely have to consider Su Luo's thoughts. So he asked this question. Thank you, Brother Zhou. Really, I'll keep it in mind. Su Luo hugged Zhou Yang. At this time, Zhu Jai and Chen Chichai came over, each holding a bottle of white wine. Brothers, are you trying to get me drunk? Su Luo said, looking at the two men's aura. Ha, no, let's have a drink. After all, we have to broadcast live later, Zhu Jai said with a smile. I'll go cook some side dishes, Lina said as she walked towards the kitchen. Sister Na, I'll go help you. Tang Jiru also followed behind. Xiao Mu, don't go, there's smoke. Tell Miao Miao to go back to the room and pack your luggage. I'll have a drink with the brothers. Su Luo saw that Yi Xiaomu also wanted to go to the kitchen, so she immediately stopped her and spoke. Yeah, Brother Zhou, Brother Jai, Brother Chichai. You guys drink, I'm going to go pack my luggage. Yi Xiaomu said hello to a few people and left. There were 4 people left in the pavilion. Director Ding, Director Lu, come together, Zhou Yang shouted. Soon, 6 people sat down at the table, and there was no conflict among them. During the meal, Li Na and Tang Jiru brought a few plates of snacks, put them down, and then sat aside, listening to the men teasing each other. Of course, there were also a few gentlemen bragging to each other. Ding Lei and Lu Jun complained that they were frustrated and that investors were trying to squeeze in more people when they were making movies. Well, they didn't want to do that anymore, so they decided to make TV series instead, but they would still be squeezed in more people. It's okay to shoot variety shows, but in the end you will still be restricted by capital. I'm embarrassed to expose your little tricks. Lu Jun rolled his eyes and teased. Ha. Ding Lei laughed awkwardly and did not argue. After all, as a director, what's wrong with him wanting to discuss the script with the actors? The results are all over the place, so there's nothing I can do. I'll just put my mind to it and focus on filming the variety show. Maybe a guest who understands the ways of the world will show up. Heh. Lu Jun did not continue teasing. After all, there were 3 female comrades at the scene. Except Su Luo, the other men all understood what he meant. Hehe, Chen Chicha laughed while holding the wine glass. At this time, Lu Mio came over with a suitcase and followed Yi Zairamu. Then Yi Zairamu took the guitar he had just taken from the program crew and sat next to Su Luo. Next, a few men drank 2 bottles of white wine, but did not take any more because they had to continue recording the program. Su Luo looked at the time, and it was already past 7 o'clock. "My brothers, it's almost time for me to leave," Su Luo said. Zhou Yang and Zhu Jai looked at Su Luo with a hint of reluctance in their eyes. All good things must come to an end. Likewise, parting is for a better meeting. Before I leave, I'll sing a song for everyone and for myself. Su Luo smiled, took the guitar from Yi Zairamu and began to speak. "Oh, is this your original creation?" Chen Chicha looked at Su Luo curiously and asked. Yi Zairamu also looked at Su Luo with an inquiring look. Although she knew that Su Luo had prepared a song, she had not had the time to ask before. Faced with everyone's doubts, please choose. 1. If the answer is an original song, you will be awarded 10 song reward cards. 2. Denying that it is an original song and depriving the singer of his God-level singing skills. Tip: the songs rewarded by the system are not original and are not worthy of being sung. Option 1. Selection successful. Rewards have been sent to the system space. Song reward cards can be limited to specific themes. The system will reward relevant songs. "It's an original song," Su Luo answered without hesitation. Of course, there was no system to provide a choice. As soon as Su Luo got the song, he checked the copyright and found that it was under his name. Yi Zairamu's eyes lit up next to Su Luo. She had never thought that Su Luo had original songs. When did she write them? A chord was played, and Su Luo felt a little embarrassed. "Tongzi, hurry up and give me the ability to play an instrument. I can't play the guitar." Chapter 76, like 2 little fangirls. In order to make the host more sophisticated and pretentious, I will reward the host with God-level instrument-playing ability. Note: the current guitar ability is God-level, and the abilities of other instruments will gradually be integrated. In an instant, a sense of guitar-playing techniques and abilities flooded into Su Luo's mind and body. Then Su Luo looked up at everyone, moved her fingers, and a simple chord sounded. There was no exaggerated melody that made everyone mesmerized. Because there was no special arrangement and the accompaniment was just a single guitar, it was actually a relatively normal tune. But Lu Mio on the side was a little excited and took out her mobile phone to start filming. Yi Zairamu looked at Su Luo with light in his eyes. Compared to others, Yi Zairamu is a professional singer, so she looks forward to Su Luo's original work more than anyone else. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals find product recommendations, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add, change your life. Make yourself happy, give up obsession, the weather will be nice. When the first line of lyrics came out of Su Luo's mouth, everyone's eyes lit up. Yi Zairamu's eyes were filled with surprise. She heard more that Su Luo had singing skills. Ding Lei and Lu Jun looked at each other and smiled bitterly. Is this a response to this matter? However, when they listened to it, they found that every word in the lyrics was filled with a positive attitude. The reason why a good song is a good song is that it has a beautiful melody and rich connotations that can resonate with others. Zhou Yang and Zhu Jai were also listening attentively at this moment, lost in thought. At this moment, Ding Lei even regretted agreeing to Su Luo not to broadcast live. If this song was played during the live broadcast, the number of live viewers would definitely increase dramatically. If Su Luo knew what Ding Lei was thinking, she would just sneer at him, although she doesn't have much opinion about your program team. But since the contract has been terminated, don't expect them to provide you with any more popularity. This is also the reason why Su Luo did not request a live broadcast. Although it could make him quickly famous, Su Luo did not only have this way. He only sang for Zhou Yang, Zhu Jai, and others. I am still the same boy as before. There is no chain. When the chorus sounded, Su Luo stood up but did not shout at the top of her lungs. Instead, she swayed her body casually and sang with ease using her singing skills. Zhu Jai and Zhou Yang were completely attracted by the singing at this moment. Chen Chichai also squinted his eyes and listened. The 3 of them couldn't help but smile. Looking at the condition of several people, Ding Lei and Lu Jun looked at each other, nodded, and then the 2 of them quietly left the courtyard. When Su Luo sang the chorus for the second time, what he didn't expect was that Zhou Yang, Zhu Jai, and Chen Chich also started singing along. Just like that, 4 people of different age groups, 22, 32, 37, and 45, just standing casually in the pavilion, laughing and singing. Maybe this song lacks some charm compared to some classic old songs, or the lyrics lack some connotation, but it so easily touched Zhou Yang, Zhu Jai, and Chen Chichai, and resonated with them so simply. Li Na, Tang Jiru, and Yi Xiaomu also quietly left the pavilion and stood with Lu Mio, who was recording a video. I'm still the same young Mia. After a few ending notes, the song ended. Seeing Zhou Yang still smiling as he swept across the room, Su Luo slowly spoke. I wish to travel for half my life and still be a young man when I return. For a moment, everyone looked at Su Luo with admiration in their eyes, except Yi Xiaomu and Lu Mio. Yi Xiaomu's eyes were full of admiration, while Lu Mio's eyes were full of the mobile phone because the recording was still going on. It's amazing. The last line hits the point and elevates the whole song. It's like the emotions that have been accumulating for a long time have reached a critical point and then suddenly exploded, Zhu Jai exclaimed. Chen Chichai looked at Su Luo with satisfaction, and at the same time sighed to himself in his heart that he had indeed made the right choice of Su Luo. Su Luo was indeed talented. Zhou Yang's eyes were full of surprise. This kind of song was not so much Su Luo expressing herself as it was written for everyone. It could be said to be a good song full of positive energy. Pa pa pa, Zhou Yang took the lead in applauding. Pa pa pa. Yi Xiaomu walked to Su Luo's side immediately, with admiration and love in her eyes. Brother Zhou, Brother Jai, and Brother Chich. Since that's the case, Xiaomu and I will take our leave first. Su Luo glanced at Xiaomu, put down the guitar, took her hand, and spoke. A Luo? Zhou Yang didn't say much and patted Su Luo's shoulder. A Luo? Zhu Jai walked up and hugged Su Luo. Brother Jai, I've already written Sister Ru's recipe. Relax, there's no problem. Su Luo handed a piece of paper to Zhu Jai and said with a smile. A Luo, thank you. Zhu Jai patted Su Luo on the back, took the paper, and let go of Su Luo. When Chen Chichai saw several people looking at him, he had no choice but to go forward and hug Su Luo. It's a big deal. I feel a little touched. It's not like I won't see you again. Brother Chichai, work hard tomorrow. Su Luo teased Chen Chichai with a smile, and while he was still unable to react, she pulled Yi Xiaomu out of the pavilion and stood next to Lu Mio. Sister Na, Sister Ru, will be leaving first. Su Luo and Yi Xiaomu greeted Li Na and the others. Take good care of Xiaomu, Li Na and Tang Jiru said together. I will, Su Luo nodded, gestured to Lu Mio, and then began to walk towards the courtyard. At this moment, a business car was already waiting there. At this moment, Zhou Yang and the others also followed Su Luo and the others and watched Su Luo and the other two get in the car. You guys focus on recording the show. I'll be leaving first. Su Luo lowered the window and said to a few people, then stretched out her hand and waved. Only after watching the business car drive away did Zhou Yang and his friends walk back to the courtyard feeling a little lonely. Life has to go on, and Ding Lei resumed the live broadcast as soon as Su Luo left. However, Ding Lei discovered that the popularity of the live broadcast room had declined, almost less than half of its previous level. In the car, the 3 people were silent and did not speak. Yi Xiaomu just leaned quietly on Su Luo. Yi Xiaomu now feels that Su Luo is glowing all over. She is so surprised. Mio, did you take a video just now? Yi Xiaomu asked Lu Mio, who was sitting in the passenger seat. Yes, I filmed it. You don't know, I filmed it from beginning to end. Upon hearing this, Lu Mio immediately became so excited that she started dancing with joy. Okay, send it to me. Yi Xiaomu narrowed her eyes and smiled. Is it necessary to be so excited? You two are just like little fangirls. Su Luo shook her head. Liu, you are so amazing, you must make a debut. You are so talented and your singing is so nice. Yi Xiaomu said with a smile. I support Sister Xiaomu. Let my brother-in-law make his debut. Lu Mio also raised her hand in front. Let's not talk about this for now. We'll consider everything after we get back. After all, there are some people and some things that I need to clean up. Su Luo touched the USB flash drive in his pocket and said with a smile. Chapter 77, Worry is Real Worry. Happiness is also real happiness. Liu. Hearing Su Luo's words, Yi Xiaomu looked at Su Luo worriedly, wanting to say something but stopping himself. In Yi Xiaomu's opinion, they currently have no evidence, and the other party is Brothers Entertainment, a giant in the entertainment industry. Besides, her family can only be considered a scholarly family, not a wealthy one. She also knew a little about Su Luo's family, a local pillar enterprise, but it had nothing to do with the entertainment industry. Zairamu, don't worry, I have a way. Su Luo looked at Yi Zairamu, smiled, touched her head, and spoke gently. It's not that Su Luo didn't want to tell her about the USB flash drive, but the source was a problem. At the same time, Su Luo has not seen this information yet, if this information leaked from his hands. Although it was enough to bring down Li Yang, he could imagine how much trouble there would be afterwards. Therefore, regarding this matter, Su Luo decided to wait until she had read the contents of the USB flash drive before making a long-term plan. At least we have to ensure that even if everyone knows that Su Luo did it, they can't find evidence. Of course, it would be great if there was an opportunity for Su Luo to completely hide behind the scenes. Seeing Su Luo's confident look, Yi Zairamu suppressed her worries and smiled sweetly at her. Ding-ling-ling, Yi Zairamu's phone rang. "Hello, Dad," Yi Zairamu called out after answering the phone. "Okay, we'll go back tomorrow." After saying that, Yi Zairamu hung up the phone. Yi Zhenhua didn't say much on the phone, just asked when the two would go back. Su Luo guessed that his parents should also know about this, but they didn't call him. Maybe they believed that he could handle it. "Wife, that brat and Zairamu have quit the show." Su Siyuan walked into the living room with the tablet and spoke to Sun Yun, who was putting on her coat. I know, let's talk about it when I get back." Sun Yun waved her hand and said after putting on her coat. "What, waiting for you to come back? What are you going to do?" Su Siyuan said in surprise as he watched Sun Yun walking towards the door. "My sister asked me to play cards. I'll play 2 rounds and come back to talk." After Sun Yun finished speaking, she waved to Su Siyuan, opened the door, and walked out. Banged. Su Siyuan looked at the closed door and fell into deep thought. As a business owner, Su Siyuan could naturally see that there were other hidden reasons why Su Luo and the others withdrew from the program. Considering his son's previous Weibo updates, Su Siyuan immediately guessed some reasons. All we can say is that he has the will but not the ability, and his company doesn't even have the qualifications to make a splash in the entertainment industry. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products. Data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword add Su Siyuan sighed slightly, turned on the TV and started watching a movie. Ha ha ha, unbridled laughter filled the room. Su Siyuan thought, since he couldn't help his son, he would just follow his son's wishes and be happy every day. If Su Luo were here, she would probably say, "You're such a good guy, you're really worried, but you're also really happy." In addition, Sun Yun does not really not care about her son, but she thinks that quitting the program team is a good thing. "It just so happens that I'm moving to Shanghai in the next 2 days. Wouldn't it be great if I could see my daughter-in-law and grandson every day? Well, I'll go win some money for my grandson's milk powder today." Perfect. Soon, the business car stopped in front of the Garden Hotel, which was the hotel they stayed in on the first day of their arrival. "Thank you, master. Be careful when you go back." Su Luo got out of the car with her luggage, handed over a cigarette, and then said to the driver, "You're welcome. Have you taken everything?" The driver asked, taking the cigarette. "Yes, everything is ready." Su Luo looked at the suitcase. Yi Zairamu, Lu Mio, and their belongings were all there. "Okay, I'll be leaving first," the driver said as he drove away from the Garden Hotel. Mio, have you booked the plane ticket?" Su Luo asked, while holding Yi Zairamu's left hand and pulling the luggage with her right hand. "Brother-in-law, the flight is booked at 9:35 tomorrow morning." Lu Mio, carrying a small bag, took out her cell phone and handed it to Su Luo, speaking coquettishly. Su Luo nodded, untied her luggage, took out her cell phone and transferred 20,000 yuan. "Brother-in-law." Lu Mio looked at the account arrival information and looked at Su Luo in confusion. "I guess it will be difficult to get the reimbursement this time. You can use this first and wait until the reimbursement comes." Su Luo put away her phone and said with a smile. According to Su Luo's guess, the company is very likely preparing to give up Yi Zairamu. Therefore, many procedures will be stuck. As an assistant, Lu Mio's salary is not much, and she is responsible for booking hotels and air tickets. It is not good if the reimbursement is stuck again. "Let's go." He picked up the suitcase and walked into the hotel with Yi Zairamu. Lu Mio was even more touched when she saw the news that 20,000 yuan had arrived in her account. In fact, she had just bought the plane ticket by overdrawing. Normally speaking, if she could get reimbursed when she got back, there would be no problem. But if it was really as Su Luo said, then Lu Mio would have to use her own small treasury. Seeing the two people enter the hotel, Lu Mio immediately interrupted her thoughts and trotted after them. "Sister Zairamu, brother-in-law, I'm next door. I've already booked an online taxi for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning." At the door of the room, Yizayamu swiped the room card and Lu Mio spoke. Okay, thank you for your hard work, Mio. Yizayamu said to Lu Mio with a smile. It's not hard, you should rest early. Lu Mio said, walked to the next room, swiped the card, and then walked in. Su Luo followed Yizayamu into the room, then closed the door and put the suitcase aside. Then Su Luo pulled Yizayamu to the chair beside the bed and motioned her to sit down. Looking at Yizayamu sitting down, Su Luo walked to the chair next to her and slowly sat down. It's been so long since this happened, and I haven't had a proper talk with you. There's no one else here now, Zairamu. You can tell me what you think. Su Luo looked at Yizayamu seriously and spoke gently. Until this moment, in a more private space, Yizayamu's mood suddenly began to calm down, because the emotions aroused by Su Luo's singing also began to dissipate at this moment. It doesn't really matter whether I participate in variety shows or not. I just love singing, and I don't want to disappoint my fans who have always supported me. A lost voice slowly came out of Yizayamu's mouth. Su Luo nodded after hearing this. He understood what Yizayamu meant. She entered the entertainment industry because she liked singing and stayed in the entertainment industry because she didn't want to disappoint her fans. Her original thought was that she just liked singing. If Su Luo was about to speak, ding-ling-ling, Yizayamu's phone rang again. I picked up the phone, and the caller ID showed Sister Ye. Hello, Sister Ye, Yizayamu said softly after answering the phone. Chapter 78 Studio Plan is on the agenda. Zyro Mew, Tanya's voice was a little heavy. Sister Ye, it's okay, just talk. Yizayamu glanced at Su Luo, turned on the hands-free mode, and spoke. I just went back to the company. The company held a meeting for more than an hour regarding your matter. Finally, President Yang came and announced that you would be put on ice, Tanya said with a sigh. Who is this Mr. Yang? Su Luo asked. Yang Xiaodong, the third largest shareholder of Luohua Entertainment. Hearing Su Luo's voice, Tanya was not surprised at all and began to explain. He is only the third largest shareholder. Does he have the right to hide a superstar? Su Luo asked doubtfully. After all, everyone knows the earning power of top divas. Under normal circumstances, with various high-end endorsements and concerts, they definitely have the ability to make money. Although many endorsement contracts have been terminated and concerts cannot be held due to the pregnancy and marriage incidents, this is only temporary. After the reversal of reputation, she still has the ability to make money. Besides, the value of the queen is definitely not just about making money. He took out 100 million in cash on the spot, indicating that this was an investment from Brothers Entertainment, and the requirement was to put Yizayamu on ice. Tanya explained the reason. Zyro Mew must have helped the company earn more than 100 million in the past 2 years. Su Luo frowned and said, Yang Xiaodong said that Brothers Entertainment also gave a spot to a girl group through a talent show. I think they're planning to put their chips on popular stars. After all, Xiaomu doesn't make 100 million yuan a year, while a traffic star may get 80-90 million yuan just for filming a TV series, Tanya said with some emotion. Sister Ye, is there no chance of this happening? Su Luo asked, not seeking a solution. But if it is confirmed that Xiaomu is going to be put on ice, then Su Luo is ready to take this opportunity to help Yizayamu terminate the contract. Everything has been settled. I guess the company will issue an internal announcement tomorrow at the latest, Tanya said helplessly. Sister Ye, can you help me calculate, if Xiaomu terminates the contract, how much will the liquidated damages be? Su Luo glanced at Yizayamu and said with a smile, Xiaomu's contract with the company still has 6 years left. If she terminates the contract early, the total penalty will be around 100 million. Tanya said this with a heavy tone. 6 more years? How many years are signed in total? Su Luo asked in surprise. The contract is for 10 years in total, Yizayamu explained. Have you signed this contract? And weren't you in school 4 years ago? Su Luo asked curiously. I skipped a grade and went to college at the age of 16. I studied for a bachelor's and master's degree, graduated at the age of 21, and then signed a contract with Luohua Entertainment, Yizayamu explained. Let's skip this topic. Su Luo touched her nose. This academic master you can't compare. Yizayamu looked at Su Luo, covered her mouth and smiled, and her heavy mood felt much better. Apart from 100 million, are there any other problems? Su Luo asked. If it is 100 million, his father should be able to take it out. But it is not easy to transfer the money because it is a company account, and it is not easy to transfer it to a private name. But there must be a way. Of course, Su Luo would also find a way to let Luohua earn the penalty, and she would definitely feel uncomfortable. Also, all the songs from the previous 2 albums can no longer be sung, Tanya said helplessly. No, Sister Ya, can you sign a contract like this? Besides, Xiaomu became a superstar last year, right? She didn't even change her contract. Su Luo was speechless. Isn't this kind of contract a predatory contract? Liu, this is a new contract I signed, Yi Xiaomu said weakly. Huh, Su Luo let out a long sigh and looked at Yi Xiaomu with a complicated look in her eyes. Yi Xiaomu didn't know how others felt, but she felt that Su Luo's eyes were as if she was looking at a mentally retarded person. Su Luo, let me explain this. You also know that there are some rules in the entertainment industry, right? Xiaomu has clearly stated that she will not participate in any resource exchanges or accompany drinking. When Tanya heard Su Luo's voice, she immediately explained. Sister Ye, you also know about Xiaomu, and I even so we were both drugged. Tell me, is this kind of contract useful? Su Luo's voice was a little serious, and at the same time she felt a little resentful towards Tanya. She couldn't even protect her own artists, yet she allowed them to sign such a contract. The Q rules are called Q rules because they are things that cannot be put on the table. It is too natural to use them as a reason to sign a contract. It's not that Su Luo thinks Yi Xiaomu is wrong, but even the copyright of the song is controlled by the company. This kind of contract really makes Su Luo speechless. Yi Xiaomu looked at Su Luo, stood up and walked to Su Luo's side, pulled his clothes and tugged gently. It's definitely right not to get involved in those things, and I still want to commend them here. After being reminded by Yi Xiaomu, Su Luo also realized that her attitude just now was a bit bad, and immediately changed her words. Puchai, Yi Xiaomu laughed out loud immediately. Sometimes the way Su Luo spoke was really funny. Still laughing, you've been sold and are still helping others count money. Only you, Yi Xiaomu, can do that. Su Luo looked at Yi Xiaomu and said helplessly, I was wrong. From now on, I will listen to you. Yi Xiaomu pretended to be aggrieved and said in a low voice. Then he sat on Su Luo's lap, held Su Luo's neck and kissed his cheek. Cough, cough. Su Luo's face felt hot and she coughed twice. Sister Yo, if that's the case, then I'll just say it straight. Su Luo rubbed Yi Xiaomu's head and then spoke seriously. Well, you say. I plan to let Yi Xiaomu terminate the contract and then open a studio. Su Luo stated the conclusion first. Yi Xiaomu was shocked but did not say anything. She just hugged Su Luo quietly and listened to him. The penalty for breach of contract is 100 million, Tanya said in surprise. I'll find a way to do this. I told Sister Yer about this. I just wanted to ask if you want to come over and continue to take care of Xiaomu. I'm willing to do this in my heart, Tanya said, not explicitly refusing nor agreeing outright. We are all here to make a living. We can't just work for free just because we have good connections. It is better to make things clear in advance to avoid hurting feelings, and Su Luo also understands this. Sister Ye, I won't beat around the bush. 10% of the shares. Also, I'll have Xiaomu send you a video later. Watch it first and call me back after you're done. After Su Luo finished speaking, she hung up the phone and handed it to Yi Xiaomu. After Yi Xiaomu took the phone, he stood up, walked to the chair next to him and sat down, opened WeChat on his phone and sent the video of Su Luo singing. Liu, do you really want to set up a studio? After sending the message, Yi Xiaomu put down his phone, looked at Su Luo and asked hesitantly. Yes, your company is not good. It's better to terminate the contract as soon as possible. Isn't it better for us to be our own bosses? Su Luo smiled and looked at Yi Xiaomu, blinked, and then held her hand. Okay, but... Yi Xiaomu held Su Luo's hand with his backhand and said with embarrassment. Chapter 79, I really just want to protect Yi Xiaomu. Xiaomu, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Su Luo squeezed Yi Xiaomu's hand and said softly. But 100 million is too much. I haven't made 50 million in these years. Yi Xiaomu said in a low voice. Xiaomu, the drama is over. You have earned tens of millions in 4 years and have defeated at least 80% of your Chinese compatriots. You are so Versailles. Su Luo rolled her eyes and said speechlessly. HMPH, I mean compared to the penalty, it's still far from enough. When Yi Xiaomu heard Su Luo's words, her face turned red. She snorted and said coquettishly. I'll find a way to deal with the penalty for breach of contract, Su Luo said, and her firm tone made Yi Xiaomu feel relieved. Ding-ling-ling, the phone rang. Yi Xiaomu answered the call and pressed the hands-free button. Sister Ya, Su Luo, is this song original? Tanya asked with some surprise and a hint of excitement. Yes, how about it, Sister Ya? Are you willing to help Xiaomu? Su Luo smiled at Yi Xiaomu and asked. Okay, but apart from Zairamu and you, of course the premise is that you are willing to debut. I will still take the normal commission for other artists. Tanya thought for a moment and spoke. Su Luo was not surprised. No one would really work for someone at a loss just because they had a good relationship with them. This also avoided disputes over funds after signing an artist in the future. Okay, Sister Ya, let's meet tomorrow to discuss the details. After Zairamu terminates her contract, we'll set up the studio. Okay, by the way, what time is your flight tomorrow? Tanya asked. Sister Ya, the flight is at 9:35 in the morning and will arrive at the Magic City Airport at 12:50. Yi Zairamu replied. Okay, I'll hang up now. Go to bed early. I'll pick you up at noon tomorrow. Okay, Yi Zairamu said and hung up the phone. Liu, have you really thought it through? Yi Zairamu looked at Su Luo and said, well, setting up a studio is something I've been thinking about these past few days. I originally wanted to call it Fallen Leaf Entertainment, but when I think of fallen flowers, I just feel a little uncomfortable. Su Luo said helplessly, pick a leaf, falling leaves, how beautiful it sounds. But there is also a falling flower. Puche, seeing Su Luo's depressed look, Yi Zairamu laughed out loud. It's just a name, why do you think so much about it? Yi Zairamu touched Su Luo's cheek and said with a smile, don't you think this name is romantic? Su Luo looked at Yi Zairamu in surprise. Don't all girls like this? This is his experience. Such small details are written in many books. No, not only that, I think you're so childish. Yi Zairamu covered her mouth, laughed secretly, and narrowed her eyes. Then come up with a name, the name of our studio. Su Luo looked at the girl in front of her, who was giggling and spoke awkwardly. No, I can't come up with a name. Yi Zairamu waved his hands repeatedly. Forget it, let's not think about it for now. Su Luo shook her head and temporarily gave up the idea of naming. Do you want to have a midnight snack? Su Luo stood up, opened the suitcase, and started taking out her and Zairomu's pajamas as well as spare clothes. I don't want to eat any more. I'm not hungry now. Yi Zairamu said, stood up, and carefully took out the wooden sculpture that Su Luo gave her from her pocket. Liu, you are so awesome. Yi Zairamu had never looked carefully before. After looking at it now, I realized that the two people above are really similar to them, even exactly the same. It's just average, ha ha ha. Su Luo walked over after picking up the clothes and said proudly when she saw the wood carving in Yi Zairamu's hand. Thank you, husband. I like this gift very much. Yi Zairamu held the wooden sculpture tightly in both hands, looked at Su Luo and said seriously, wife, as long as you like it. Su Luo couldn't hold back her laughter when she heard Yi Zairamu calling her husband. Looking at Su Luo's appearance, Yi Zairamu's lips curved up slightly. After a while, Su Luo put away her smile and coughed twice. Seeing Yi Zairamu looking at her, she glanced at the pajamas at the end of the bed. You old pervert. Looking at Su Luo's expression, Yi Zairamu knew what he meant and muttered with a slightly red face. Then he stood up, carrying two people's spare clothes and pajamas, and walked into the bathroom. Seeing this, Su Luo smiled and followed him in. Of course, Su Luo did not do anything bad during the whole process. He really just wanted to protect Yi Zairamu. After taking a shower, Su Luo used a hair dryer to help Yi Zairamu blow dry her hair. Actually, sometimes I think this kind of life is pretty good, Yi Zairamu said casually while listening to the buzzing sound. Not good, Su Luo said with a bitter face. It will take at least a month and a half to get better. You hooligan. Yi Zairamu's face turned red as he heard Su Luo's answer, and he said angrily, Liu, how about I just quit the circle? After hesitating for a moment, Yi Zairamu spoke. Although she loves singing and doesn't want to disappoint her fans, the price to pay is too high. The pressure of 100 million is on Su Luo. Even if she deducts her own savings, it will still be tens of millions. After all, Su Luo is only 22 years old. No matter how important her fans are, they are not as important as Su Luo. I can live with Su Luo like this and sing for her often. Thinking this way, this kind of life is pretty good. She had never done anything for Su Luo, so Yi Zairamu felt it was completely acceptable for her to quit the entertainment industry for him. What are you thinking about? If you retire, how can I brag to others that my wife is a big star? Su Luo picked up a strand of hair and blew it from top to bottom. Childish, are you going to compete with others again to see whose wife is prettier? Yi Zairamu teased Su Luo with a smile on his face. Well, no one should dare to compete with me in this. I can't find any reason to lose. Su Luo said proudly with a look on her face. Yi Zairamu also narrowed her eyes happily. If we compare body shapes, I don't think I can win. Su Luo saw that her hair was dry, put away the hair dryer, and then said quietly, Su Luo, I'm going to fight you. Yizayamu was stunned when he heard Su Luo's words, muttering the word figure in his mouth, and then suddenly reacted. Then he immediately turned around, grabbed Su Luo's hand with his left hand, and patted Su Luo a few times with his right hand. "Hate it, you despise me," Yizayamu said in a low voice. "No, why would I dislike you? I was just teasing you. You always say I'm young." Yizayamu pretended to be angry and glared at Su Luo. "You should think like this. I am proud of myself. I save fabric for China." Su Luo used a short joke to tease Yizayamu. "Ah, Puchai." Yizayamu cried out speechlessly, then thought of what Su Luo said about saving fabric and couldn't help but laughed. Chapter 80, Couples Night Talk. "Okay, Yizayamu, it's just small. I was just saying it casually. I really like it." Su Luo pulled Yizayamu with her right hand, hugged her in her arms, and spoke gently. "Hate it?" Yizayamu's face turned red. She said she didn't like it, but she insisted on sleeping with him every day. "Su Luo, you are a hooligan." The two of them cuddled for a while, and then lay down on the bed. Yizayamu lay in Su Luo's arms, singing her previous song softly. Ding-ling-ling, Yizayamu's phone rang. "Liu Liu, help me get my phone." Yizayamu opened his shining eyes and looked at Su Luo expectantly. Shaking her head, Su Luo got up from the bed, picked up the cell phone from the table, handed it to Yizayamu, and then lay down next to Yizayamu. I glanced and saw that the caller ID was Zhu Qing. "Hello, Xiaoqing." Yizayamu took the phone and answered the call. "Xiaomu, you quit the program?" Zhu Qing said in surprise. "This happened several hours ago. You just found out about it," Yizayamu said with a smile. "My event just ended. As soon as I saw it, I sent it to you immediately. What's going on?" Zhu Qing said anxiously. "It's okay, don't worry." Yizayamu smiled and said, "My best friend is just a singer. You said too much and made her worry for nothing. I'm not stupid. Nothing's wrong. I can quit the show if nothing happens. It's really okay, don't worry." "All right, since you said you're fine, I'll just believe you. So are you going back to the Magic City?" Zhu Qing didn't ask any further questions. After all, Yizayamu didn't tell her because he probably didn't want her to worry too much. "Well, I'll go back tomorrow. How about a dinner date tomorrow night?" "Well, sure." Yizayamu hesitated for a moment and nodded in agreement. "Remember to bring your husband," Zhu Qing reminded. "Why bring him here?" Yizayamu blushed, glanced at Su Luo secretly, and said in a low voice. It had been several days since they got married, but Yizayamu hadn't introduced Su Luo to her best friends yet. When Zhu Qing suddenly mentioned this, she actually felt a little nervous. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword add Xiaomu. You don't think I asked you out for dinner just for the sake of it, do you? "No way, no way," Zhu Qing teased Xiaomu in a sarcastic tone. "Why aren't you talking? Oh my, you found a handsome husband, but you hide him and dare not see anyone." Zhu Qing continued talking when she saw that Yizayamu didn't answer. "Tusk, I'm just afraid that you'll be fascinated by my husband and won't be able to find a boyfriend in the future," Yizayamu said with a pout. "Hey, how did you become like this? You are not Yizayamu. Tell me quickly, where did you hide Xiaomu?" "Ha ha ha, I'll treat you to dinner tomorrow night." Su Luo was beside her. Yizayamu always felt a little uncomfortable chatting with Zhu Qing. After all, many times, the scope and content of conversations between best friends are something that you would never tell your boyfriend or husband. "It's not you, it's you guys," Zhu Qing emphasized. Okay, we'll treat you to dinner tomorrow night." Yizayamu rolled her eyes. The two chatted for a few more words and then hung up the phone. "Zhu Qing, my best friend, I met her when I just debuted." Yizayamu looked at Su Luo and said. Su Luo nodded, put her right hand under Yizayamu's head and held her in her arms. "We'll treat her to dinner tomorrow. After we got the marriage certificate, I haven't introduced you to my friends," Yizayamu said with a smile. "Is this your only friend in the entertainment industry?" Su Luo regretted asking this question. Didn't this touch Yizayamu's sore spot? "I only have this one good friend. I don't need to get to know the other friends." Yizayamu's expression changed slightly. When Su Luo was being attacked, only Zhu Qing posted a Weibo, and she had never even met Su Luo. Yizayamu rarely participates in business and has not participated in variety shows before, although she knows few people there. But she has helped those second-tier and third-tier singers before, as well as some other singers she knows. Even if they didn't know Su Luo, after the show was broadcast live, everyone knew that Su Luo was Yizayamu's husband. That's it, no one spoke up for Su Luo. Yizayamu did not hold a grudge against them for this. It was normal not to help at that time, and helping was a gesture of friendship. This is normal. If it doesn't concern you, just stay out of it. If you don't come out to step on your fellow entertainment fans, then you're not a bad person. I'm sorry, Zairamu. Suluo looked at Yi Zairamu's expression changing, tightened her arms, and spoke gently. It's okay. I'm just a little disappointed, but I've come to terms with it. It was good enough that they didn't say anything at that time. If they had really stepped on me, that would have been troublesome. Yi Zairamu looked up at Suluo, smiled sweetly, and began to speak. It's okay. It's enough to have a close friend in life. Suluo patted Yi Zairamu gently and comforted her. In fact, after a little thought, Suluo knew why those people did not speak out. Suluo's case was a real hammer at the time. And strictly speaking, Yi Zairamu cannot be considered a queen of pop yet. But given the current environment, the music scene is indeed a bit more watered down. Even if he did Yi Zairamu a favor and spoke up for Suluo, he might end up losing himself because of Suluo being hammered. Then these people will naturally weigh the pros and cons. But Yi Zairamu herself has no resources, so they cannot get corresponding resource returns from Yi Zairamu. Then keeping silent is the best option. Of course, because of the reversal of facts, some people who have been helped by Yi Zairamu may be slandered. But in fact, the entertainment companies are not there to sit around and do nothing. They can just hire some internet trolls to deal with the issue, and the matter will be over. So in fact, Suluo's incident really didn't cause much waves on Weibo. It heats up quickly and cools down quickly. In fact, the current trending searches on Weibo have become, Suluo and Yi Zairamu have withdrawn from the celebrity couple's daily program. Hot. Who are the new celebrity couple guests? Hot. The previous incident of Suluo being hacked seemed to have been forgotten. It only made a splash and the heat died down. Don't show off in front of me. I'm afraid you'll bring shame upon yourself. Yi Zairamu teased, looking at Suluo. As expected of a Master of Arts student who skipped a grade. He even signed a domineering contract. Looking at Yi Zairamu's smug look, Suluo smiled and spoke. HMPH, even if I were given another choice, I would still sign. Yi Zairamu frowned and snorted. I support you. My wife is sticking to her principles. Luohua Entertainment is a piece of shit, using the contract to threaten you. Suluo looked at Yi Zairamu, stood firmly on her side, and denounced Luohua Entertainment. In fact, Suluo did not insist on the copyright of Yi Zairamu's previous songs. He had 10 song reward cards, which was enough for Yi Zairamu to make 2 albums. Moreover, judging from the teenagers provided by the system, in this music scene with a lot of water in it, these songs are likely to be a hit. Chapter 80, When You Look Like a Nymphomaniac Now. Yi Zairamu looked at Suluo, smiled, and said nothing more. Go to sleep. Suluo patted Yi Zairamu gently and said softly. It's just past 9 o'clock, it's too early. Yi Zairamu frowned and muttered. You're less than 3 months old now. Suluo looked at Yi Zairamu and said deliberately. You hooligan, your head is full of this stuff. Yi Zairamu slapped Suluo hard. Zaiomu, I will accompany you to all the prenatal checkups, Suluo said seriously. Although she had mentioned it before, Suluo's tone was more serious this time. Suluo didn't go for the first prenatal checkup because she didn't know about it, but she didn't want to miss any of them after that. Thinking about a little life growing up little by little, Suluo felt very complicated, magical, expectant, and a little scared. Well, the next prenatal checkup will be after May 9th. It seems that we need to do Down syndrome screening. Yi Zairamu nodded and agreed. Suluo immediately took out her cell phone and looked up the information about Down syndrome screening, including the information about caring for pregnant women. Looking at Suluo's appearance, Yi Zairamu touched her belly and smiled. Look at you cramming at the last minute. We've got the marriage certificate several days ago, and you're only looking at it now. Yi Zairamu teased Suluo with a smile. I checked it out a few days ago, but I'm not very clear about specific things like prenatal examinations. Suluo said as she showed Yi Zairamu the previous query records. Precautions during pregnancy. What foods should not be eaten during pregnancy? When can I have sex? Why you can't have sex during the first 3 months of pregnancy? You hooligan, you're still checking those things. Yi Zairamu was looking at the records and suddenly saw the record at the bottom and cursed with a red face and a smile. Haha, I was just checking for fun. Suluo took a look, touched his head, and smiled awkwardly. Yi Zairamu glared at Suluo with a half-smile. Then the two chatted about prenatal checkups and due dates. Zairamu, go to bed, you look sleepy, Suluo said as she saw Yi Zairamu beginning to feel tired. Well, let's sleep. Yi Zairamu nodded, moved in Suluo's arms, and found a comfortable position. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products. Data type equals 1. Data value equals 1930/TT keyword add. In the morning, the two woke up very early, washed up, and called Lu Mayo Mio to have breakfast in the restaurant. Eat more, Su Luo looked at Yizayaramu and said softly. If I eat any more, I'll turn into a pig. I just weighed myself at the door and I weigh 100 pounds. Yizayaramu said with a bitter face. Don't worry about your weight now. Su Luo smiled and rubbed Yizayaramu's head. Lu Mayo Mio curled her lips at the side. Was he waking her up so early in the morning just to make her eat dog food? Sister Zayaramu, brother-in-law, I'm full. Lu Mayo Mio quickly finished the breakfast in front of her and spoke. Have you packed your things? Su Luo had almost finished eating, so she put down her chopsticks and asked. Well, I just have a bag, here it is. Lu Mayo Mio nodded and said. Okay, it's almost time. I'll go get the luggage, you stay here with Zayaramu. We'll meet in the lobby later. Okay. Zairo eat slowly. I'll go upstairs to get something. You guys wait for me in the hall later. Su Luo looked at Yizayaramu beside her and said. You go ahead, I'm almost done eating. Yizayaramu put down his chopsticks and picked up the tissue on the table to wipe his mouth. Okay, then you guys go to the hall first, I'll be down soon, Su Luo said and left the restaurant. Watching Su Luo leave, Yizayaramu took out the wood carving from his pocket. Look, he stretched out his hand with a smile, motioning Lu Mayo Mio to look over. Wow, it seems so, Lu Mayo Mio exclaimed. Is my brother-in-law really that powerful? Lu Mayo Mio had already overestimated Su Luo as much as possible, but she still didn't expect that he had such skills. Although Lu Mayo Mio also saw Su Luo giving a gift to Yizayaramu in the courtyard, she was too far away and could not see it clearly. Ha ha ha, you must be envious. Yizayaramu laughed loudly and played with the wood carving lovingly. This is a gift from my husband. Mayo Mio, take a look, aren't they exactly the same? Sister Zayaramu, please be more restrained and stop showing off your husband. Lu Mayo Mio said helplessly in a low voice. Lu Mayo Mio sometimes sighed that these two people progressed too fast. They had only known each other for exactly 1 week. However, if Yizayaramu knew what Lu Mayo Mio was thinking, he would definitely say that some people may not have any feelings even after knowing each other for 10 years. While for some people, the story may have begun at the first sight. But for Su Luo, perhaps their story should have started in August last year when she heard and saw Yizayaramu singing on the screen at Tao Xingxing Bar. How am I showing off? I just really like this gift. When Yizayaramu heard what Lu Mayo Mio said, his eyes narrowed with a smile and he spoke proudly. Sister Zayaramu, pay attention to your image. You look like a nympho now, Lu Mayo Mio said in a low voice. Cough, cough. Yizayaramu started coughing and felt a little embarrassed when she thought about her condition. Lu Mayo Mio lowered her head and chuckled. Love makes people blind and lowers their intelligence. Well, let's go and wait for him in the lobby. Yizayaramu put on a mask and sunglasses, stood up and walked ahead. Lu Mayo Mio immediately stood up, picked up her bag and followed. Nothing happened just now, and you didn't see anything. Yizayaramu in front suddenly stopped, turned around and whispered in Lu Mayo Mio's ear. Then Yizayaramu stepped back, stretched out his right hand and crossed it across his neck. Looking at the stunned Lu Mayo Mio, Yizayaramu was very satisfied. He turned around and continued to walk out. Brother-in-law, Sister Zayaramu just went crazy over the wooden sculpture you gave her, and even threatened me not to tell anyone. Lu Mayo Mio chuckled, took out her cell phone, sent a message to Su Luo, and then followed her. Su Luo returned to the room, packed her luggage, and put away the clothes she had taken off yesterday. After a quick look around and finding nothing missing, he pulled his luggage into the elevator. Ding dong. Looking at the message sent by Lu Mayo Mio and imagining what Yizayaramu looked like, Su Luo couldn't help laughing out loud. Ding, the elevator door opened, and Su Luo walked out of the elevator carrying her suitcase. Brother-in-law here. Lu Mayo Mio waved and shouted not far away. On the side was the quiet Yizayaramu, who was standing beside the sofa with her hands behind her back, waiting for Su Luo in a coquettish manner. Mayo Mio, has the car arrived? Su Luo walked forward, stretched out her hand, held Yizayaramu's, and asked Lu Mayo Mio. I'm already waiting at the door. Okay, let's get ready to leave, Su Luo said with a smile. After checking out, the three of them got on an online taxi and headed for the airport. 30 minutes later, the three people stood at the gate of Jiangcheng Airport. Why are there so many people? Su Luo frowned as she looked at the crowded square. Brother-in-law, it seems he is a new guest on the celebrity couple program. Lu Mayo Mio often pays attention to various entertainment news and spoke at this time. Chapter 82, Arrival at the Magic City. Su Luo's mouth twitched as she looked at the group of people in front of her, many of whom were holding cheering signs. Zhang Nan loves Wang Gran. The two are idols who debuted in a girl group in 2020 and a boy group in 2021, respectively. This is too exaggerated, Su Luo said speechlessly. They must have leaked the flight number on purpose, so someone would come to pick them up and make it a trending topic. Lu Miao curled her lips, looking down on this kind of hype. Over there, the airport security has come to maintain order. Lu Miao stood on tiptoe and pointed into the distance. Never mind the Miao, where is the VIP lounge? Su Luo asked. At the same time, Su Luo immediately hugged Yi Xiaomu in his arms. Although they were at the outermost part and there were not many people around, he had to protect Yi Xiaomu if anything happened. Over there, Lu Miao said, and took Su Luo and the other person around from the outside. The three of them walked around the outside for a while, and finally reached the VIP lounge. Is traffic so amazing now? Su Luo exclaimed as the three of them swiped their ID cards and walked into the VIP lounge. Yes, brother-in-law, it's Zhang Nan. He just debuted last year, but he already has more fans than Sister Xiaomu, Lu Miao explained. Aren't idols allowed to date? Why are they participating in a celebrity couple show? Su Luo said curiously. He didn't pay attention to the entertainment industry yesterday, especially the program crew. After we left last night, the live broadcast's popularity plummeted. We then revamped the program overnight, and now have viewers voting on various tasks each day, including the daily voting task you mentioned. That one is also retained. Finally, another couple was invited, as well as Zhang Nan and Wang Gran, a fake couple. Lu Miao carefully explained the latest revision of the program. Su Luo took out her phone, searched for the celebrity couple's daily program group, and looked at the latest rules. Yi Xiaomu sat quietly next to Su Luo, her head resting on his shoulder, watching Su Luo open the live broadcast room and check the current content. Zhou Yang and Zhu Jai, along with a couple Su Luo didn't know, were playing games. Su Luo frowned as she listened to Lu Jun's explanation and compared it with the official program description. Apart from eating, we spent the whole day playing various games. Is this crazy? Ding Lei smiled bitterly in his heart. As soon as Su Luo and the other person left, their popularity dropped by half. Their popularity had increased slightly from making games, but once they stopped, it would drop back down immediately. He was also helpless. Zhou Yang was too serious and proper, while Zhu Jai was a bit straight. Neither of them could carry the show. When Su Luo was around, she could sometimes ignite the playfulness or nature in the two of them, but it was obviously not possible now. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals quality recommendations, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword. Add the next two pairs of guests are relatively young people recommended by investors and selected by Ding Lei. This program has caught a cold. Su Luo shook her head, put away her phone, and muttered to herself. Brother-in-law, what did you say? Lu Miao asked immediately as if she heard something about a show. I mean, the show about this celebrity couple's daily life is going to fail. Su Luo said to Lu Miao with a smile. Ah, even Zhang Nan is here this time, and that celebrity couple was also the top star in the past 2 years. Shouldn't this be even more popular? Lu Miao looked at Su Luo in confusion. Su Luo didn't answer. It was almost time, so she pulled Yi Xiaomu up and boarded the plane. It was originally a daily dog food program for couples, but it suddenly turned into a game show. The program's original biggest selling point was abandoned, so the program will naturally become unpopular. As for the top stars, fans will gather to watch. That is even more difficult. After all, the production team can't just give the camera to one person, and she has to pretend to be his girlfriend in front of the camera. If she does this on the show, it will be easy for her to lose fans. In short, this show will probably be dead soon. Su Luo would not take the initiative to call for help, and he even felt a little happy about it now. No matter what, Su Luo is only 22 years old. She was terminated by the program team, so she still felt a little resentful. But now that she found out that the program might be doomed, Su Luo actually wanted to laugh. It's nothing, just treat it as my nonsense. Let's put this matter behind us. Let's talk about it back at the Demon City. Su Luo was actually getting a little excited as he spoke. The sight of him waving the crimson sky brought out his guilt and other emotions. Soon, the three people sat down in their seats. When the flight attendant saw them, she suddenly became very excited. These flight attendants suppressed their excitement and did not disturb Su Luo and the other two immediately. Instead, one of them came up after the plane took off. Excuse me, are you Su Luo? The flight attendant asked in a low voice. I am, what's wrong? Su Luo asked curiously. We are your fans. The stewardess became even more excited when she heard Su Luo admit it. Yi Xiaomu also looked at the flight attendant in surprise. Obviously, she did not expect to meet a fan. Thank you for your support. Su Luo and Yi Xiaomu looked at each other and said with a smile. Can we take a photo? The flight attendant asked excitedly. There were not many people in the first-class cabin at that time. When the others heard what the flight attendant said, they just looked at Su Luo curiously and found that she was not familiar, so they stopped paying attention. It was not until Yi Xiaomu, Su Luo, and the flight attendants took a photo together that they noticed that it was Yi Xiaomu and his wife. How do you feel? After getting off the plane, Yi Xiaomu asked Su Luo with a smile. It's okay, just a little tired. Su Luo shook her right hand and said with a smile. At first, they took photos and signed autographs with the flight attendants one by one. Then other passengers saw them and asked for photos and autographs as well. You'll get used to it. Yi Xiaomu covered her mouth and smiled. I didn't expect that I would have fans, Su Luo said with some surprise. You have millions of fans on Weibo. Why are you surprised now? Yi Xiaomu rolled her eyes at Su Luo and teased her that she felt Su Luo was like a child showing off his toys. Haha, I mean I've encountered this in real life. This is the first time. It's quite interesting. There will be more and more in the future, Yi Xiaomu said, dragging Su Luo's hand and walking out. When the three of them left the airport, they saw Tanya waiting on the roadside. Sister Ya, three people greeted. Xiao Luo, Xiao Miu Miao Miao, get in the car. Tanya smiled at the three of them and spoke. Lu Miao Miao consciously opened the passenger door and got in. Su Luo opened the back door, let Yi Xiaomu get in first, and then put the suitcase in the trunk. Sister Ya, please take us to the mall first so I can buy a laptop, Su Luo said after getting in the car. I have a new one in my trunk. Did you see it just now? It was given to me by someone before. If you need it, you can use it, Tanya said with a smile. Chapter 83. It's not that I snatched a daughter, but that I gained a son. Thank you very much, Sister Ya, Su Luo said, got out of the car, looked in the trunk, and saw a laptop box that had not been opened yet. Su Luo immediately opened it, then took the notebook and got back into the car. Thank you, Sister Ya. Su Luo was not too polite to Tanya, she just said thank you. You're welcome, Tanya said and started the car. Liu, what are you doing? Yi Xiaomu asked curiously. It's nothing, I'll need it later, Su Luo said with a smile. He didn't check the contents of the USB drive immediately. Since he didn't plan to let Yi Xiaomu know from the beginning, Su Luo wouldn't look at it immediately. After a while, Tanya brought the three of them to a restaurant, and the four of them had a simple meal. Xiao Luo, why are you carrying your computer while eating? Tanya asked curiously. Isn't this a gift from Sister Ya? I have to carry it with me every day, Su Luo said with a smile. It's okay to put it in Sister Ya's car. It won't be lost, and it has been kept in the car before, Yi Xiaomu also said on the side. It's okay, I just recited it casually. Let's eat, Su Luo smiled. Sister Ya Xiaomu went back to Shanghai today. What does her company say now? Su Luo asked in the private room after dinner. It's the same news as before. All work will be suspended, Tanya sighed and spoke. In other words, the entire company has now agreed to put Xiao Miu on ice. Su Luo smiled and asked seriously. No matter what, there are always juniors in the company who have been promoted or helped by Yi Xiaomu. At least so far, Yi Xiaomu has not received any calls or support. Su Luo looked at Yi Xiaomu, who lowered her head and rubbed her hair helplessly. Yi Xiaomu is a very gentle person, and obviously has no problems in dealing with people. It's just that I'm not popular, but I don't realize it. However, there is a saying that goes, men are excellent because of loneliness, and women are lonely because of excellence. When others have opinions about Yi Xiaomu, even if she helps them, they will not be grateful but will only look down on her. That's basically it, Tanya nodded. Tomorrow is Saturday, let Xiaomu rest for 2 days. Next Monday, I plan to take Xiaomu to terminate the contract. Sister Ya, what do you think? Su Luo considered the current situation. If there was no other way, asking his father to raise money would obviously take some time. Now he is not 100% confident. After all, Su Luo does not have any foundation at the moment. He can only say that he has a trump card of desperate efforts. Liu, there's actually no need to terminate the contract. It's also good to slowly retire from the entertainment industry and live with you. Yi Xiaomu held Su Luo's hand and spoke softly. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add look. I don't have a job now. If you quit the entertainment industry, we will both be left with nothing. Su Luo scratched Yizayaramu's nose. I still have tens of millions. Yizayaramu rubbed his nose and said with a smile, we can't just sit back and enjoy all the savings. And then wouldn't I be a gigolo? Su Luo said with a smile. It doesn't matter, I'll support you. Yizayaramu smiled sweetly. That's enough, you two. It's time to show off your love, right? Tanya rolled her eyes and spoke. Lu Mio, who was standing by, lowered her head and played with her phone, not intending to interrupt at all. All right, I'll take you home. Go home and spend some quality time with yourselves. Seeing that everyone was full, Tanya got up and went out to pay the bill. Sister, you don't get married. I can do it. Su Luo immediately stood up and chased after her. Lu Mio walked out with Yizayaramu. Finally, Su Luo said, Yizayaramu is here, and if they argue for a long time and get discovered again, she will successfully win the right to pay the bill. Okay then, we'll go out first and wait for you in the car, Tanya said, pulling Yizayaramu and Lu Mio out of the hotel. After paying the bill, Su Luo immediately returned to the box, turned on the computer and plugged in the USB drive. The entire USB flash drive is divided into several parts. One evidence that Li Yang, using his identity as the director of Brothers Entertainment's investment department, embezzled and misappropriated investment funds. 2. Li Yang used the identity of Brothers Entertainment to regulate artists and profit from the content. 3. Li Yang used drugging many times and filmed videos of what happened in the hotel. Su Luo saw the transaction between Li Yang and Yang Xiaodong in the second part. Su Luo transferred the video to her mobile phone, saved all the contents, put away the USB drive and computer, and left the hotel. Liu, what took you so long? Yizayaramu asked as soon as she got in the car. I went to the bathroom. Su Luo made an excuse with a smile. Xiaomu, where are we going? Tanya asked from the driver's seat. Let's go to my parents' place. Yizayaramu glanced at Su Luo, put down his phone, and spoke. My parents are somewhat worried about this matter, so I still have to go back and explain it to them. Why are you looking at me? My parents have always liked me. Su Luo looked at Yizayaramu and said with a smile. What do they like about you? Do they like that you kidnapped their daughter? Yizayaramu lowered his head to glance at the phone that had not been hung up yet, looked at Su Luo's smug expression, and started to tease. That's not the case. This is not about snatching a daughter from them. This is about giving them an extra son, Su Luo said with a smile. Well, son, come and answer the phone. Yizayaramu raised the phone in his hand. Yi Zhenhua and Sun Tingting were on the other side of the phone. Their mouths cracked as they listened to Su Luo's words. Seeing that their daughter and son-in-law still have such a good relationship, the two of them naturally feel a lot more relieved. What you call me, son? Huh. Su Luo looked at Yizayaramu in surprise and then saw that the phone was on a call and it showed Dad. My body trembled immediately, not because I was nervous, but because I felt a little socially frustrated. This kind of flattery of my father-in-law and mother-in-law is sometimes heard by others, and that's how it feels. Dad, Su Luo took the phone and said embarrassedly. Xiao Luo, Sun Tingting's voice also came out. Mom, you're here too. Yizayaramu and Lu Mio looked at Su Luo, who looked like a completely different person, and covered their mouths and laughed secretly. Even Tanya, who was driving, started laughing. Please be careful when you come back. How long will it take you to get there? Sun Tingting asked. We should be home in half an hour, don't worry, Mom. Su Luo answered seriously. At this time, Su Luo was racking her brains, thinking about how to respond. About 20 minutes later, Su Luo hung up the phone and breathed a sigh of relief. Is it really that scary? Do you have to be so exaggerated? Yizayaramu looked at Su Luo and asked curiously. The main thing is to behave well in front of my mother-in-law and father-in-law. Su Luo took out a piece of paper, wiped the sweat off her face, and started talking. Yizayaramu looked at Su Luo, moved closer and kissed her on the cheek. Su Luo touched her face and laughed. Chapter 84, Returning Home. Then Su Luo and Yizayaramu looked at each other, and the distance between them became closer and closer. Come to think of it, you are already married, but you are still so afraid of your father-in-law, Tanya said while looking at Su Luo through the rearview mirror. Su Luo and Yizayaramu quickly separated. Yizayaramu's face was flushed. The two looked at each other and smiled at each other. I'm not scared, I did this on purpose. Do you know why? Su Luo said with a smile, and then raised a question. Lu Mio and Yizayaramu both shook their heads in surprise, indicating that they didn't understand. Let me put it this way. A daughter is very special in her father's heart, especially during the period when she just got married. The father will worry about whether she will suffer or be bullied. And I acted a little scared of my father-in-law, so that he would feel that he could still protect his daughter, or at least help her control me. Thinking this way, wouldn't his mood be much better? Once he gets familiar with it, he will naturally feel relieved. I think you're so scheming. Hey, you're so scary. Yi Zayaramu looked at Su Luo, shook her head, and spoke with a look of disgust. Am I scary? Su Luo moved closer to Yi Zayaramu and looked at her with blinking eyes. You're so annoying. Yi Zayaramu pushed Su Luo away with a red face. She admitted that she couldn't stand Su Luo's teasing at all. Looking at Yi Zayaramu's expression, Su Luo restrained her smile and stopped teasing her. She held her hand and squeezed it. Tanya couldn't help but sigh in her heart. My younger brother is really good at it. 10 minutes later, the car stopped. Sister Mio, would you like to come to my house and play together? Yi Zayaramu invited after getting out of the car. We won't go there. You should have a good rest these 2 days. Okay, then go slowly on your way back, Yi Zayaramu said, holding Su Luo's arm. Okay, let's go, Tanya said, raised the window and left the community. Let's go, Liu. Yi Zayaramu smiled sweetly at Su Luo. Although there were a lot of things to do, for Yi Zayaramu, she felt much better after returning home. Let's go. Su Luo raised her hand and pointed forward, then pulled the suitcase, carried the computer on her back, and followed Yi Zayaramu home. Ding, the elevator door opened. Yi's father and mother were waiting at the door. When they saw the 2 people arrive, they immediately smiled. Dad, Mom, Su Luo and Yi Zayaramu immediately called out. Come in, Sun Tingting said with a smile. Come, have some fruit. Sun Tingting cut a plate of fruit and brought it to the living room. Mom and Dad, aren't you going to work today? Su Luo asked curiously. We took a special leave today because we knew you were coming back, Sun Tingting said happily. The couple were really happy when their daughter and son-in-law came back, especially since their grandson was in her belly. I'm sorry to have caused my parents to worry, Su Luo said. That's not true. As parents, we don't want our children to suffer any grievances outside. We won't go to that damn entertainment industry. Yi Zhenhua's face became serious as he spoke. My child, I don't know what problems you've encountered, and we may not be able to help you. But if you really can't stay in the entertainment industry anymore, come back. Sun Tingting walked over to Yi Zayaramu and sat down, speaking in a low voice. The mother and daughter chatted in low voices. On the other side, Yi Zhenhua winked at Su Luo. The 2 of them came to the balcony, and Yi Zhenhua took out a cigarette and handed it to Su Luo. Dad, you? Su Luo looked at Yi Zhenhua in embarrassment. Why, we 2 can go to the balcony to smoke a cigarette. How can she not let us? Come on, take it and light it up quickly, Yi Zhenhua said, shaking the cigarette in his hand. Su Luo smiled, took it, took out a lighter, lit it, and took a puff. Dad, I know you've guessed too much or too little about the situation. Su Luo looked at Yi Zhenhua, who was smoking, exhaled a smoke ring, and spoke. To be honest, I only have a general idea right now, but I haven't thought about the specific details yet. But the conclusion is certain. I plan to let Zayaramu terminate the contract, and then we will open our own studio. This way, Zayaramu will at least be more relaxed than before, and the situation like this won't happen again. While smoking, Su Luo told Yi Zhenhua what she was thinking. Actually, I originally thought that she would become a professor or university lecturer like me in the future, but she just wanted to enter the entertainment industry. Yi Zhenhua took a puff of his cigarette and said slowly. So we objected. Although we didn't argue too much, it did lead to her never telling us when something happened. Because once she did, we would have advised her to quit the entertainment industry. So gradually, she stopped telling me about her feelings and experiences. Su Luo listened quietly at the side. This was the complicated thoughts in the heart of a father who loved his daughter deeply. Zio Mu is very kind. We're worried that she'll suffer and we want her to continue her studies. At least I can keep an eye on her and prevent her from being bullied. Yi Zhenhua was talking to himself. He finished his cigarette and lit another one. Dad, don't worry. I will protect Zayaramu. Su Luo looked at the older man and said seriously. Okay, remember what you said. This is a promise between men. If you say it, you must do it. Yi Zhenhua patted Su Luo's shoulder and spoke seriously. Dad, I will definitely do it, Su Luo said with the same seriousness. Su Luo and Yi Zhenhua then chatted about Yi Zayaramu's subsequent ideas, and then the 2 returned to the living room. Yi's mother and Yi Zayaramu had calmed down and were sitting together. There's such a strong smell of smoke. Please stay away from here, Sun Tingting said with a frown. Mom, Dad just smoked 4 or 5 cigarettes in a row. I don't smell anything, Su Luo said as she walked towards Yi Zayaramu. Hey, Yi Zhenhua looked at Su Luo in bewilderment. This was the person he had just confided in. How could she change her expression so quickly? Stop, Sun Tingting immediately called out to Su Luo. Mom, Su Luo stopped and looked at Sun Tingting. You and your dad go to the balcony and wait for an hour until the smell dissipates, then come back. Sun Tingting said this and pulled her daughter to watch TV. Su Luo had no choice but to listen to her mother-in-law's words, and then looked awkwardly at her father-in-law who had just betrayed her. Dad, let's go. He walked up shamelessly and followed Yi Zhenhua. Come on, Dad, how about having another one? As soon as she reached the balcony, Su Luo took out a pack of cigarettes that she had bought a long time ago, took out 2 and handed them over. This is the last one. After you finish this one, you can't smoke anymore. Yi Zhenhua took the cigarette, lit it, and said, Okay, Dad, the last 100 million. Su Luo nodded with a smile. Chapter 85, Yi Zhenhua's Private Money. In the end, the father and son were kicked out of the house by Sun Tingting. Buy some vegetables and cook for the children in the evening, Sun Tingting said. Yi Zhenhua pulled his 6th son-in-law along, and the 2 of them went downstairs together. Because a few minutes ago, after Su Luo handed him a cigarette, he said, The last one, with the idea of not arguing with the child. The 6th son-in-law first agreed to take the last cigarette, but suddenly stuffed the cigarette box into his own hand. Dad, I really can't smoke. Xiaomu is pregnant. Then Su Luo shook her hands vigorously. Old Yi, what are you doing? Why are you always dragging Xiao Luo to smoke? Go buy some food and cook for the kids tonight. Sun Tingting looked at the scene on the balcony and felt amused. She walked over to the balcony and said with a deliberately gloomy face, I'll deal with you when I come back. Yi Zhenhua looked at Su Luo's innocent face and sighed helplessly. Yi Xiaomu, who was sitting in the living room, covered her mouth and laughed secretly. Did Su Luo just say in the car that she wanted to please her father-in-law? This is really a death trap, Su Luo. When did you become like this? Yi Zhenhua was dragged to the living room by Sun Tingting, and Su Luo sat next to Yi Xiaomu. Are you bullying my dad? Yi Xiaomu said in a low voice with a smile on her face. I didn't. Su Luo looked innocent. Don't think I didn't see it just now. It turns out that everything you said in the car was a lie, you idiot. Yi Xiaomu patted Su Luo. You see, Dad is always worried about you, so tease him. If I prick his heart like this, he might not be in the mood to worry about other things. Su Luo shrugged and whispered in Yi Xiaomu's ear. Hey, Xiao Luo, come with me to buy groceries. When Yi Zhenhua arrived at the door and saw the intimacy between his daughter and son-in-law, his heart ached even more. Go quickly, stop bullying my dad. Yi Xiaomu pushed Su Luo. Yes, sir, leader, Su Luo said and stood up and walked to the door to change her shoes. Dad, I'll go with you, Su Luo said with a smile. Yi Zhenhua certainly wouldn't mind the child joking with him. Su Luo's little tricks were just small tricks in front of Yi's father and mother. Don't ask, asking is just IQ suppression. They can all see that Su Luo wants them to have as few worries as possible. Of course, the word they used by old Yi was a bit self-indulgent. Su Luo just wanted to make her mother-in-law and Yi Xiaomu feel better. As for the father-in-law, we are all men, so there is no need to make each other laugh. Xiao Luo, what is going on? When the 2 of them went downstairs, Yi Zhenhua couldn't help but ask. Dad, don't worry, I can handle it, Su Luo said seriously. Su Luo didn't dare to tell Yi Zhenhua the truth. Could it be that some little brat had drugged your daughter and was now forcing Luohua Entertainment to put her on ice? TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals fine recommendations, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword add. Once these words were spoken, Yi Zhenhua certainly couldn't help himself. He certainly had connections in the education and cultural circles. When the time came, he would definitely risk his reputation and ask his friends for help. Let's not talk about what role these can play in the entertainment industry. If this matter really goes out of the circle, the impact on Yi Xiaomu will be uncontrollable. Therefore, Su Luo would rather let her parents help financially than let Yi Xiaomu's parents worry and work hard on these things, which would most likely not get a good result. Take this, Yi Zhenhua said, taking out a bank card from his pocket and handing it to Su Luo. Dad, what's wrong with you? Su Luo looked at Yi Zhenhua in surprise. This is the money I usually save. It's not much, just under 300,000. Xiaomu will definitely have to pay a penalty if she terminates the contract. I can't support her with anything else. I believe you in this matter. You can definitely do it, right? Also, don't tell them about this. Yi Zhenhua stuffed the bank card into Su Luo's hand and said with some sigh, But I detected that Yi Zhenhua used his own private money to support you. Please choose. 1. Accept private money. and get a 3 cm increase in a random part as a reward. 2. Refuse the private money and inform Sun Tingting and Yi Amu that the reward is 100 million yuan in cash. There is no problem with the source of funds. Su Luo felt the options in her mind and hesitated for only 1 second. It's not that I want to be a sixth child, but if 3 cm grows somewhere, it would be really unspeakable. For example, the ears, the nose, and the middle finger, and the 100 million. It really smells good at this time. Option 2. Selection successful, reward issued, funding source processed. The virtual currency that the host invested 4 years ago has now been sold. The value is 125 million, of which 25 million was paid in taxes for the host. Take it quickly. Yi Zhenhua looked at the hesitant Su Luo and spoke again, while turning his head to look upstairs. Feeling the vibration of the phone in her pocket, Su Luo smiled. The funds had arrived, so she no longer had to worry about the funds to terminate the contract. Although Su Luo didn't want to pay the money, if she went through legal procedures and sued for reasons such as unfair contract, the timeline would be very long. Even if the culprits Li Yang and Yang Xiaodong are brought down, the contract issue will still exist. Therefore, if you can solve the problem with money and it is faster and more efficient, why not do it? As for the money issue, if you spend it now, you will have to spit it out with interest later. Dad, there's no need for this. Don't worry, we will take care of it. Su Luo stopped Yi Zhenhua. Yi Zhenhua looked at Su Luo's determination, nodded with satisfaction, and carefully put the bank card into his pocket. Good boy, Yi Zhenhua patted Su Luo's shoulder and sighed. I hope you can still feel this way later, Su Luo thought to herself. Then the two of them walked side by side towards the supermarket downstairs in the central building. Mom, Xiaoqing invited us to dinner tonight, Yi Xiaomu said as she watched her father and Su Luo leave. You just came back, why did you go out? So you call Xiaoqing over and have dinner at home tonight, Sun Tingting said. This is so bad, we had agreed that Su Luo and I would treat her to a big dinner, Yi Xiaomu said with a pout. How can eating at home not be a feast? It's settled, Sun Tingting said without question. Okay then, I'll send a message to ask Xiaoqing, Yi Xiaomu said helplessly. After saying that, Yi Xiaomu took out his cell phone and sent a message to Zhu Qing. Xiaoqing, come to my house for dinner tonight. What, Xiaomu, come on, you said you'd treat me to a meal, but you ended up eating at home. I was thinking of ripping you off. Zhu Qing replied to the message immediately, and ended with an expression that said, I'll give you a look and let you figure it out for yourself. I owe you a meal, okay, little foodie, Yi Xiaomu smiled. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. Chapter 86, Save Me, Save Me. Mom, I've told Xiaoqing that she'll come over in the evening. Yi Xiaomu put down her phone and said to Sun Tingting. That's right, then you can go out for a few days and not eat at home when you come back, Sun Tingting said with a smile, looking very satisfied. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add. Dad, let's not buy this. Su Luo looked at Yi Zhenhua in horror, holding the durian in his hand. For Su Luo, the taste of durian was something he really couldn't stand. How can I not buy this? My wife likes to eat it, Yi Zhenhua said proudly. By the way, my daughter likes to eat it too. Then, seeing Su Luo's resistance, Yi Zhenhua added. Okay then, Su Luo nodded helplessly, watching Yi Zhenhua take 2 durians to weigh and smiled bitterly in her heart. My Lao Liu's behavior tonight might leave a shadow on him, and he might not want to buy durian anymore. Master Taishan, take care. Looking at Yi Zhenhua, who was weighing the durian with excitement, Su Luo sighed in her heart. Okay, let's go, Yi Zhenhua said after putting the weighed durian into the cart. The two of them went to the cashier, and Yi Zhenhua settled the bill. Then Su Luo carried the vegetables, and Yi Zhenhua carried the durian, and they headed home. After a 10-minute walk, the two returned home. Oh, old Yi, that's great. You even bought some durian, Sun Tingting said excitedly as she looked at the durian in Yi Zhenhua's hand. Even Yi Xiaomu on the side was watching excitedly. I bought 2. Let's open one and eat it first, Sun Tingting said, looking at Yi Xiaomu. Okay, Mom, I haven't eaten for a long time either. Yi Xiaomu squinted her eyes and said with a smile. So Sun Tingting stood up, took the durian from Yi Zhenhua and walked into the kitchen. Su Luo followed him to the kitchen, put down the dishes, ran to the living room and sat next to Su Luo. As Sun Tingting cut the durian into pieces bit by bit, a unique durian fragrance filled the room. Old Yi, it's great. This durian is quite big. Sun Tingting came to the living room carrying a plate of durian, and put a plate of durian on the coffee table in the living room. Come, Xiao Luo, eat it, Sun Tingting specially picked out a big piece and handed it to Su Luo. Mom, no, Su Luo immediately declined. Seeing this, Sun Tingting did not force Su Luo. Durian is something that people who like it love very much, while people who don't like it will never like it at all. Yi Xiaomu and Yi Zhenhua, who were standing by, had already taken a piece and started eating. Looking at Su Luo, who was lying on him while enduring the discomfort, Yi Xiaomu's eyes rolled around. Liu, do you want to eat one? Yi Xiaomu took a piece and placed it not far in front of Su Luo. I don't want to. Su Luo immediately covered her nose and shook her head. Try it, look, the three of us are eating it, but you are not. That's so inappropriate. Yi Xiaomu said with a smile. This is really not possible. I may not be able to accept it. Su Luo shook her head and said in a low voice. Yi Xiaomu looked at her father and mother who were looking at her with a smile, blushed, and spoke in a low voice. Hubby, just eat one. Yi Xiaomu pushed Su Luo with her left hand, looking like a spoiled child. Yi's father and mother standing by suddenly narrowed their eyes with laughter. Su Luo also felt a surge of heat, and secretly glanced at Yi's father and mother, and found that they were both looking at him with their aunt's smile. There was no way out. He found that he just fell for it, so he closed his eyes, opened his mouth, and took a bite of the durian that Yi Xiaomu was holding. Yi Xiaomu blushed, withdrew the fingers that were touched by Su Luo's lips, and looked at him with shining eyes. How is it? Is it delicious? Yi Xiaomu asked impatiently. Su Luo chewed a few times, putting on a mask of pain. The taste was indescribable. It's delicious, Su Luo said, suppressing the discomfort in her heart. But your expression tells me that you don't think it tastes good. Yi Xiaomu pouted deliberately and spoke. You have to savor this flavor carefully, the unique durian fragrance. Ha! Yi Xiaomu said to Su Luo with a smile, and then breathed at Su Luo. Suddenly a unique smell rushed into Su Luo's forehead. His face changed drastically. He immediately stood up, walked to the side, and gasped. Ha ha ha! Yi Xiaomu and the other two burst into laughter. Ha ha ha! Okay, Xiaomu, stop teasing Xiaoluo. Some people really can't accept this taste. Yi Zhenhua said with a smile. Xiaoluo is really not having a good time. Oh, by the way, there is honey in the refrigerator at home. I'll cut it up for you. Su Tingting said this with a smile, then stood up and walked towards the kitchen. Mom, no need. I'll just watch you eat. I don't mind the taste, but I'm not used to it. Su Luo immediately stopped Sun Tingting and said, Kid, why are you being so polite here? Sun Tingting said. Mom, I'm not polite. I'm your own son, and I won't be polite to my parents. Su Luo said with a smile, touching his head. Oh, by the way, Xiaomu, wait for me. Sun Tingting said as she walked towards the bedroom. Su Luo looked at Sun Tingting curiously as she walked into the bedroom. She exchanged a glance with Yi Xiaomu, and both of them had confusion in their eyes. A few minutes later, Sun Tingting came out with a bank card in her hand. Seeing this, Su Luo was happy and said, Dad, I'm going to start selling you. Zio Mu, Oldie also told me about your ideas before. No matter what you want to do in the future, your parents will support you. Now Xiaomu wants to terminate the contract, and she needs to pay liquidated damages. My parents are just teachers and don't have much savings. Over the past 20 years, we've saved over 1 million yuan. It's not much, but it's our intention to support you. Please keep it. As Sun Tingting said this, she was about to hand the bank card to Yi Xiaomu. Mom, what are you doing? Yi Xiaomu stopped Sun Tingting and said, That's right, Mom, how can we take your money? Su Luo also spoke from the side. Mom, we have money, please take it back. Yi Xiaomu continued. I know you have money, but you should always consider your children. As Sun Tingting said this, she was about to put the bank card into Yi Xiaomu's pocket. Oh, it's okay, just keep the money for yourself. If you can't make it, give some to Dad, Yi Xiaomu said. Su Luo's eyes lit up immediately. This wife was really good and hit the nail on the head. Why would I give him this? He just buys tea and cigarettes and spends money recklessly. Sun Tingting glanced at Yi Zhenhua and spoke with disdain. Mom, you must have misunderstood Dad. He saved it all. He's going to give me 300,000 today. Oh no. Su Luo took the opportunity to speak, and then immediately covered her mouth and looked at the terrified Yi Zhenhua. Save me, you old Su Luo. You must be doing this on purpose. Chapter 87, I will never trick him again. Huh, what? Sun Tingting was instantly attracted by Su Luo's words and looked at Yi Zhenhua seriously. Hey honey, Zio Luo said something wrong, right? It's actually only 30 yuan. Yi Zhenhua explained immediately, blinking wildly at Su Luo. Yes, Mom, it's either 300,000 or 30 yuan. Su Luo also spoke, but Yi Zhenhua felt that the tone was a little wrong. Old Yi, huh? Sun Tingting's tone began to become unfriendly. Yi Xiaomu looked at Yi Zhenhua and Su Luo in shock. What was going on? Was her husband such a traitor to his father-in-law? Su Luo blinked at Yi Xiaomu, then looked at Yi Zhenhua, who had a murderous look on his face. Although she felt very sorry for her father-in-law, she had no choice because she had to consider her wife. Dad, just make a sacrifice, it's okay. Just give me your bank card and it will be done. It's quick and painless. Yi Zhenhua looked sad and angry. He took out a bank card and handed it over tremblingly. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, / TT keyword add how much is this? Sun Tingting said seriously. Nearly 300,000. Yi Zhenhua lowered his head and said in a low voice. Yi Xiaomu on the side laughed. Su Luo also lowered her head. This time she had really hurt her father-in-law. 300,000. How do you have so much money? You can't do those things. Sun Tingting panicked. After all, saving 300,000 yuan in private savings was no small sum. The two of them had been busy for more than 20 years and had only saved a little over 1 million yuan. This is the pocket money you usually give me, and some bonuses from the school, Yi Zhenhua said honestly. Sure, old Yi, you've learned how to hide your private money. After hearing Yi Zhenhua's explanation, Sun Tingting felt relieved, and then looked at him with a smile and said, Ha ha, I always think that men should have some money on them. Yi Zhenhua blinked wildly at his daughter as he spoke, and when he saw his daughter covering her mouth and laughing, he looked at Su Luo for help. My son-in-law has screwed me over. I don't have time to settle the score with him now. I need to survive this first. Mom, Dad just likes to save money. Don't be angry. Come, have a durian. Su Luo asked immediately, and at the same time took out a durian and handed it over, but she handed it to Yi Zhenhua. Yes, yes, honey, have a durian. Yi Zhenhua immediately took the durian handed over by Su Luo and said. Then he handed the durian in his hand to Sun Tingting. Okay, I don't blame you. Sun Tingting took it, gave Yi Zhenhua a look, and said with a smile. It's okay to have a big fight in front of your daughter and son-in-law. Just pretend to do it. Men still need to be controlled sometimes. Of course, Yi Zhenhua did not make any mistakes. He just saved some private money, which was not a big deal. Thank you, wife, I'll give you this card, Yi Zhenhua said flatteringly. You can keep it. With some money on you, you'll feel more confident when you go out. Sun Tingting stopped Yi Zhenhua and said. He. Yi Zhenhua put away the bank card with a smile on his face. Don't laugh anymore. Look at you. You're making a fool of yourself for the kids. Sun Tingting glanced at Yi Zhenhua. Dad, Mom, Xiaomu and I are going back to the room to rest for a while. Su Luo immediately pulled Yi Xiaomu to the room. Yi Zhenhua carried Sun Tingting on his back, looking at Su Luo with a dim gaze, Yi Xiaomu, who was pulled back to the room by Su Luo, covered her mouth and smiled, looking at Su Luo. Is it appropriate for you to cheat my dad like this? Yi Xiaomu said coquettishly. Well, I just said it casually. Su Luo refused to admit it. He had no choice but to trick his father-in-law. Do you think I believe you? Yi Xiaomu said, took off his coat and lay down on the bed. If Dad wants to deal with me, you have to help me. Su Luo took off her clothes, lay down next to Yi Xiaomu, and said with a smile, I won't help you. You used to bully me, and now you dare to bully my dad. Yi Xiaomu said this angrily as he turned around and let Su Luo hug him. It was indeed me who cheated Dad this time. I will make sure I never cheat him again. Su Luo hugged Yi Xiaomu and patted her back gently, her voice much softer. Yeah, okay, I'll sleep for a while. Yi Xiaomu yawned and said a little confusedly. She got up very early today. She is a pregnant woman and is prone to sleepiness. Go to sleep. Su Luo patted Yi Xiaomu gently from time to time, and soon her breathing became steady. Su Luo looked down at the pretty face in her arms. Her eyelashes trembling slightly from time to time, smiled, closed her eyes and fell asleep. When Su Luo opened her eyes again, she looked at her phone and it was already past 4 o'clock. He gently pulled out his arm that was being pressed by Yi Xiaomu, then got out of bed and put on his clothes. Looking at Yi Xiaomu, who was still sleeping, he smiled, walked into the bathroom, washed up briefly and left the bedroom. Dad, Su Luo closed the door quietly and greeted Yi Zhenhua, who was watching TV on the sofa in the living room. You little bastard, Yi Zhenhua scolded with a smile. Dad, I was wrong. Su Luo immediately greeted him with a smile and spoke. At the same time, he walked behind Yi Zhenhua and massaged his shoulders. Not bad, not bad. A feeling of comfort made Yi Zhenhua squint his eyes. Where's Mom? Su Luo asked curiously. I'm preparing dinner. Zioking will also come over for dinner in the evening. Oh, by the way, Zioking is Zhu Qing, Xiaomu's good friend, Yi Zhenhua said. Okay, Dad, I'll make dinner. I'll be there right away, Su Luo said as she walked towards the kitchen. Yi Zhenhua looked at Su Luo's figure, smiled, and shook his head. He was becoming more and more satisfied with this son-in-law. Su Luo opened the kitchen door and saw Sun Tingting cutting vegetables. Mom, let me do it. Su Luo walked into the kitchen and said, Zyro Luo, it's okay, go out and chat with your dad. Sun Tingting looked up and saw Zyro Luo and said with a smile, Mom, I just revealed his secret stash of money this afternoon. I'm a little scared of him now. Haha, let me be responsible for dinner. I prefer cooking. Mom, you just go out and have a good rest. Su Luo found an excuse and said with a smile, You kid, okay then? Sun Tingting agreed with a smile on her face, changed her apron and left the kitchen. Su Luo put on an apron and started to work. Why did you come out? Where is Zyro Luo? Yi Zhenhua asked Sun Tingting in confusion as he looked at her coming out. Zyro Luo said he would prepare dinner. Since he seemed to like cooking, we asked him to come, Sun Tingting said with a smile on her face. Having a son-in-law who likes to cook makes me feel a lot more relaxed. Look how happy you are, Yi Zhenhua said with some jealousy. I was really screwed. I just pressed my shoulders twice and realized that my mother-in-law was cooking. I immediately ran over and replaced her. The difference in treatment was too big. Oh my, you have something against my son-in-law, right? Sun Tingting narrowed her eyes and said lightly. Chapter 88, grown up a little. How is that possible? Absolutely not. Don't talk nonsense. Yi Zhenhua suddenly felt a chill and began to explain. He sighed inwardly, thinking that the family's status had plummeted. However, if Sun Tingting and Yi Xiaomu were not around, it should still be possible to control Su Luo. Yi Zhenhua felt much better when he thought about it. After all, he was still the Taishan master of that brat Su Luo. Ding dong, the doorbell rang. Sun Tingting got up and opened the door. Auntie, a woman stood at the door. She had fair skin, beautiful looks, and long legs. Her appearance was almost as good as Yi Xiaomu's. At this moment, she was standing at the door with milk and fruit in her hands. Zioking, welcome, welcome. Look what you brought with you. Next time, don't bring anything. Sun Tingting greeted with a smile and put a pair of slippers on the ground. Auntie, it's not something expensive, just something that comes to hand. Zhu Qing also replied with a smile, changed into slippers, and followed Sun Tingting in. Hello, uncle. Zhu Qing greeted Yi Zhenhua with a smile when she saw him in the living room. Hello, Zioking. Yi Zhenhua also greeted with a smile on his face. Zhu Qing is Yi Xiaomu's best friend. She has been to her house many times, so they naturally have a good relationship. Where is Xiaomu? Zhu Qing looked around curiously. This girl is still sleeping. I'll go call her, Sun Tingting said with a smile. Auntie, is it convenient for me to call her? Zhu Qing stopped Sun Tingting and said. After all, Yi Xiaomu is married now. If the couple is sleeping together, it would not be convenient for her to call Yi Xiaomu, so she must ask. It's convenient, convenient. Her husband is cooking in the kitchen, Sun Tingting explained. Wow, Xiaomu has good taste. Her husband can cook. I have to try it tonight. Zhu Qing's eyes lit up and he said with a smile. Zyro Luo's cooking skills are excellent. Zyro Qing, you're in for a treat tonight. Sun Tingting said with pride that her son-in-law could cook, which made her very proud. She praised Su Luo highly in front of her colleagues at school. That's worth looking forward to, uncle and aunt. I'll go call Xiaomu, Zhu Qing said as he walked towards Yi Xiaomu's room. Zhu Qing quietly opened the door. Based on how they had gotten along before, she would definitely have pounced on him. But now she also knew that Yi Xiaomu was pregnant, so she walked quietly to her bedside and blew gently at Yi Xiaomu. Liu Liu, stop making trouble, Yi Xiaomu said in a daze. Puchai, looking at Yi Xiaomu's appearance, Zhu Qing couldn't help laughing out loud. Xiaomu, Zhu Qing called softly. Yi Xiaomu agreed, then slowly opened her eyes and saw a beautiful figure sitting beside the bed. She looked closely. Zyro kinking. Yi Xiaomu's surprised voice came and then she sat up. Xiaomu, not bad. You've been doing pretty well recently, Zhu Qing said with a smile. Am I really fat? Yi Xiaomu said a little frustrated. How can you not be fat when you're pregnant? But I'm not talking about fat. Zhu Qing leaned over to Yi Xiaomu's ear and whispered softly, Don't you feel that your little rabbit has grown a little bit? Is it your husband? Zioking, you. Of course not. You can't have sex during the first 3 months of pregnancy. Yi Xiaomu rolled her eyes at Zhu Qing and spoke angrily. After saying that, she looked down, and it seemed that there was some change. No wonder I've been feeling a little bloated lately, Yi Xiaomu muttered softly. I didn't expect that you are married. Alas, I still don't know where my love is. Zhu Qing said with a sigh. Haha, why do you act so old? You're only 1 year older than me. Yi Zaiamu looked at Zhu Qing with a sighing expression and pushed her. By the way, did something happen that made you quit the show? Zhu Qing suddenly spoke, looking at Yi Zaiamu with a serious face. There are some issues, but they will be resolved soon. I recently took on a drama. If you want to go into the entertainment industry, I can recommend it to you, Zhu Qing said with concern. She had some guesses in her mind that if she was kicked out by the program team, then there was a high probability that she was targeted, and if the company did not intervene, then it was very likely that she was being put on ice. Being frozen does not mean being banned, it just means that the company does not provide resources. If you rely on your own connections or other channels to obtain resources, it is normally possible. Of course, if the company receives a notice and asks for a reduction in shots, or even asks the program team to breach the contract, that would be another situation. Come on, you can't sing well, but you're the only one who wants to film a movie. You're not a big star, so you can just squeeze in someone like that. Yi Zaiamu first mocked him mercilessly. Then he said seriously, "Thank you, Zairoking. Come, let your sister kiss you." As he spoke, Yi Zaiamu hugged Zhu Qing. Zhu Qing's voice and singing skills are not as good as Yi Zaiamu's, and his development in the music industry is just lukewarm. Later, the company arranged for me to film TV series and played several supporting roles. The performances were pretty good, and I had some talent, so the company arranged for me to become an actor. Nizukai, Zhu Qing immediately stood up and pushed away. Married women are really scary. Go kiss your husband. Did you see Su Luo when you came? Yi Zaiamu said, stood up, got out of bed and put on his clothes. No, Auntie said he was cooking. That's okay, Zairo-mu, you know how to control your husband. Zhu Qing teased with a smile. Let me tell you, my Liu-Liu's cooking is delicious. Yi Zaiamu said with a proud look on his face. Auntie said the same thing just now. Can it be true? Is he such a good cook? Zhu Qing said in surprise. He also cooked during the live broadcast a few days ago. Didn't you see the guests' reactions? Then I thought it was all exaggeration. After all, you can't say that other people's cooking is bad, Zhu Qing said, spreading his hands. Let me put it this way, the big meals we eat outside are not as good as the ones cooked by Liu-Liu. Yi Zaiamu raised her head and said proudly, Hey, I feel like I came here today just to eat dog food. You have become a husband-showing maniac. Zhu Qing couldn't help but complain. Hehe, why don't you find a boyfriend too? Yi Zaiamu said with a smile, hugging Zhu Qing's arm. Let's not do that. The male actors I met during filming were either unsuitable or had such messy private lives that they couldn't even distinguish between men and women. Zhu Qing complained with a look of disgust on her face. Of course, the actual situation was not as exaggerated as she said. Is it as exaggerated as you say? I think many talented young actors should be fine. Yi Zaiamu didn't know much about acting and asked curiously, Hey, it would be great if I could work with them. After all, our company is relatively small and we only take on small productions. How could we possibly have them? Zhu Qing sighed and said helplessly, Chapter 89 Sure enough, I Yi Zaiamu seem a little stupid. Although it is possible for a small production to produce a hit drama, it is not that easy. If it is not popular, it will be difficult to get a good script. Why don't you go out and work on your own? Yi Zaiamu said subconsciously, and then she was stunned. Looking at Zhu Qing, Yi Zaiamu's eyes became brighter and brighter. Why are you looking at me like that? Zhu Qing took 2 steps back and sat on the edge of the bed, folding his hands over his chest, and asked in surprise. It's okay. When does your contract expire? Yi Zaiamu also sat down on the edge of the bed and asked. It seems to expire next year, Zhu Qing said after a brief recollection. What? Why will your contract expire next year? Didn't you sign for 10 years? Yi Zaiamu asked in surprise. Yes, at the beginning, but then we changed the contract and it became 5 years, Zhu Qing said casually. Yi Zaiamu felt embarrassed. Was she really the one who lost her mind at that time? Zairoking, let me ask you, has your company arranged for you to be a drinking companion or something? Yi Zaiamu held Zhu Qing's arm and spoke in a low voice. Of course there are, but I didn't agree to any of them. Zhu Qing nodded and spoke. Won't the company force you? Yi Zaiamu asked Zhu Qing in surprise. As long as you don't want to, the company can't force you. The worst that can happen is that you'll have fewer resources. But if it can make money for the company, even if you refuse, the company won't reduce the resources. After hearing what Zhu Qing said, Yi Zaiamu realized how stupid she was at that time. To put it bluntly, Yi Zaiamu was still too naive and did not understand the dangers of society at that time. Zairo-mu, has your company arranged these for you? Zhu Qing looked at Yi Zaiamu curiously. She felt that there was something wrong with Yi Zaiamu's condition at the moment. Could it be these problems? I didn't want to get involved in any of this, so I signed a 10-year contract with the company. Yi Zaiamu finally spoke to Zhu Qing with a bitter face. Your company used this as a condition to sign a 10-year contract with you. It was the first time that Zhu Qing knew about Yi Zaiamu's contract. Well, the copyright of the songs belongs to the company, Yi Zaiamu said helplessly. Oh my God, Yi Zaiamu, you are an excellent student, yet you signed this kind of contract. Zhu Qing was speechless. I didn't think too much about it at the time, and the share was quite high, so, Yi Zaiamu said with his head down. What about you now? The company is planning to put me on ice. Oh my God, there's something wrong with your company. Aren't you your company's cash cow? Why are you being put on ice? Zhu Qing said in shock. So I'm ready to terminate the contract. Yi Zaiamu did not tell Zhu Qing the inside story, not because she was hiding it from her on purpose, but if she really told her. Given Zhu Qing's personality, she would probably post it directly online, and then her future would be ruined. Let's not talk about this anymore. I'm going out right away. Let me introduce my husband to you. Yi Zaiamu smiled at Zhu Qing, stood up and pulled her out. Seeing that she didn't seem to want to say anything more, Zhu Qing suppressed his doubts in his heart and followed Yi Zaiamu out of the room. TT keyword add data title equals beauty. Data tag equals find product recommendations. Data type equals 1. Data value equals 1930. /TT keyword add 2 people came to the kitchen. Liu Liu. Yi Zaiamu looked at the busy figure and called softly. Zio Mu, wait a moment. There are 2 more dishes. They will be ready. Su Luo turned around and saw Yi Zaiamu, smiled at her and spoke. Wait a moment, let me introduce you. This is my best friend Zhu Qing, who is now an actress. Yi Zaiamu pointed at Zhu Qing beside her and said. Then she pointed at Su Luo, her face slightly red, and spoke. This is my husband, Su Luo. Hello, Su Luo nodded to Zhu Qing. Hello, Zhu Qing also replied and nodded secretly in his heart. He looked very handsome and could cook, which was a plus. Zio Mu, take your friend out first. There's a lot of smoke here, it's not good for you. Well, okay, Yi Zaiamu said with squinted eyes, then pulled Zhu Qing out. Is my husband handsome? Yi Zaiamu said in a low voice. It's really handsome, Zhu Qing nodded. The 2 of them walked and talked in whispers, and came to the living room, where they sat down with Yi's father and mother and chatted. 10 minutes later, Mom, Dad, Zaiamu, Zhu Qing, it's time for dinner. Su Luo brought the last dish to the table, and walked to the side of the living room, shouting. Here I come. Yi Zaiamu immediately stood up and trotted to Su Luo. Be careful, Su Luo reminded. You're already 25 and you're still so impatient. Yi Zhenhua scolded softly. He. Yi Zaiamu held Su Luo's arm and smiled foolishly. Several people sat down. Yi Zhenhua and Sun Tingting sat on one side, and Su Luo, Yi Zaiamu and Zhu Qing sat on the other side. Zioking, do you want a drink? You can let Liu Liu drink with you. After Yi Zaiamu sat down, she looked at Zhu Qing beside her and asked. I won't drink today, I drove here. Zhu Qing waved his hand and said. Why don't you stay today and stay with me? Yi Zaiamu said with a smile. You don't even have a spare room in your house. Zhu Qing didn't feel comfortable joking with Yi Zaiamu. After all, her parents were there, so she just whispered in Yi Zaiamu's ear. Liu Liu can sleep on the sofa, Yi Zaiamu blurted out. The 3 people raised their heads. Su Luo, Yi Zhenhua, and Sun Tingting all looked up at Yi Zaiamu. Ha ha ha, Zioking and I haven't seen each other for a long time. Yi Zaiamu laughed awkwardly, put his left hand under the table and pinched Su Luo's thigh. How about you 2 come and live at my house? Zhu Qing thought for a moment and spoke. Liu Liu. Yi Zaiamu looked at Su Luo and blinked at him. You should ask your parents about this. Su Luo shrugged and said. Dad, Mom. Yi Zaiamu shouted, looking at Yi Zhenhua and Sun Tingting. Zioking, will this be inconvenient? Sun Tingting was a little conflicted. After all, her children had just returned, and she still wanted them to be at home. Of course, she didn't mean to stop them from going out. But after all, she didn't know whether it was convenient for them to go out. Auntie, it's okay. I rented the house myself and I live alone. It's not inconvenient at all, Zhu Qing said. Besides, I haven't made any announcements recently, so I can just go out with them tomorrow. Mom, Yi Zaiamu looked at Sun Tingting expectantly and called out again. In fact, the main problem is that Yi Zaiamu is pregnant, so her parents will definitely be worried about her going out. When I went out to do the show before, it was live broadcast after all, so at least I could see it every day. Okay, but don't play too late, and especially pay attention to safety. Sun Tingting nodded and said seriously. Okay, Mom, don't worry, Liu Liu is with me. Yi Zairamu said happily. Right, Liuluo. Well, Mom and Dad, don't worry, I will take good care of Zairamu. Seeing this, Su Luo nodded and said to Yi's father and mother. Chapter 90, I am respecting my husband. Let's eat first. Yi Zhenhua suddenly spoke at this time. Try this pork ribs. Yi Zairamu picked up a piece of pork ribs and put it in Zhu Qing's bowl. Okay, Zhu Qing picked up the ribs and stuffed them into his mouth. Fuck, it's so delicious. Zhu Qing's eyes lit up, and he couldn't find any adjectives to describe it for a moment. Finally, I chose the word fuck. Tonight's dinner was so delicious. I wanted to recite a poem to praise it, but I'm not well educated. I can only say, fuck, so cute. Zhu Qing finished speaking, immediately covering his mouth and laughing awkwardly. It's delicious. Zairo Luo's cooking skills are really good. It tastes a lot better than last time. Sun Tingting also praised. Su Luo's god-level cooking skills will continue to improve. Zyroking, if it tastes good, eat more, Yi Zhenhua said. Okay, uncle. Zhu Qing kept picking up dishes just like a little hamster. Yi Zairamu, who was standing beside her, was in a similar state. She had already been satisfied with the food when Su Luo first came to visit her. Several people ate and chatted, and the guests had a great time. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals fine recommendations, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword add, Zairo Luo, you and Zairo Mu go first, I'll wash the dishes. After dinner, Sun Tingting stopped Su Luo, who was about to wash the dishes, and persuaded her. Okay, Mom, thank you for your hard work. Su Luo nodded and said seriously. Su Luo took the laptop and accompanied Yi Zairamu to pack a set of clothes into the suitcase. Mom and Dad were leaving. When they reached the door, Su Luo greeted them. Uncle, Aunt, I'm leaving first. Zioking, go slowly on the way back and be careful. Yi Zhenhua and Sun Tingting responded and then gave instructions. The three of them quickly came downstairs and got into Zhu Qing's car. Liu, Zioking, and I will sleep together tonight. Yi Zairamu turned around and said to Su Luo, who was sitting in the back seat while sitting in the passenger seat. Okay. Oh, your position is not good enough. You still need to ask for permission. Zhu Qing teased Yi Zairamu while driving. I'm respecting my husband, Humph, Yi Zairamu said proudly. Yi Zairamu and Zhu Qing were joking with each other in the front. At this time, Su Luo was sitting in the back row. She opened her laptop and checked out Yi Zairamu's past songs. There are about 40 songs, which is 4 albums, basically 1 album per year. Zaio Mu, do you have the original contract you signed with the company? Su Luo asked. He needs to confirm whether the copyright of all these songs belongs to Luohua Entertainment. Yes, there is also an electronic file. I'll look for it and send it to you, Yi Zairamu said, taking out his mobile phone and opening his email to look for it. Not long after, Yi Zairamu sent the contract records in the email to Su Luo. Let me see. After receiving it, Su Luo transferred the file to the computer and opened it to read. 20 minutes later, the car stopped. Liu, we're here. Yi Zairamu reminded Su Luo when she saw her frowning and staring at the computer. Okay, Su Luo rubbed his brows, put away his computer, opened the car door, and got out. What's wrong, Liu? Yi Zairamu immediately ran to Su Luo, took his arm, and asked. Nothing, just looking at your contract to see if there are any problems. Su Luo let Yi Zairamu hold her arm, walked to the trunk, and took out the suitcase. It was light because I didn't bring much stuff. Let's go, Zhu Qing said from the side and took the two of them into the elevator. But we've reached the 26th floor. The elevator door opened, and 3 people walked out. Zhu Qing used the password to open the door, and then 3 people walked in. After changing into slippers, Yi Zairamu quickly walked to the sofa in the living room and lay down. Awesome, Yi Zairamu exclaimed. Su Luo, you can live in that room today. The things inside are all new, Zhu Qing said politely to Su Luo. Okay, thank you. Su Luo did not go over immediately, but walked to the living room and patted Yi Zairamu, who was slumped on the sofa. What's wrong with Liu? Yi Zairamu sat up straight. You guys chat, I'm going back to my room to do something. Su Luo rubbed Yi Zairamu's head and said. Okay, Yi Zairamu nodded and said. Then Su Luo took the computer and walked into the room that Zhu Qing pointed to. The room was simple, with a table and a bed. The bed sheets and quilt covers were already put on, and it looked like a brand new 4-piece set. Su Luo just felt a little regretful about sleeping alone tonight, but she didn't dislike this place. Putting the computer on the table, Su Luo sat down and turned on the computer. System, can the status of your irregular tasks be changed? While waiting for the computer to start up, Su Luo immersed herself in thought and asked. It can be changed, but the task reward system needs to be upgraded. These words appeared in Su Luo's mind. Tongzi, you know what I mean. Remember to make arrangements next time. Mission rewards are random and cannot be arranged. You know this is what I want as a reward. Mission rewards are random and cannot be arranged. I understand everything, Su Luo thought mysteriously. Then Su Luo looked up the issue of Yi Xiaomu's breach of contract fee on the computer. The contract is valid, but there may be problems with the penalty for breach of contract. Excessively high penalty for breach of contract is a problem in this province. But if legal means are taken, it will not be very friendly to Yi Xiaomu. After all, judicial procedures take a long time, and it is easy for public opinion to get out of control. This is where Su Luo is conflicted now. After all, he is not a sucker. No one would be willing to give away 100 million for nothing. Su Luo stared at the contract on the computer and fell into deep thought. Liu, what's wrong with you? The voice at the door interrupted Su Luo's thoughts. Xiaomu, why are you here? Su Luo asked in surprise, looking at Yi Xiaomu in pajamas standing at the door. What, don't you want me to come over? Yi Xiaomu said with a smile, then ran to Su Luo and sat on him. Of course not, it's just that you said you were sleeping with your bestie, and I didn't expect you to come over. Su Luo leaned her head in Yi Xiaomu's arms and took a deep breath. A refreshing fragrance quickly calmed Su Luo's irritable mood. Yi Xiaomu, who was sitting on Su Luo, blushed. Are you looking at my contract? Yi Xiaomu turned to look at Su Luo's computer and said curiously. Yes, I want to see if there is any good way to terminate the contract. Su Luo nodded. Liu, 100 million is too much. It's okay not to be frugal. I'm pregnant now, so I can stay at home and take care of the baby. Yi Xiaomu looked at Su Luo seriously and said solemnly that she didn't want to spend the extra 100 million. Just listen to me and let me arrange it. Su Luo raised her hand and touched Yi Xiaomu's pretty face, saying with a smile. Okay. Yi Xiaomu narrowed his eyes, moved his head slightly, and rubbed Su Luo's warm palm. Chapter 90, when we can chat all night without sleeping. Then I'm going to bed. Yi Xiaomu stood up and said to Su Luo. Don't you want to stay? Su Luo reached out and grabbed Yi Xiaomu. Xiaoking is still waiting for me. If I don't go back, she will scold me again. Yi Xiaomu said, lowering his head and kissing Su Luo. Be good, I'm going to chat with my bestie at night. Come with me, we can chat all night long without sleeping. Su Luo raised her eyebrows at Yi Xiaomu. You old pervert, go to hell. Yi Xiaomu reached out and punched Su Luo in the chest. She was not angry. She knew Su Luo was joking with her. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add I'm leaving. Go to bed early. Then Yi Xiaomu waved to Su Luo and walked out the door. Don't chat too late at night. Go to bed early. Su Luo looked at Yi Xiaomu, who was walking to the door, and reminded her. I know. After saying that, Yi Xiaomu closed the door. Su Luo looked at the closed door, smiled, and focused her attention on the computer. Bang! The door opened again, causing Su Luo to look towards the door in confusion. Liu, your pajamas and a change of clothes. Put the clothes you take off in the box and take them back to wash tomorrow. Yi Xiaomu walked in pushing a suitcase. Okay, Su Luo took the suitcase and nodded. Don't work too late, I'm leaving, Yi Xiaomu said and walked towards the door. Su Luo immediately stood up, took Yi Xiaomu's hand and held her in her arms. Liu, what are you doing? Yi Xiaomu stared blankly at Su Luo's face, who was so close to her. Delicate and tender skin, and facial features as if carved by a knife. Give me a kiss, Su Luo said as she lowered her head and leaned towards Yi Xiaomu's lips. Yi Xiaomu raised his hands and put them around Su Luo's neck, and Su Luo also put her arms around Yi Xiaomu. At this moment, the two people are communicating with each other's souls. After a few minutes, the two people slowly separated, and the atmosphere between them became more romantic. But in the end, the two people were still relatively rational. Honey, I'm going to bed. Yi Xiaomu looked at Su Luo with affection in her eyes and said softly. Okay, honey, Su Luo said, sending Yi Xiaomu to the door and waving at her. Watching Yi Xiaomu leave, Su Luo took her shorts and pajamas and walked into the bathroom. On the other side, Yi Xiaomu returned to Zhu Qing's room and saw her lying on the bed looking at her mobile phone. Xiaoking, what are you doing? Yi Xiaomu walked to the bed and lay down on it. I'm watching celebrity couples. These shows are so boring. It's just that guy named Zhang Nan chatting awkwardly. Zhu Qing complained with disgust, then handed the phone to Yi Xiaomu. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Zhang Nan doesn't care about the female guest at all. I can only say that celebrity couples these days are completely divided into two camps. There shouldn't be three: couples, lovers, and pretend lovers. It's too obvious. Forget it, I can't bear to watch anymore. Let's watch something else. Yi Zayaramu looked at the popularity and found that there were only more than 500,000 people left. She then looked at the other live broadcast rooms and found that they were not much different. Perhaps Zhu Jai and Tang Jiru's live broadcast rooms had slightly more people. When Yuan Su Luo appear on the show, each live broadcast room has at least 1 million views, and it can reach 3 million at night. And the live broadcast rooms of both of you have been maintained above 5 million for a long time. Zhu Qing saw Yi Zayaramu's actions and guessed that she was looking at the data, so he told her the previous data. I guess there will be no improvement tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Ding Lei will call you, Zhu Qing said with a smile. I don't think so. Liu Liu signed a contract with them. They can't let us go back to continue recording for any reason. Yi Zayaramu covered her mouth and laughed. Seeing the show fail like this, Yi Zayaramu still felt a little happy. Ding Lei's head was about to explode at this time. What kind of people were these people shoved in by the investors? All kinds of showmanship, isn't this disgusting? Damn, the popularity of the live broadcast room has dropped, and the investors are still scolding me. Fuck, if it weren't for those idiots you guys stuffed in, would this happen? Ding Lei's mentality was about to collapse, and he suddenly thought of the termination contract signed by Su Luo and him. Su Luo and Yi Zayaramu may not be asked to go back to record the program for any reason. Did he anticipate the current situation? Ding Ling Ling. Ding Lei, are you still capable? Your popularity has dropped to 500,000. What are you doing? As soon as he picked up the phone, he was scolded by the other party. Ding Lei did not turn on the speakerphone, but Li Zayaraxuang on the other end could hear the yelling on the phone. Li Zayaraxuang stuck out his tongue and clicked on the canceled transparency button on the interface at the corner of the computer. This was the WeChat chat lock. Li Zayaraxuang said, "The investor just called and scolded Director Ding again. Indeed, these newcomers are too low-key." Li Zayaraxuang, "It's just a rumor said to have been inserted by the investors. No wonder it's so bad. Do you think Director Ding, with his temper, will he slam the table and quit?" Li Zayaraxuang, "No way, Director Ding is an adult. How could he just give up so easily?" "Fuck you, I quit. Whoever wants to film it can film it, but the penalty is 10 million and I'll pay it to you tomorrow. I'll buy you a coffin." Li Zayaraxuang stared at Ding Lei, who was going crazy in front of him with his eyes wide open. A hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. At the same time, he quickly lowered his head to avoid being discovered. Li Zayaraxuang, "I was slapped in the face. Just now Director Ding quit. Holy crap, is our production team going to disband? What's going on? I don't understand at all. Director Ding, are you okay?" Li Zayaraxuang was chatting in the group while looking at Ding Lei, who was slumped in the chair. "It's okay. I guess the director will be changed tomorrow, and you might need to return to your original job." Ding Lei hesitated for a moment and finally spoke. "I have decided to quit too, just like you," Li Zayaraxuang said firmly. "Why don't you do it? Are you stupid? You don't have to run around for this show. Where else can you find such an easy job?" Ding Lei immediately advised. "Director Ding, there's no need to say more. This is the result of my careful consideration." Li Zayaraxuang's determined eyes revealed an indescribable seriousness. "If you trust me, you can fill out the resignation form first and then go to work. After I hand over the work here, we will take on the next project." Ding Lei also made the best decision. "Okay, Director Ding." Li Zayaraxuang started writing a letter of resignation with excitement and then handed it to Ding Lei. After reading it, Ding Lei found that there were no special requirements, so he signed it directly and handed it to Li Zayaraxuang. "That's all," Ding Lei said calmly, then watched Li Zayaraxuang walk out of the live studio. Ding Lei sat alone in a chair, looked around, with some regret in his eyes. In the end, he still didn't film this variety show. Chapter 92, Do I Look Like a Mentally Retarded Person to You? Ding Lei actually felt a little happy at this moment, not because he quit and fired the investor, but because he did not expect it. Su Luo actually predicted that the show would fail, and estimated that even if the investors replaced the director to take over his duties, the show would probably be gone. It turns out that the program was controlled by Su Luo, and Ding Lei himself didn't even realize it. The investors will lose tens of millions this time, but that's not the most important thing. The most serious thing is that they have offended the Jiangcheng officials. Ding Lei thought about it and laughed. What a relief. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword add the other side. After taking a shower, Su Luo sat at the computer and studied for a long time, but she couldn't find any way to terminate the contract immediately and reduce the penalty. However, Su Luo did not force this. After the contract was terminated, she could directly sue Luohua Entertainment for the sky-high penalty for breach of contract and recover it. The order is different, and the effect is different. If you sue first, the contract cannot be terminated, and the songs Su Luo uses may cause copyright disputes. On the other hand, if the contract is terminated first, there will be plenty of time to talk about it later, and it will not hinder Yi Xiaomu's development. Thinking of this, Su Luo turned off the computer, got up, walked to the bed, and fell asleep. April 1, Ding Lei, Lu Jun, and Li Xiaoshuang completed the program handover as soon as possible. Because of the breach of contract, Ding Lei and Lu Jun returned their remuneration. The three of them set out on their journey home. After discussion, they decided to go to the Magic City first to look for Su Luo. Tanya was harassed by the company, and all of her artists except Yi Xiaomu were assigned to other agents. Tanya did not raise any objections. Because Yi Xiaomu was blacklisted as her agent, she could not get any resources for Yi Xiaomu, so she left the company directly and went home to lie down. Lu Miaomia was forced to move out of the assistant apartment provided by the company and was taken home by Tanya. Driver Li Yang and the business car were assigned to other people. The source of all this, Yi Xiaomu, was currently lying on the bed and sleeping soundly. Zhu Qing's eyes were dark and red. He looked at Yi Xiaomu lying there with a big letter on his face, feeling helpless. Why should I sleep with her? When did she become so majestic when sleeping? Thinking of what happened last night, Zhu Qing's face turned dark and he had just fallen asleep. Yi Xiaomu hit her in the face with one hand, waking her up. It wasn't long before she fell asleep again, and another leg fell on her. From time to time, his hands and feet would be pulled out of her body, and then they would fall back on her again after a while. Zhu Qing slept in a state of panic that night. Humph, since you're pregnant, I won't bother with you. Thinking of this, Zhu Qing got up, washed up, and walked out of the room. Her pajamas were rather conservative, so she didn't change her clothes. As soon as Zhu Qing walked out of the bedroom door, he smelled a fragrance. His eyes lit up and he walked to the kitchen, where he saw Su Luo busy preparing breakfast. Good morning, Zhu Qing. Su Luo heard the noise and turned around to see that it was Yi Xiaomu's best friend. Brother-in-law, good morning, Zhu Qing said with a smile. Let's have breakfast. There are porridge, fried eggs, and buns. Su Luo introduced the breakfast. It's not a lot, just enough for 4 people. The extra portion for one more person is mainly because I'm worried that Yi Xiaomu won't have enough to eat. The cooking skills are really great. After eating breakfast and thinking about yesterday's breakfast, Zhu Qing praised. Thank you, Xiaomu hasn't gotten up yet, Su Luo asked puzzledly after being polite for a moment. Well, brother-in-law, let me ask you a question. Zhu Qing nodded, then looked at Su Luo, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and spoke. Okay, ask. What do you think of Xiaomu's sleeping posture? Puchai. Zhu Qing laughed out loud after asking. Haha, he's definitely a bit dishonest sometimes, but it's okay, he's pretty cute. Su Luo recalled how Yi Xiaomu had hugged him like an octopus, and said with a smile. When Zhu Qing saw Su Luo's expression, he wanted to slap himself. Why am I asking this for no reason? Isn't this just feeding myself dog food? I heard from Xiaomu that she is planning to terminate the contract. Zhu Qing asked. When she talked to Yi Xiaomu yesterday, she didn't say anything, so she wanted to ask her some questions now that she had the chance. Well, she and I are planning to set up a studio. Su Luo nodded and said. What about the penalty for breach of contract? Zhu Qing asked hesitantly. She just wanted to make sure Yi Xiaomu could handle it herself. If there were any difficulties, she still had some savings. Didn't she tell you this? Su Luo asked curiously. Haha, of course I did. I just wanted to test you, Zhu Qing said with a wry smile. Do you think I'm mentally retarded? Su Luo looked at Zhu Qing with an expression as if he was mentally retarded. Haha, Zhu Qing laughed out loud. It turned out that he became stupid after being with Yi Xiaomu. Don't worry, I can handle this. Su Luo finally didn't mention the amount of the penalty. Since Xiaomu didn't say anything, Su Luo naturally wouldn't say anything either. I'm done eating. I'll go back to my room first, Su Luo said after finishing her meal. After all, she is my girlfriend's best friend, so I should be a little careful when getting along with her. Okay, Zhu Qing nodded. Su Luo put the bowl into the sink, ready to wash it together later, and walked back to the room. Ding, the April Fool's Day special gift package has arrived. Would you like to open it? Su Luo was surprised to hear the hint in her mind. Are there any gift packages during this holiday? I thought to myself. There will be gift packages for popular holidays. Would you like to open the April Fool's Day gift package? The system prompted. Opened. Opened successfully. Congratulations on obtaining the novel Zhu Xian Yuan. A memory directly flooded into Su Luo's mind. Su Luo sensed the contents in her mind. This was a fantasy novel. It has both the fairy spirit of flying with a sword and the emotions of human nature. There are also emotional entanglements between Zhang Xiaofen, Bai Weiying, and Lu Zuqi. I have to say that this is a good book. Although it does not belong to traditional literature, its writing style and depth of content have taken online literature a big step forward. Su Luo immediately turned on the computer and searched for novel websites. Fengyun, Jingxiu, and Xiangong are the three major novel websites in China. Jingxiu is a website for female-oriented novels, so Su Luo finally searched on Fengyun and Xiangong, but could not find Zhu Xian Yuan. So this is a novel from the system, so... Tongzi, I wrote this. Won't you give me a reward? No. No, I won't write it. Publish The Legend of Zhu Xian to the novel website and receive a USB flash drive containing Yang Xiaodong's criminal evidence as a reward. Su Luo suddenly felt that there was another USB flash drive in her pocket. After plugging it into the computer, Su Luo started to check it out. Oh my God, this Yang Xiaodong is quite cruel. It seems that Xiaomu doesn't have to pay the penalty for breach of contract. However, for the sake of caution, Su Luo still did some screening and saved the content that was easier to find in a USB flash drive. As for the other content, it was kept together with Li Yang's criminal record, waiting for an opportunity to send them to work on the sewing machines together. Thinking of this, Su Luo opened the Xian Gong Novel Network and began to browse the fairy tale novels there. Xiao Ding from Zhu Xian, Chapter 93, Xiao Shui only wants to revive Xiao. Thinking of this, Su Luo opened the Xian Gong Novel Network and began to browse the fairy tale novels there. The reason why I chose Xiangong Novel Network is because it is the largest novel website in China. It was called Tomato Novel in the early years. Later, it grew and expanded, swallowed up several novel websites, and then merged them and named it Xiangong Novel Network. After browsing through some fantasy novels, Su Luo discovered that they all followed the same format. It is far worse than the Zhu Xian legend he remembers now. Su Luo immediately registered an account on the Xiangong Novel website and successfully applied to become a writer with the pen name Yi Luo. Looking at the time, it was already 9 o'clock. Xiaomu should not have gotten up yet, so Su Luo started to prepare to write. The legend of Zhu Xian mainly tells the story of Xiao Shui, who witnessed the massacre of his village in Cao Miao Village, Heiyang City, and went up the mountain to enter the immortal sect to learn skills, trying to find the real murderer and take revenge. By accident, he learned 3 kinds of magic: the Buddhist magic, and the immortal magic. Xiao Shui's awesomeness and kindness also attracted the attention of his fellow sisters. Then Xiao Shui went down the mountain to travel and met the holy maiden of the demon sect, Xiao Mei, and formed a deep friendship with her. Xiao Shui has repeatedly aroused suspicion from the immortal sect because of his magic skills and blood-refined magic weapons. During the battle between immortals and demons, Xianmen tried to accidentally kill Xiao Shui, but his intention was discovered by Xiao Mei. Xiao Mei sacrificed her own life to save Xiao Shui, and at the same time prevented the war between immortals and demons from continuing. Xiao Shui was heartbroken and began to miss Xiao Mei. He felt that he had fallen in love with Xiao Mei and tried to find a way to revive her. Xiao Shui rebelled against the immortal sect and joined the demon sect. For 10 years, he has been searching for a way to resurrect Xiao Mei. Su Luo began to tap on the keyboard, typing out the Zhu Xian biography from her memory, word by word. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door, and then the door opened. Liu, what are you doing? It was Yi Xiaomu who walked in. I'm writing a novel. Su Luo looked at the time. Wow, it was already 10:30. At the same time, I looked at the word count, and it was just over 10,000 words. Novel? What novel? Yi Xiaomu walked to Su Luo curiously and looked at the computer. The Legend of Zhu Xian? Yi Xiaomu murmured. Yes, it's a fantasy online novel. Su Luo held Yi Xiaomu's hand and said with a smile. Can I take a look? Yi Xiaomu's eyes lit up. Who doesn't have a dream of becoming a fairy hero? Yi Xiaomu even once imagined herself as a fairy, flying on a sword. I've only written a little. Su Luo opened the author's backend of the Xiangong Novel Network. Then open the draft box, which contains 5 chapters. Su Luo took out an anti-radiation apron from the suitcase and put it on Yi Zayaramu. Then she pulled over a stool and asked Yi Zayaramu to sit next to her. Then Yi Zayaramu couldn't wait to open the first prologue and started reading. After more than 10 minutes, she looked at Su Luo with some lingering feeling. What's next? There's nothing down there. Then write quickly. Yi Zayaramu was indeed attracted. From the introduction in the prologue, heaven and earth are unkind and treat all things as straw dogs. The structure of this novel opens up instantly. When I see Zhang Ziyarofen's parents being killed in their own village, and then being taken into the Immortal Gate by the Qingyun sect, I feel a sense of anticipation and want to see the subsequent developments. What are you planning to eat for lunch? Su Luo asked instead of answering. I just discussed with Xiaoqing that we'll order takeout for lunch and watch some drama at home in the afternoon. She has to go out of town to attend an event tonight. Yi Zayaramu also felt a little regretful that public figures could not go out and play casually. Although you can wear a mask and sunglasses, there is still a possibility of being recognized. At the same time, she was pregnant, and there might be a certain risk if she went out and was recognized. Considering these, she decided to stay at home in the afternoon. How about I go cook? Su Luo said as she was about to get up. It's okay, that's not necessary. Just write quickly, Yi Zayaramu said with a smile. I am increasingly discovering that my husband is a treasure boy. He can sing, dance, carve, and now he can write novels. Su Luo continued typing, her slender fingers constantly flying across the keyboard. Su Luo typed a line and Yi Zayaramu read it. She read quickly, and before a line was finished, she would look at Su Luo's face. The only sounds left in the room were the gentle tapping of the keyboard, and Yi Zayaramu with a smile on her face. Zayaramu, it's time for dinner. Soon, Zhu Qing's voice came from outside the door, interrupting Su Luo's typing. Su Luo then uploaded the 30,000 words she had just typed. Coming, Yi Zayaramu responded, then stood up and pulled Su Luo out. It's so beautiful, Yi Zayaramu exclaimed. As long as you like it. Su Luo smiled and rubbed Yi Zayaramu's head and replied. The two walked into the living room. There were several dishes and 3 boxes of rice on the coffee table. It seemed that this was the takeout they ordered. I can't cook, so I can only treat you to takeout, Zhu Qing said apologetically. It doesn't matter, I'm not picky. Yi Zayaramu waved her hand and said, What did you do this morning? Why didn't you come out the whole morning? Zhu Qing asked casually as he sat next to Yi Zayaramu. Liu Liu wrote a novel, and I accompanied him in writing it. Yi Zayaramu looked at Su Luo with admiration. Although she is a master's student in literature, she really can't write a novel if she is asked to do so. So when she saw the novel written by Su Luo, which had good writing and a good story, she naturally felt that Su Luo was very amazing. Novel, Zhu Qing asked doubtfully. Well, it's called Zhu Xianjuan, and it's really good. Then Yi Zayaramu continued talking while dancing with chopsticks in her hand, until Su Luo tapped her head gently and said something. Eat well. Su Luo just felt a little shy being praised by Yi Zayaramu in person, so she interrupted Yi Zayaramu's mindless flattery. Because in fact, Zhu Xianjuan is not as exaggerated as Yi Zayaramu said. After all, online literature emphasizes the golden 3 chapters, and the first 3 chapters of Zhu Xianjuan do not have any strong highlights. Of course, Zhu Xianjuan has great writing and a great story, so it will definitely become popular in the end. Oh, Yi Zayaramu rubbed his head, then put away his smile and started eating seriously. On the other side, Zhu Qing was intrigued by Yi Zayaramu's description. He took out his mobile phone and started searching for novels while eating. Zhangong Novel Network, Zhu Xianjuan Collection 0, read 0. Zhu Qing clicked on it decisively and provided a reading amount, and his chopsticks slowly stopped eating. Yi Zayaramu was eating. Seeing Zhu Qing's expression, she covered her mouth and smiled secretly. Then she turned to look at Su Luo and gave him a thumbs up. Eat, Su Luo said with a smile. Soon the two finished their meal, and Zhu Qing was still watching. Xiaoqing, eat quickly and watch it after you finish eating, Yi Zayaramu said. Gone, why is it gone? Zhu Qing has already seen the latest chapter. I'll stop writing here, come on and eat, we've all finished eating, Yi Zayaramu said with narrowed eyes. Brother-in-law, write quickly, write quickly. This novel is really good and different from the ones I've read before, Zhu Qing said excitedly. Chapter 94, I only discriminate against you. Liu Liu, Yi Zayaramu also looked at Su Luo with anticipation. The donkeys in the production team can't work like this without rest. Su Luo touched his forehead and said helplessly. Husband, Yi Zayaramu shouted at the top of her lungs. Okay, I'm going to write. Call me when you leave. Su Luo couldn't help but shiver. At Zhu Qing's house, Su Luo didn't have to worry about Yi Xiaomu being bored, so she planned to be free for the next 2 days and write more. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals fine recommendations, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, / TT keyword add after my contract is terminated next week. I'll probably be busy. Then I'll just update 2-3 chapters a day. The reward is already in hand. System, you can't force me, Su Luo thought. Looking at Su Luo, who was running away in a panic, Yi Xiaomu covered her mouth and laughed secretly. It seems that you rarely call him husband, Zhu Qing said from the side. Well, yes, I usually call him Liu Liu, Yi Xiaomu said with a smile. I suddenly hate you guys so much, Zhu Qing said expressionlessly. Then you should work hard too and find a boyfriend as soon as possible, Yi Xiaomu said with a smile. I feel like you are discriminating against singles, Zhu Qing said quietly. Ha 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 ha, don't say that, I'm just discriminating against you. Ha 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 ha. As Yi Xiaomu spoke, she laughed out loud. Ah, I'm so angry. Zhu Qing took a few deep breaths and said helplessly. Do you feel like Big Bear is about to explode with anger? Yi Xiaomu covered her mouth, looked at Zhu Qing's chest rising and falling, and said with a smile. It's so scary. Married young women are really scary. Zhu Qing covered his forehead and said speechlessly. Hiccup, hiccup, gee, goose, goose. Yi Xiaomu smiled. HMPH, let's not talk about this anymore, let's watch my new drama, Zhu Qing said as he turned on the TV. Su Luo walked into the room but did not type immediately. Instead, she received a call. Hey, Mom. Xiao Luo, have you eaten? Sun Yun immediately asked about her son's diet after answering the phone. I've already eaten, how about you? I've eaten. Your father went to the company and they have started developing more new products recently, Sun Yun explained. Is there something wrong with you? Su Luo asked curiously. I just want you to come back for Qingming Festival. We need to worship our ancestors at home. Okay, Mom, if Xiaomu doesn't have work, we'll go back on the 4th. Okay, there's one more thing. We bought a house opposite Xiaomu's house. We will move there after Qingming Festival, Sun Yun said. You guys, Su Luo frowned. Buying like this would easily lead to conflicts. After all, it would not be appropriate for him and Xiaomu to live in his parents' house, or Yi's father and mother's house. Besides, it's not appropriate to talk about moving out at this time. Don't worry, we've already talked to Xiaomu's parents. We'll all contribute money to buy you a house for you to live in. No one knows a child better than his mother. Sun Yun obviously knew what Su Luo was thinking. In addition, Su Luo's parents, including Yi's father and mother, all understand that young people nowadays still prefer a world of two, so it is not appropriate to always live with their parents. You don't have to pay, I have money. In that case, I will talk to Xiaomu's parents tonight and take Xiaomu to see the house. How much money do you have? Your father prepared 20 million in cash specifically for you this time. Sun Yun obviously didn't believe Su Luo's words. She could still vividly remember Su Luo, who often asked her for pocket money. I really have money. I earned it by buying virtual currency when I was in college. Su Luo explained the source of funds according to the system prompt. How much money can I have? Land in Shanghai is extremely expensive. Your father and I bought this house for over 7.7 million yuan in full. 100 million, Su Luo said lightly. Only 100 million. What can you buy with 100 million? Sun Yun didn't react at first. So your son can even buy a villa, Su Luo said with a smile. Well, I'm going to play mahjong. Remember to come back when you're free. Sun Yun found the news a little unbelievable and hung up the phone in a hurry. Let's discuss buying a house with Xiaomu today. While Su Luo was thinking, she turned on the computer and continued typing. Time passed by minute, accompanied by the sound of light keyboard tapping. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Somewhere in Beijing, Asgard headquarters. What the hell are these? The Xianxia editor said in a scholarly tone. What's wrong? Asked a colleague. Look at what's written here. The protagonist vomits blood whenever he practices. This blood can corrupt others. When facing the enemy, the protagonist will vomit blood non-stop. I'm about to vomit blood watching this, the scholar said helplessly. Oh, don't even mention your Xianxia group. It's the same in our urban group. There are all kinds of weird novels. Online novels are becoming more and more boring. Colleagues in the urban group were also helpless. The urban world is a bit better, as a good book pops up every now and then. The fairy tale world either has almost the same settings or all kinds of bloody settings. It's so hard for me. The scholar was so depressed that he was about to cry. Just be happy. We have almost no submissions for martial arts novels. The editor of the martial arts group spoke quietly, holding a cup of wolfberry tea in his hand. Wow, this is good, let me take a look, the scholar suddenly said. Heaven and earth are unkind and treat all things as straw dogs. Holy crap, that's awesome. The scholar shouted excitedly. Scholar, you're an editor at least, you have some culture. What the hell, you're over it. The scholar ignored the teasing of others and started reading the novel seriously. The Legend of Zhu Xian. That's all, the scholar muttered after reading the latest chapter in just over 10 minutes. The writing is good and the setting is great too. The blood-sucking pearl, Tiantian Temple, Qingyun sect, and the dual cultivation of Buddhism and Taoism, the scholar said to himself. Scholar, what are you mumbling about? Oh, it's okay. I found a good book. The scholar finally reacted and immediately submitted the contract and sent his WeChat number via a short message on the website. Ding, Su Luo requests you to be her friend. Approved. Is her name Su Luo? The scholar muttered to himself. He then immediately edited the message and sent it. Master Yi Luo, the contract application has been sent. Just fill it out according to the process. No, Su Luo replied. Master Yi Luo, the scholar looked confused. Only sign the online copyright. Su Luo must keep the physical copyright, film and television copyright, and the like in her hands. The scholar frowned as he looked at the message sent by Yi Luo. I opened Yi Luo's author information. I'm a newbie, that's right. How come I have the same requirements as the masters? In this case, we may not be able to sign the contract. The scholar hesitated and sent it. Then I won't sign it. The scholar looked at Su Luo's reply in surprise, turned his head to look at the office of the editor-in-chief of the Xianxia group, gritted his teeth, stood up and walked over. Chapter 95, planning to buy a house. Seeing that the editor-scholar had not replied, Su Luo ignored him and continued typing silently. The sky gradually darkened. Liu, it's time for us to go. Yi Xiaomu opened the door, stuck her head out, and said in a soft voice. Okay, Su Luo responded, then looked at the author's backstage. In nearly an afternoon, he typed out another 20,000 words. Have you packed your clothes? Su Luo looked at Yi Xiaomu at the door while packing up her computer. Mine is ready. Where are your clothes? Yi Xiaomu pushed open the door and walked in pulling the suitcase. I'll clean it up myself later. It's okay, I'll help you collect it. It's not a physical job. Yi Xiaomu said with a smile, then ran into the bathroom and stuffed Su Luo's changed clothes into the suitcase. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930/TT keyword add let's go, Su Luo said, holding a computer bag in one hand and pulling a suitcase with the other. Brother-in-law, update it. As soon as I arrived in the living room, I heard Zhu Qing saying excitedly. Update tomorrow, Su Luo said with a smile. We have to wait until tomorrow, Xiaomu. Zhu Qing had a sad face, then looked at Yi Xiaomu with anticipation. I'll listen to him, haha. Yi Xiaomu laughed after saying that. Hee, I can watch it at night, Yi Xiaomu thought to himself. It's faded, the feelings have faded. Zhu Qing shook his head helplessly. Okay, tomorrow is the weekend, I'll let Liu update more. Yi Xiaomu looked at Zhu Qing and said with a smile. I knew you were the best to me. Zhu Qing clasped his hands in front of his chest and said with a touched look on his face. Greasy, let's go. Yi Xiaomu rolled her eyes at Zhu Qing and said. I'll take you there. Zhu Qing took the key and followed. No need, we can just call a taxi. You have a plane to catch. It's okay, there's still more than an hour left, there's still time. I'll take you back first. After all, she was the one who drove Yi Xiaomu and the other person here, so she naturally had to send them back to complete the whole process. It just so happens that the car was rented at the airport, so I can just return it when I get to the airport. Along the way, Zhu Qing kept begging Su Luo to update. After all, she was Yi Xiaomu's best friend. It was indeed difficult to refuse this offline request for manuscript submission. In the end, Su Luo promised to update another 10,000 words in the evening, and Zhu Qing gave up. Ding dong! Mr. Yi Luo, our editor-in-chief, has agreed. The electronic contract has been sent to the internal message board. Take a look. If it's okay, you can sign the contract electronically directly. Su Luo looked at the message and logged into the Xiangong Novel Network with her mobile phone. Sure enough, there was a new message in the author's backend. After browsing the contents of the contract, I found that Xiangong Novel Network only owns the online copyright. Su Luo nodded secretly. There was nothing wrong with the contract, so she signed it according to the procedure. Signed, Su Luo sent a message to the scholar. Thank you, Master Yi Luo. Please keep updating. We will help you arrange recommendations. Yi Zaiamu was sitting in the passenger seat. She turned around and looked at Su Luo, who was playing with her mobile phone. She pouted and was just seen by Su Luo out of the corner of her eye. Zaiomyu, what's wrong? Su Luo looked up and looked at Yi Zaiamu. You've been playing with your phone? Yi Zaiamu said with a pout. I was just signing the contract. The novel has been signed with the Immortal Palace. Su Luo raised her cell phone and waved it in front of Yi Zaiamu. Wow, that's awesome. Why don't you update a few chapters quickly? Zhu Qing said excitedly while driving. 20 minutes later, the car stopped downstairs of Yi Zaiamu's house. Zioking, thank you. Yi Zaiamu got off the car and stood beside it and said, You're welcome. Just ask your husband to update a few more chapters. Here it comes, Zhu Qinghua urged for updates. Okay, I'll ask him to update it when I get back. Yi Zaiamu covered her mouth and said with a smile. Her best friend seemed even more anxious than she was. Okay, then I'm leaving. Bye. After Zhu Qing said that, he waved to Yi Zaiamu and the others and drove away from Jinxiu community. It was already past 5 o'clock when Yi Zaiamu and Su Luo got home. Mom and Dad. Su Luo and Yi Zaiamu greeted Yi's father and mother after entering the door. You're back, let's eat. It's ready. Sun Tingting immediately pulled Yi Zhenhua up and walked towards the restaurant. The four of them seemed to be back to last Sunday, sitting at the same table, but this time their mood was completely free of the awkwardness and complexity of last time. Dad, Mom, Zaiamu, I have something to discuss with you, Su Luo said during the meal. Okay, Zio Luo, go ahead. Yi Zhenhua nodded and said, My mom told me before that she bought a house across the street and would move in with my parents in the future. I think I will basically settle down in Shanghai in the future, so I plan to buy a house in Shanghai as my wedding house for Zaiamu and me. Su Luo looked at Yi Zaiamu and said seriously, They have already obtained the marriage certificate. Although they haven't held the wedding yet, they still need to have a wedding house. The most important thing is that Su Luo is rich now. I have discussed this matter with your parents. We have no objection, but our family cannot support you too much, Yi Zhenhua said. Dad, Mom, you don't have to pay, I have money. Yi Zaiamu had saved over 40 million yuan in the past few years. She had given her parents money before, but they refused to accept it, so she had no choice but to save it herself. Zaiamu, you don't have to pay. I bought some virtual currency before, but sold it a while ago. I have some savings now. Su Luo looked at Yi Zaiamu and said with a smile. Yi Zhenhua and Sun Tingting looked at each other and nodded with satisfaction. Their daughter and son-in-law were both very capable. They no longer objected to Yi Zaiamu being in the entertainment industry. After all, in their hearts, Su Luo would be with her, so there was no need to worry about her being bullied. Yi Zaiamu nodded, thinking that if it wasn't enough by then, she would add more. Okay, you two can decide for yourselves. We have no objection, Yi Zhenhua said with a smile. By the way, Zio Luo Qingming Festival is coming soon. Are you planning to take Zaiamu back to worship your ancestors? Sun Tingting said at this time. Mom, I haven't discussed this with Zaiamu yet, Su Luo said. Let Zaiamu go back with you then. After all, I haven't been to your house yet because of the program. This is a good opportunity, Yi Zhenhua echoed. Okay, Mom and Dad, I plan to go back on the 4th. What do you think, Zaiamu? Su Luo nodded, then looked at Yi Zaiamu and asked. I'm fine, Yi Zaiamu said with a smile, but still a little nervous in her heart. After the four of them finished their meal, they sat in the living room, ate some fruit, chatted for a while, and then went back to their rooms. After all, Yi Zaiamu is pregnant now and cannot stay up late, so the four of them did not suggest playing mahjong or other entertainment activities. Zaiamu, I saw that you were a little nervous just now. After entering the room, Su Luo held Yi Zaiamu's hand and said with a smile. Chapter 96, Ding Lei arrives in Shanghai. Yes, it's my first time going to your house. Yi Zaiamu nodded and said in a low voice. I'm here, don't worry, look at how I behave at your house, Su Luo said with a smile. Tusk, I don't know who is asking me what my father's last name is. Yi Zaiamu glanced at Su Luo and said disdainfully. I was just trying to lighten the mood, Su Luo said somewhat awkwardly. Don't think I don't know that you're in the kitchen with my dad. It's incredibly awkward. Ha ha ha, that was the first time we met after all, but you've met my parents before. Look how much my parents like you. Su Luo couldn't help laughing as she recalled her first meeting with Yi Zhenhua. Liu, are there many relatives from your family going this time? Yi Zaiamu pulled Su Luo's sleeve and asked nervously. I don't know either, but I have an uncle who lives out of town. I don't know if he will come back this time, Su Luo said. His father has an older brother who has settled in another place, and sometimes doesn't come back for several years. Although there are relatives on his mother's side, it is an ancestor worship ceremony after all, and the ancestors being worshipped are the ancestors of the man, so no one from the woman's side will come. I remember when I was a child I had an aunt, but she seemed to have no contact with our family anymore. I don't know why, Yi Zairamu said. Didn't Dad tell you? Su Luo asked curiously. No, forget it, let's not talk about this. Remember to update the novel, I'm going to take a shower, Yi Zairamu said with a smile. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930 / TT keyword add. Why don't we go together and save some water? Su Luo pulled Yi Zairamu and said with a wicked smile. In the end, you're the one who suffers. Yi Zairamu rolled his eyes at Su Luo. I'd love to. Su Luo raised her head and pulled Yi Zairamu into the bathroom. Zairamu, you go out first. I'll wash the clothes, Su Luo said when she saw Yi Zairamu changing into pajamas and preparing to wash clothes. You don't know how to wash? I know how to do it. Just add detergent and rub it. Su Luo smiled and pushed Yi Zairamu out. Yi Zairamu was the one who washed the clothes during the few days she was away, and Su Luo found that she was becoming more and more reluctant to let her do it. Oh, just a few pieces of underwear. It's okay, let me do it. Yi Zairamu did not leave and pulled Su Luo out. Put your underwear into the basin and throw the rest of the clothes into the washing machine. Su Luo stood at the bathroom door, watching Yi Zairamu gently rubbing the clothes, and smiled. Zairamu, you are so beautiful, Su Luo said seriously. You're the one who told me to do that. Oh, stop looking at me and go update your novel. Yi Zairamu's ears turned red. Even though the two of them were so close, Yi Zairamu would still blush and feel heart beating sometimes when he heard Su Luo's words. Yes, leader, Su Luo stopped and said loudly. Okay, stop making trouble, Yi Zairamu said with a smile. Well, I'll go update it first and be right back with you. Su Luo said this, walked to the bed, took out her cell phone, and updated all the 20,000 words she had typed in the afternoon. Although both Zhu Qing and Yi Zairamu like reading it, the current data doesn't seem to be very good, mainly because the number of words is too small. Mom, Zairamu and I will go back on the 4th. Su Luo sent a message to his mother. Okay, your uncle number 4 is back too. Su Luo chatted with Sun Yun for a few words, then walked to the bathroom door and accompanied Yi Zairamu to wash clothes. The two of them hung their clothes on the balcony and then lay down on the bed. As soon as Yi Zairamu lay down on the bed, she took out her cell phone, opened the Ziyangong novel network and started reading. Zairamu, don't bother my sister, wait for me to finish reading, Yi Zairamu said without raising her head. Let's see tomorrow, I have something to tell you. Su Luo tried to hug Yi Zairamu and spoke. Well, wait a minute, I've been waiting for a long time. Yi Zairamu pouted and said with a smile, but this perfunctory look made Su Luo laugh. Su Luo had no choice but to take out her cell phone and open Weibo. Ding Lei, the director of the celebrity couple's daily routine program, has withdrawn from the program. Ding ling ling, Su Luo's phone rang. Sister Ya, this is Tanya calling. Yi Zairamu, who was reading a novel on the side, looked at Su Luo strangely, a little curious why her agent called Su Luo. Have you heard about Ding Lei's situation? Su Luo turned on the handset and heard Tanya's voice. I just saw that director Ding seems to have quit the program. Ding Lei, Lu Jun, and Li Ziaoshuang will be with me now. At this time in a restaurant box, there were Tanya, Lu Miomio, and Ding Lei. In order to save some money, Ding Lei and his two companions bought an ordinary train and finally arrived in Shanghai after a journey of more than 10 hours. But there was no Su Luo's phone number, so I finally contacted Tanya. You guys are so miserable, aren't you? Tanya sighed as she brought Lu Miomio to see the three exhausted people. It was a breach of contract in the first place, and the money has been returned, Ding Lei said helplessly. No, haven't you two army soldiers directed many programs before? Tanya asked in surprise. It's hard to explain, Ding Lei shook his head. We just terminated the contract, and all the money was used to pay the penalty. This program is actually the first program we two brothers took on after becoming independent, Lu Jun explained from the side. So why are you here? Tanya asked curiously. I don't know either. I suddenly had an idea to talk to Su Luo, but we don't have his phone number, Ding Lei said with a wry smile. Okay, let me take you guys out for dinner first. Then a few people came to a restaurant, and there was a scene where Tanya called Su Luo. Do you need us to come out now? Su Luo asked. That's not necessary. After dinner, I'll take them to a hotel and we'll meet tomorrow, Tanya said. Okay, then let's have lunch together tomorrow. Sister Ya, please help me book a place. Su Luo thought about it and agreed. Okay. Su Luo hung up the phone, thinking about the purpose of Ding Lei coming to see him, but he had no idea. He didn't think he had any personal charm that could make a director come to him. Liu Liu, why does Director Ding want to see you? Yi Xiaomo asked curiously. I don't know now. Su Luo shook her head. Don't think about it. You'll know tomorrow at noon. Su Luo put her arm around Yi Xiaomo and said casually. Liu Liu, what else can you do? It seems like you know everything. Yi Xiaomo put away his phone and turned to look at Su Luo. That's all, don't worship me so much. Su Luo smiled and tapped Yi Xiaomo's nose. Narcissistic. Yi Xiaomo patted Su Luo, then reached out and hugged Su Luo. I want to sleep. Then go to sleep. Su Luo patted Yi Xiaomo's back and said softly. Yeah, Yi Xiaomo closed her eyes and replied softly. Chapter 97, this 5 cent. Looking at Yi Xiaomo in her arms, Su Luo smiled, put her phone on the bedside table and closed her eyes. Su Luo and the others fell asleep peacefully. But at this moment at the headquarters of Zhangong Novel Network, the editor Shusheng was still staring at the data background, his eyes almost red. The data of Zhangong Novel Network has not been very good recently, and the performance of the editors-in-chief has been continuously declining. So even though today is Saturday, all employees are still required to work overtime, just to either sign good works or arrange recommendations for the excellent works that have been signed. Today's signing of the contract for Zhu Xianyuan has made Shusheng keep an eye on its data in the company. If this book really takes off, then he, Shusheng, will definitely be promoted and get a raise. Thinking about it, the scholar felt a little excited, so he didn't leave until it was past 9 o'clock in the evening. In the background of the scholar, a diagonal line representing the number of readings suddenly rushed up, instantly increasing the traffic by 50,000. It's broken, the scholar yelled, and immediately stood up and rushed into the editor-in-chief's office. It's exploded, the editor-in-chief has exploded, the scholar shouted at the editor-in-chief. I didn't explode, said the editor-in-chief with an unhappy look on his face. I'm not saying you exploded, I'm saying the data of Zhu Xianyuan exploded, the scholar said excitedly. Upon hearing this, the editor-in-chief excitedly opened the background data of Zhu Xianyuan. At the time of speaking, the number of readers had skyrocketed to 100,000. The editor looked at the data in confusion. Logically speaking, the name of Zhu Xianyuan was not very popular, but the data at this moment was indeed growing very fast. Could it be data manipulation? However, the Immortal Palace is very strict in reviewing data manipulation. If it was, the book would have been removed from the shelves long ago. Have you seen the reason for the surge in volume? The editor-in-chief asked. Based on what I saw in the book review, it seems that it was promoted by Zhu Qing, the scholar said. Okay, arrange people to control comments immediately. If you find anyone trying to poach people, delete the comments immediately. Also, we must maintain a good relationship with Yi Luo, the editor-in-chief said excitedly. Yes. Half an hour ago, Zhu Qing finished reading the 20,000 words that had just been updated and felt a little unsatisfied. After a little thought, I posted a message on Weibo. I found a great book on the Immortal Palace. The Legend of Zhu Xian is very good, I recommend it. Sister Xiaoqing actually reads online novels. Shouldn't I be surprised that Xiaoqing still watches men's videos? This name doesn't sound good. This is a 50-cent post. Soon, the number of comments under this Weibo post increased. Zhu Qing didn't reveal that Su Luo was the author. After all, Yi Xiaomo herself hadn't advertised it. Could this be a pretext for keeping a low profile? But if Su Luo knew, he would definitely say that he was overthinking it, and he was just trying to complete the task. Ding dong, Su Luo's cell phone rang. But at this time, Su Luo and Yi Xiaomo had already fallen asleep. When Su Luo woke up, she was kicked off the bed in a daze. Su Luo stood up and looked at Yi Xiaomo lying on the bed with her legs spread out. She smiled bitterly. Since when did she suddenly become so unrestrained in her sleep? Who would have thought that Yi Xiaomo, who looks so beautiful and pure, would look like this when she falls asleep? Su Luo stood up, stretched, then pulled out the quilt to cover Yi Xiaomo to block the leaked spring light. I picked up my phone and saw it was 6:30 a.m. I went to bed early yesterday, so I wasn't feeling sleepy anymore. Looking at the several unread messages on her phone, Su Luo opened WeChat chat. Zhu Qing, brother-in-law, I helped promote your Weibo, no need to thank me. I will post more chapters. Okay, I'll find time to write today. Su Luo smiled and replied. Then Su Luo opened the scholar's unread message. Scholar Mr. Yiluo, the data is explosive. This book has taken off and has the potential to become a hit. Scholar Mr. Yiluo, it has been read 300,000 times. Scholar 500,000. Scholar Mr. Yiluo, our company wants to sign an author contract with you. I wonder what you think. I'm not planning to sign an author contract yet, Su Luo replied, put down her phone and walked into the bathroom. After washing up, Su Luo walked out of the room. The living room was quiet at this time, and Yi's father and mother had not yet gotten up. Su Luo walked into the kitchen, took a look, and took out tomatoes, eggs, and noodles. Zio Luo, you're up so early. Sun Tingting's voice came from behind. Mom, good morning. I went to bed early last night, so I got up early. Do you want to have tomato and egg noodles in the morning? I was planning to make breakfast, Sun Tingting said with a smile. It's okay. I got up early today and thought I might as well make breakfast. Su Luo said this without stopping, cutting the tomatoes into dices. Okay, thank you for your hard work today, Sun Tingting said with a smile. It's not hard. Wait 20 minutes and you and Dad can come out for breakfast. Su Luo beat 4 eggs. Okay, Sun Tingting looked at Su Luo with satisfaction and walked out of the kitchen. 20 minutes later, Su Luo served out 3 bowls of noodles. There was still a handful of noodles that had not been put into the pot. Su Luo planned to wait until Yi Zaiaramu woke up before doing so. Bring 3 bowls of noodles to the living room one by one. Dad, Mom, it's time for breakfast. Su Luo leaned over and called out to Mr. and Mrs. Yi in the living room. I'm here. Sun Tingting smiled happily and pulled Yi Zhenyue to the restaurant and sat down. It tastes good. Yi Zhenyue took a bite, his eyes lit up and he praised. Dad, if it's not enough, I'll make more, there's more, Su Luo said with a smile. Yi Zhenyue smiled without saying anything and quickened the pace of his eating. This son-in-law was not only a good cook, but also filial. I used to think that my little cotton-padded jacket was gone, but now I suddenly realized that it's good to have a son. After the 3 of them finished eating, Su Luo was kicked out of the kitchen and Sun Tingting cleaned up the dishes. Do you want to smoke? Yi Zhenyue looked at Su Luo. Su Luo's eyes lit up. Although he was not addicted, sometimes it was very comfortable to have one after a meal. Go away, you two go to the balcony and smoke, Sun Tingting, who was cleaning the table, said on the side. Yi Zhenyue took Su Luo to the balcony and handed her a cigarette. Tomorrow is Monday. Are you planning to terminate the contract? Yi Zhenyue asked while lighting the fire. Yes, Su Luo took a puff of cigarette and nodded. That penalty for breach of contract? Yi Zhenyue was still worried about his daughter after all. Dad, don't worry, it's okay. I know what to do. We also have a professor in the law department at our school. If you need me, I can go find him. Dad, this is a small matter, don't worry. It's not worth your loss of a favor. Su Luo refused with a smile. The father and son chatted on the balcony for a while. In fact, it was mainly because Father Yi was worried about Yi Zaiaramu. Dad, I have a way to get Yi Zaiaramu to terminate the contract peacefully without any penalty. Don't worry. Finally, Su Luo said to Yi Zhenyue seriously. Chapter 98, Are Parents All Over the World the Same? Look at you, you stay in bed every day and it's already 8 o'clock. At this time, Sun Tingting's voice scolding Yi Zaiaramu came over. Su Luo and Yi Zhenyue walked out and saw Yi Zaiaramu standing at the door of the restaurant with an embarrassed look on her face. Dad, I'm going to make breakfast for Zaiaramu, Su Luo said as she walked towards the dining room. At this moment, Yi Zaiaramu suddenly felt a little lost. She still remembered how excited her mother was on the first day she came back. However, after only 2 days, her mother became impatient. Sure enough, it's exactly the same as when I was in school, just after the holidays. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products. Data type equals 1, data value equals 1930, /TT keyword add the first day of summer vacation, good food, good drinks, and a good attitude. The next day, delicious food and drinks. On the 3rd day, there were leftovers in the refrigerator. On the 4th day, I just dealt with it casually. Day 5, lift your feet, sit over there, stop hanging around in front of me. On the 6th day, look at you, you play with your cell phone all day long and do nothing. This is what your teacher taught you. On the 7th day, I have nothing to do. Can't I clean the house? Can't I do some housework? Last day, I'll give you some pocket money, hurry up and go. Mom, I'll make some noodles for Zaiaramu. Su Luo walked over, smiled at Yi Zaiaramu and spoke. Look, Zairo Luo, you even know to get up and make breakfast. Look at you. Sun Tingting continued to scold. Wife, what are you doing? Zaiaramu is pregnant. Yi Zhenyue walked over and said in a low voice. Zairo Mu, have you washed up? Have breakfast later. Yi Zhenyue held Sun Tingting and said with a smile. Dad, I'm done washing up. Yi Zioamu shrugged helplessly, then walked into the restaurant. Ziomu, please understand, there are those days every month. After Yi Zhenhua finished speaking, he pulled Sun Tingting out of the restaurant. What are you doing? Pregnant women tend to be sleepy and you're still blaming her. When you were pregnant with her, you slept even better than her. Coming to the living room, Yi Zhenhua looked at Sun Tingting and spoke seriously. I must be mentally unbalanced. Seeing how outstanding Zio Luo is and how lazy our daughter is, I got angry all of a sudden, Sun Tingting said with some guilt. You should control your emotions these days. Zioamu is pregnant. Remember that. Besides, no matter what Zioamu does, as long as Zioaluo likes her, why bother about her so much? Yi Zhenhua said persuadingly. Ziomu, wait a minute. The noodles are cooking. They'll be ready soon. Su Luo turned around and said to Yi Zioamu in the restaurant with a smile. Liu, do you think I'm lazy? Yi Zioamu was feeling a little depressed by what Sun Tingting said, and said in a low voice. What did you say? Su Luo didn't hear clearly. She scooped out the noodles, poured tomato and egg sauce on them, and brought them to Yi Zioamu. I say, do you think I'm lazy? Yi Zioamu took the chopsticks handed to him by Su Luo and said with his head down. Pregnant women can also experience significant mood swings during pregnancy, especially when affected by external factors. Why would I dislike the little fairy? Su Luo said with a smile. My mom said I'm lazy, Yi Zioamu said with a pout. It's true that I'm a bit lazy, Su Luo nodded with a smile. But when he saw Yi Zioamu raised her head and looked at him angrily, he continued. You're too lazy to call me husband. Hateful, Yi Zioamu was amused by Su Luo. Don't let your imagination run wild. Su Luo stood up and walked to Yi Zioamu, touching her head and speaking gently. Just be yourself. I like you as a person. Whether you are lazy or not, I like you anyway. Then you still think I'm lazy? Yi Zioamu felt happy when she heard Su Luo's words, but she still pretended to be angry. How can I not know that I am lazy? My Zioamu is the best. At most, she is too lazy to put on makeup, but she is still so beautiful. As for how to coax girls, I Su Luo know how. You're so smooth talking, Yi Zioamu said with a red face. Every word I said is true, not an exaggeration at all, Su Luo said, patting his chest. HMPH, Yi Zioamu was in a good mood. She raised the corners of her mouth slightly and hummed softly. Wife, can I have a small suggestion? Su Luo stretched out her index finger and spoke. Okay. Be gentler when you kick me next morning, Su Luo whispered in Su Luo's ear. Ah, Yi Zioamu exclaimed, and then she remembered that she seemed to have kicked something in her dream that morning. Liu, did I kick you this morning? Yi Zioamu asked in disbelief. Well, I was kicked off the bed, Su Luo said, covering her face. Ha, I was wrong. I'll be more careful next time, Yi Zioamu said with a smile, covering her mouth. Wife, let's eat quickly. Be good. Su Luo reminded Yi Zioamu when she saw that her mood had improved. Yeah, Yi Zioamu nodded. She didn't think there was anything wrong with kicking Su Luo off the bed. Isn't it the fun between husband and wife? But she felt that she should be more careful next time and not be so impulsive when dreaming. Well, that's it. Zioamu, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't consider that you were pregnant just now. Sun Tingting also came over at this time and spoke. Seeing this, Su Luo quietly stepped back, leaving space for the mother and daughter. Dad, I'm going back to my room. Su Luo saw Yi Zhenhua at the restaurant door and greeted him. Su Luo returned to her room, looked at the time, it was 8:15, then turned on the computer and started typing. Liu. Not long after, Yi Zioamu walked in and sat next to Su Luo. Don't be angry with Mom. She used to be like this when I was on vacation at home. Su Luo stopped typing, turned to look at Yi Zioamu and spoke. When your girlfriend is angry, just coax her. After she gets angry, you still have to talk to her reasonably. Okay, I understand. I don't feel bad anymore. You continue typing. I'll stay with you, Yi Zioamu said with a smile. Then put on your anti-radiation suit, Su Luo reminded. Okay, Yi Zioamu stood up, took out the anti-radiation suit, put it on, and then sat back next to Su Luo. Liu, you type so fast. Yi Zioamu was watching Su Luo typing away and exclaimed in admiration. I practiced it by chatting with more than a dozen girls at the same time. Su Luo touched his head and said awkwardly. Haha, you've been fooling around, but you've actually developed a skill. Yi Zioamu smiled and patted Su Luo's shoulder. When we were sophomores and juniors, we were very proud of our fast typing speed, Su Luo said as she typed. Haha, it's already April. Are you going to defend your thesis? Yi Zioamu asked. I would have forgotten if you hadn't mentioned it. It seems like the defense is next month, Su Luo said, slapping his forehead. So have you finished your paper? Don't worry, everything is fine, Su Luo had already written the paper. Although I can't reach the level of excellence, my score is generally good, so there should be no problem in getting the diploma. Then do you want to continue your studies? Yi Zaiamo asked curiously. Chapter 99, Ding Lei is optimistic. It's already this late, it's definitely too late to take the exam, Su Luo said with a smile. It doesn't matter, you can apply to my parents' graduate school. They will definitely agree. No, don't do that. I'm going to be a father soon. How can I have time for further studies? Su Luo stopped him immediately. The two chatted like this, and time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 hours had passed, and Su Luo had typed out 20,000 words. After thinking about it, I uploaded 10,000 words, divided into 4 chapters. TT keyword add data title equals beauty, data tag equals recommended products, data type equals 1, data value equals 1930 / TT keyword add, sister, you have sent us the location. Let's go have dinner, Su Luo said after turning off the computer. Yeah, Yi Zaiamo nodded, stood up and stretched. Zaiomyu, don't accompany me like this in the future. You are pregnant. It is not good for you to sit for a long time, Su Luo reminded. Yeah, I get it. I'm just pregnant, not disabled. You don't have to protect me like that. Yeah, I know, but we still have to be careful and obedient. Su Luo held Yi Zaiamu's hand and said gently. I know. The two people walked out of the room. Mom and Dad, Zaiamu and I are going out to eat. Su Luo went outside and saw the two chatting in the living room, so she spoke. Yi's father and mother nodded and reminded him to be careful, but didn't say anything else. Zaiomyu, do you have a car at home? Su Luo asked when they got downstairs. No, my parents have a car, but I don't have the keys. Yi Zaiamu shook her head. She didn't need to drive before, so she only bought a car for her parents and never bought one for herself. Let's take a taxi, Su Luo said, pulling out her phone to call an online taxi. Beep, a horn sounded at this time. Su Luo turned around and saw that it was Tanya's car. Two people walked over and sat down. Sister Ya Meo. Su Luo and Yi Zaiamu greeted each other. I talked to you guys a little yesterday. He mainly said that he liked Su Luo and wanted to talk to you to see if there was any opportunity. Tanya briefly described the situation and explained the communication with Ding Lei yesterday. They think so highly of me, Su Luo said speechlessly. She really couldn't imagine what kind of relationship he had with Ding Lei. Not long after, the car stopped downstairs of the central building, and the four of them took the elevator to the 82nd floor, box 666. Ding Lei and the other two were already sitting inside. Giant Dan and Su Luo immediately stood up to greet them. After a brief greeting, the waiter brought the dishes. Su Luo, would you like some wine? Ding Lei looked at Su Luo and asked. Director Ding, I won't drink anymore. I have something to do with Zaiomyu in the afternoon. Su Luo waved her hand and refused. If it was just Tanya and Meo eating, she would drink some wine. But to be honest, Su Luo was not familiar with Ding Lei and the other three, so she naturally would not drink with them. So far, Su Luo couldn't imagine why Ding Lei was looking for him. Director Ding, do you know who you are looking for? After they had almost finished eating, Su Luo stopped arguing with each other and asked straight to the point. Sorry, to be honest, we were a bit abrupt. We came here just to ask if you are willing to invest in the three of us. Ding Lei did not keep anyone in suspense and stated his demands right away. No way, Director Ding. You are a big director. Do you still need me to invest? Su Luo looked at Ding Lei in surprise. Actually, the word investment isn't very obvious. To put it bluntly, we all want to follow you. Ding Lei sat up straight, looked at Su Luo and spoke seriously. Me, no way. I'm not even a star. You're following me. Going to work in my company. Su Luo looked at Ding Lei in surprise. Haven't you checked your Weibo yet? You now have 8 million followers, Ding Lei said. What, 8 million? Yes, even though you haven't officially debuted. Your fan base has skyrocketed by 5 million just from those few days of the show. This is something that no one can do without the support of a company, Ding Lei said with a sigh. In fact, before they came, the three of them discussed the way out. In the end, it was still Li Xiaoshuang's suggestion that the three of them agreed with. Even so, you don't have to. After all, Director Ding, you are a director. To put it nicely, I'm a director. To put it bluntly, I'm just an employee. Frankly speaking, this celebrity couple was originally my last chance. I've been in movies and TV series before, but they all flopped. I thought I could use this variety show to boost my value. In the end, the show didn't go on. To be honest, I don't think anyone in the industry would want us anymore. Ding Lei said this, shaking his head helplessly. Although he was not unable to get any projects, he could not make any money. Su Luo listened and nodded. She probably understood what Ding Lei meant. It was that it was difficult to find opportunities outside, so he might as well try to cooperate with Su Luo. Maybe he could even produce a hit show. I'm just an ordinary person. There's no show for you to film. Su Luo laughed. We just wanted to take a gamble, because a lot of inspiration for celebrity couples actually comes from you. Ding Lei and his companions seemed to have even more confidence in Su Luo than he did. Director Ding, you guys are putting a lot of pressure on me. Su Luo, we also talked with Sister Ye yesterday and learned that you are interested in setting up a studio. Look, Lu Jun and I are both directors by profession, and we work very well together. Xiao Shuang is a screenwriter by profession, so we want to join your studio. Director Ding, to be honest, I'm really happy that you guys think so highly of me. But Xiaomu is pregnant now, so we really don't need to film any shows. At most, I'll just record some songs. Who knows, by next year there might not even be many fans left, and the studio might even go bankrupt. Su Luo smiled and said, after all, the other party came here sincerely. So in this situation, what needs to be made clear should be made clear. Sure enough, after hearing this, Ding Lei hesitated. After all, from what the other party said, there was really no need for a director. Xiao Luo. At this time, Tanya on the side suddenly spoke. Sister Ya, go ahead. Su Luo turned to look at Tanya and spoke. What is your attitude towards Xiao Mu in the entertainment industry? Tanya asked seriously. I support her, otherwise I wouldn't have thought of setting up a studio. After all, Xiaomu just likes singing, Su Luo explained. Liu, I really like participating in variety shows now. It would also be great if I could act in TV dramas and movies. Yi Xiaomu suddenly said at this time. Wife, didn't you tell me that you just like singing? Su Luo, who was stabbed in the back by Yi Xiaomu, said in surprise. I just prefer singing, haha, Yi Xiaomu said with a smile. Chapter 100, Mr. Su Good Tricks. No matter how obscure Ding Lei is, he is still a director. If he is really hired into the studio, at least he can use it when he needs to shoot programs in the future. This was what Tanya and Yi Xiaomu were thinking. While Su Luo and Ding Lei were chatting, the two of them communicated privately via their mobile phones. The main consideration is for the development of the studio, although it is true that it has little effect in the short term. However, if the studio develops into a company in the future, it will still have to recruit artists, use its own directors, and promote its own people. For example, it will be much more convenient and safer for them to participate in other programs or crews. Xiao Luo, I think if I really want to develop in the entertainment industry in the future, I should prepare in advance. If you're good at singing, you can act. It's not ruled out that Xiaomu might act in a play in the future, right? Moreover, I believe that you and Xiaomu plan to open a studio not for better development, but to put it bluntly, to make money. Tanya also tried to persuade him, saying that although Ding Lei has become unpopular, he still has personal abilities. His previous TV series and movies failed, but that was not the director's fault. And most importantly, Ding Lei and Lu Jun have a good reputation and will not deliberately follow the Q rules. If Ding Lei knew what Tanya was thinking, he would definitely feel unfair. It's not that he doesn't want to do it, but they all brought money into the group or had connections, so he couldn't do it. Su Luo listened to Tanya's words, turned around and looked at Yi Xiaomu, who was looking expectant. Isn't this a typical example of someone who is not only weak, but also has a strong addiction to being a good person? No, why are you all looking at me? Su Luo then turned her head and found that several people were looking at her and spoke. This studio belongs to Xiaomu, and my wife has the final say. Su Luo smiled and said, Liu, then I agree to let Director Ding and the others join, Yi Xiaomu said with narrowed eyes. Then I have no objection, Su Luo shrugged. This white-faced man had performed almost enough. It all depended on whether Tanya could catch it. In that case, let's discuss the conditions for Director Ding and the others to join. Tanya did not disappoint Su Luo. This 10% stake was not given for free. I wonder what the conditions are for Director Ding to join Xiaomu Studio. Tanya secretly gave Su Luo a thumbs up, then looked at Ding Lei and said. Ding Lei rolled his eyes at Su Luo and cursed in his heart. Little fox. Sister Ye, I'm sorry to say that the three of us don't have much capital, so we can only invest our technology. I'm wondering how many shares you're willing to give us. Ding Lei, Lu Jun, and Li Xiaoshuang looked at each other and asked. Director Ding doesn't have many connections in the industry anymore, so how much stock do you think he can still get? Tanya said this with a half smile. Her words were cruel but very realistic, because she took over Su Luo's good face and played the role of the villain. I can guarantee that the quality of the filmed works will be up to standard, Ding Lei said seriously. Most of director Dante's works have flopped. Even the celebrity couples can now be sure that they have flopped. Tanya said with a smile, as if the person who just spoke for Ding Lei was not her. Sister Ye, you are worthy of being a gold medal agent. We can't argue with you, just tell us how much you are willing to give us. Ding Lei said with a wry smile. Tanya immediately looked at Su Luo and Yi Xiaomu, blinked and said, "It's your turn to make an offer. Director Ding, to be honest, I'm not sure about your abilities. But Sister Ye believes in you, so I'm willing to give her 5% of the shares. But the prerequisite is that you must serve the studio for at least 10 years. Su Luo stretched out her hand, spread out her 5 fingers, and spoke. Su Luo, this is a bit. Ding Lei looked embarrassed and followed the 5-3-2 distribution ratio that the 3 of them had agreed on before. Ding Lei 5, Lu Jun 3, Li Xiaoshuang 2. All in all, he only has a 2.5% stake, and it's still unclear how big Su Luo's studio is. Can I know how much the studio has invested? Ding Lei asked after hesitating for a while. At least this number. Su Luo stretched out her index finger and spoke. Su Luo, this is a bit. Ding Lei looked troubled. A 100 million yuan investment, 2.5%, is actually only 2.5 million yuan, and it will take another 10 years. Tanya was able to give 10% and agree to Tanya's subsequent requests because she was very good to Xiaomu. In return for her kindness, giving a little more would not be a big deal. With the help of the system, Su Luo didn't think that her studio couldn't be successful. The current shares would more than double in the future. Liu, Yi Xiaomu shook Su Luo's arm. She seemed to have decided that the amount she gave was a little too little. She didn't think that Tanya was only 10% and hadn't hesitated. Although Su Luo felt that 10% was too much. In fact, for agents, the starting point is usually 15%, 20%. Nowadays, many entertainment companies are run by agents. It is conceivable that the commissions of the agents are definitely not small. Otherwise, where would the capital come from to start an entertainment company? Besides, many agents don't just manage 100 million people. Director Ding, if you have anything to say, just say it. Su Luo reached out to stop Yi Xiaomu, who was trying to speak, held her hand and patted it gently. Su Luo, let me be frank, we plan to hold a 15% stake, Ding Lei said seriously. Generally speaking, if the director participates in the profit sharing, some directors can get a 10% share. Therefore, if we add the executive director and screenwriter, a 15% increase is reasonable. If Su Luo was an ordinary investor, there would be absolutely no problem giving 15% to the 2 directors and screenwriters. But Su Luo is confident that he can provide more resources, including the currently updated Zhu Xianjuan, which will definitely become a big IP in the future. The value of this cannot be offset by 1 or 2 small goals. Director Ding, Sister Ye holds a 10% stake in the studio. This won't change just because you join. Also, if you 3 really join, we won't be tied together. So I will give you shares according to your abilities. Screenwriters will have 1% of the shares, and the copyright of the screenplay will belong to the individual. Companies with the same price will have priority. If it is decided to sell all copyrights exclusively to the company, an additional 1% of shares will be given. Director Lu, the executive director, gets 1.5%. If he's able to independently produce a film, he'll get an additional 1.5%. Director Ding gets 3%. If he produces his first hit, he'll get an additional 1%. All of this can be written into the contract. Do the 3 of you agree? Su Luo smiled and said that compared to the initial 5%, the shares were indeed more. Seeing that Tanya was interested in letting them join, Su Luo naturally knew that Tanya recognized their abilities. So, giving them shares directly would not be a bad idea. Mr. Su, good idea? Ding Lei stood up, stretched out his hand, and said with a smile. Chapter 101, Buying a Car and a House. The reason why Ding Lei said this is that if the 3 of them talked together, the shares would definitely be more than they are now. But everyone is given a share allocation and the option to move up. This effectively split the 3 parties. Ultimately, only 9% of the shares were needed. It's not really a means, but I just want to clarify the distribution to prevent any problems from arising from the distribution of benefits in the future. Su Luo spread his hands and spoke casually. He didn't really care about Ding Lei and the other 2, but it would be fine if they joined the studio. With the intervention of subsequent capital, the shares will be diluted. His bottom line is that he and Yi Xiaomu own more than 67% of the shares. Of course, if the subsequent system can continue to give him money without introducing investment, there will be no problem. Then make your point. I have no problem with that, Ding Lei nodded. While a 3-4% stake isn't much, it's much better than just being a regular employee. That's fine with me, Lu Jun nodded. After all, he was only an executive director now, and he had the opportunity to become a director and eventually get a 3% stake, which he couldn't even think about in other places. I can do it. Li Xiaoshuang also expressed his opinion. Well, I will communicate with Sister Ye about the specific details. After Xiao Mu terminates the contract tomorrow, we will directly set up the company. It will be temporarily divided into the artist department and the film and television department. Su Luo nodded and said, Okay, Tanya nodded. Su Luo looked at Mio, who was lowering her head next to Xiaomu, and felt amused. It seemed that everyone in the house had shares except her. TT keyword add data title equals beauty.